Poof! Hello everybody, how's it going? This is exciting. I hope it's good. You know, like lots of cool stuff to be excited about. I'm hyped too. What do you guys got going on? Good morning. Oh yeah, I got 6 shots of espresso to get me turned up. And I haven't had coffee in like 3 weeks. So this shit's gonna get me turned, I'm pretty sure. It's been a while. 6 is a fucking lot? Yeah, if you're a pussy that uses capital fucking letters, it's a lot.
Thank you.
But for a grown-up, that's chump change. I'd get more if they could give them to me.
Thank you.
6? Psh, that's nothing. That's nothing. How's it going? What's new?
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, bros. Thanks, Sowito and DB Blues and SSJ Dude and JSS and Starlight. And thanks, TurboGrafx and Gold Rogo and Mr. 216. Thanks for the 117. That's a lot. Thanks. Thanks, Style Lane and everyone else. What's new? What's going on here? Are you calling me a bigot? My bad. What did I do? Intentionally lost my job. Thanks for the luck buff. That's called quitting. And it doesn't count as losing. That's like, oh man, I lost a true fan when I banned his ass. Doesn't quite work that way, but... oh man, what am I gonna do now? I lost him. I lost this trash into the trash can. I lost it. Oh damn. Snitching? Hold on. This guy's snitching on you. What'd you do? Hey guy. You should not have said that, because the funny thing is, I didn't see the guy who snitched on you. I only saw you saying that he's snitching. So now I'm gonna ban you. So this is the last time you're gonna hear my voice live. Anyway, you can't talk like that in here. I can talk like that in here. You can talk like that in your stream, but you can't talk like that in my stream. Anyway, see you later. He's banned. He made some shitty ass joke about black people, and it was not funny. Anyway, what were we talking about? So you were calling him a bigot and not me?
Thank you.
Oh. Alright, good. Thanks, Lespion.
Thank you.
And Drink and Dive. And hey, Manny Biggs, thanks for the 135. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Yopi Pimps. Thanks for gifting 5 subs. Yeah, I know it's kind of tough because you guys are absolutely gormless, and I oftentimes will make inappropriate jokes, but you have to remember that I'm licensed and certified. I do this for a living. I'm a professional. Can you believe, I don't want to jinx it, but can you believe I have not been banned in such a long time? Pretty good. It's been a long time since I've been banned. And I think the last time I got banned was for something not... I think I showed tits. Right? I can't even remember when the last time I got banned was. Mafia 2, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I showed pornos. They were in-game, but we did really look at those titties. That was pretty cool. Man, some of those were cool. Cool tits. That game was sweet. Man, that game would have sucked without those pornos, though. They knew what they were doing. Probably the best collectible in any video game of all time. If you think about it. Vintage Playboys? Genius. That was a Todd move. Thanks, 2 dads, both gay and retarded. And thanks... Kamikaze.
Thank you.
Thanks, MK Baked Alaska. Thanks, bros. You guys got anything fun going on? Girls rule. I agree. I happen to be a big fan of girls myself. What are we making fun of, dude? Oh, Mark of the Wolf started. You guys Messi mains? Or wait a minute. Ronaldo mains? Wrong guy. Ronaldo mains?
It's too bad, man. I just stopped smoking yesterday.
I don't know what Messi looks like either, but I do know what Ronaldo
Here's
looks
your
like.
cut smile.
Hey, beep boop. Bringing the heat, huh? Got promoted. Congrats, man. Thanks. Thanks for the bucks. Hey, thanks, No Pants. How's it going, perverts? What were you guys up to over there? Some unscrupulous shit, I presume. Jacking it. Nikkei thickness. Man, I wonder what your parents think. That's what I'm thinking. What do your parents think about this? And I'm also thinking I'm so glad that I'm not your parents.
Thank you.
They're very proud. Yeah, they are.
Thank you.
I'm sure they're so proud. Thanks, Geo Bones.
Thank you.
My mom would be crying 100. I need to have a talk with her, No Pants. You know what, dude? I really need to have a talk with your mom about this shit, dude. I think that it's gotten to that point. I need to talk to her, dude. This is an outrage. You know?
Thank you.
Triple car chase? What's a triple car chase? Hey, thanks June Bear and Geo Bones and Jotaro No Star and Mr. Flex. Hey, thanks again, Beep Boop. Congrats. It's nice of you. There was a triple car chase yesterday. Thanks, Mizar,
Thank you.
for the resub. My parents are not proud, but like you can't please everyone. I mean, who's to say that that should be your goal in the first place? I mean, you should only want to make your parents proud if they were good parents, in theory. So maybe your parents sucked, and that's why you don't care about making them proud. And that's why you play Nikkei.
Thank you.
You know, this gets deep. You know, you wouldn't even play Nikkei if they were good parents. You would naturally be, like, you know, you wouldn't want to be near those types of things because you were raised well. You see what I mean?
Thank you.
It's a circular thing. Hey, Niche, thanks very much. It's their fault you play Nikkei? Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's not really your fault that you're
Thank
playing
you.
Nikkei. It's how you were raised. Believe it or not, there are a lot of shitty-ass parents out there.
Thank you.
And that's why companies like Mihomo or whatever that company is that makes those games, that's what I'm telling you. They exist because of you. Thanks, Papalico. Hey, thanks for the 129. Hope you're doing well. One of them ended with 3 perps bailing. I saw that one. Didn't we watch that? They went into a shed. The first one was like, this is the best spot. And then the second guy was like, man, that's a good spot. I'm getting in too. And the first guy's like, no way, man, this is my spot. And then the third guy shows up and it's over, dude. The whole plan is fucking duped.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. What the fuck? Does that say 70? Damn. Did you get a discount? Hey, thanks Billy Hoyle for gifting 70 subs. Did you get a discount? 35% off? Really? I think that... Hey, No Pants, do you know how that works? I think No Pants had tried explaining this to me and I wasn't listening because the sound of his voice makes me have to take a shit. I think it's like... The discount?
Thank you.
I don't really know. Whatever, man. Thanks. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. That's a lot of gifted subs. Thanks, Billy Hoyle.
Thank you.
Hope you get lucky. I don't think I still get the normal
Thank
amount.
you.
I think that I get a discounted amount. I'm pretty sure. That's what No Pants was trying to explain. But, I mean, whatever. It's still the same color in the end. Thanks. I appreciate that a lot. Whatever. That's a shitload of people who think they're gonna be able to start talking to me with their gifted sub. These motherfuckers think that shit is bulletproof armor. I got a gifted sub now? Let me start tagging. At Avoiding the Puddle, I need answers, dude. Then here they come. Sentences that start with the word why.
Can I get a luck butt?
A luck butt? Hey, thanks, whatever this shitty name is. And thanks, Rotten Pizza and Sawcon and D-Dub and Sawcon. Thanks. And Tucharu. Thanks again, Billy Hoyle. Damn, you guys are just bringing the discounted gifted subs, huh? Thanks, Shisuke89. Thanks for gifting 20 subs. That's nice of you. What else you guys got going on? Other than being excited about this. I'm excited as fuck because everything's boring as hell right now. Man, don't get me started. I dropped another death web. This is my second death web ever that I've dropped. And it was again +1.
Thank you.
Again, this is the second death web and it was +1 instead of +2. Pissed. I've been doing fucking terror zones forever. But I got my paladin up to 557 magic find. Feeling good. What's death web? It's just an item that I've been trying to find in D2. It can roll with +1 or 2 to poison and bone skills. And I keep getting a bootlegged +1. But that's about all I've been playing. I'm super excited about this. I hope they add a lot of cool stuff, especially since they pretty much fucking canceled PoE 1 because of how much work this game is, allegedly. What's D2? Diablo 2. I play Diablo 2. I have an offline account that I've been playing for years now. It's pretty cool. It's like a collection of years of playing this game. It's neat. Yeah, D2 is one of my favorite games. Did you beat the Arbiter in PoE 2? I think so. Is that not the guy who flies away when you kill him? I'm pretty sure I killed him. The only things I didn't do in PoE 2 are I didn't fill out all of the trees. You know how if you do the mechanics, I didn't fill them all out. I only filled out Breach and only a small amount of the other ones. But I did fill the top tree out and of course the main tree. Honestly, I think that PoE 2's end game is so shitty that it's not even worth it. At least when it was, launched. It was so shitty. PoE 2's end game is awful, but the campaign is amazing. It really is amazing. I recently played Act 1 just for fun. I'm stunned. I think it's really good. It's stunningly good. The campaign is stunningly good. But the end game is totally a joke. I don't even know if it was a good idea for them to include it. I almost feel like they should have just not included the endgame. It was so awful. It was terrible. I felt because you have this expectation from these guys. They,
Thank you.
At least from my perspective, seem like they're really at the cutting edge of what should and can be in these types of games. And that felt like 100 steps backwards. That felt like something that Blizzard could have come up with 10 years ago. Doing a map and killing all the rares like that, I think that's some
Thank you.
even more lame than anything in D2. It's super fucking lame. To me. It's 100 steps backwards. Kill all rares is so sleeping face. And especially when the map design is going to be... That's another thing, dude. The campaign is the campaign. All right? It's fun. You do it. You run here. You kill a boss. Whatever. You get lost. Okay, fine. There's checkpoints. But in a map, these map designs, they're not... They're like... I feel like someone else made it. Who made these maps?
You.
They're not good. They're terrible designs. I get it. Some maps have to be bad. You know? If you don't have bad maps, then they're all good maps. It doesn't work. You have to have some bad maps. I think there are barely any good maps. I think there are no good maps. There are no good maps. They're all awful. The best maps are still not that good in PoE 2. I think the whole endgame sucks. The whole endgame sucks. I think that the loop of salvaging items and selling items and going to a different vendor for all those things, I think that fucking sucks. I think the Atlas system sucks. I think that killing every rare sucks. I think that preparing a tower with watchstones, you know how you go around the tower and then you skip the maps that you want to run. You run the shitty maps to get to the tower, and then that whole process, I think all that shit sucks. I mean, basically, there's nothing about the end game that I like. Basically, if you think about it, there's really nothing about the end game that I like. But I do love the campaign, and I think that the systems are good. I think the crafting needs a shitload of work. The crafting is not fun. I think that's bad, for sure. But I think that will change. The whole game is hella early access. I'm a little disappointed, really. The ultimate disappointment in PoE 2 is that it came out so unfinished, but yet it still killed PoE 1. I don't like that. At least let it be more finished or finished.
Thank you.
If you're gonna kill PoE 1, at least be more finished. That's what I don't like about it. It's just not finished enough. It feels so
Thank you.
Early access. Why is PoE 1 endgame better? I've been exploring that idea for myself, and I think that there are a lot of...
Playable in City of Wolves. Google Cristiano Ronaldo Las Vegas for more info.
Shut up, bitch. Thanks, BC Ragan for the tier 2, and CR7, and AKA Ghost, and Doctor Strange, and Silky Moustache, and you Yevon, and all that cake. Thanks, Almanax, and Swag Duncan, and Nachomon, and Hobby. Thanks. Whoa, Shusuke89. Did I already thank you? Yeah, I did. I remember because I called you Shusuke. Anyway, thanks for the 20 gifted subs. I appreciate that a lot. That's nice of you. And everyone else, too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Saint Lucifer. Someone's got to like my stream. Thanks. Oh, yeah, I was saying, why is PoE 1's endgame so much better? Okay, so there are things about PoE 1's endgame that I fucking hate, like rolling maps. But overall, the thing that makes PoE 1's endgame so sick is that you can do a lot of different things, and you can not do things you don't like. That's what's so special. In PoE 1, if you don't like something, you don't have to do it. You don't like a map? Don't do that map. You don't like a mechanic? Block the mechanic. It gives you like this freedom of customizing the end game to your liking. Almost as though you're customizing your character. You know how like when you customize a character in any game, you choose your helmet, you choose your gloves, you pick out your skill tree, and that is your customized character. You can do that same thing with the end game in PoE 1. It's almost like you are molding the game itself and the way it behaves to your liking. And that doesn't exist in PoE 2, at least not yet. At all. At all. You have to constantly do things that PoE 2 wants you to do, even if you hate them. And that's something that doesn't exist in PoE 1. At Avoiding the Puddle, PoE 2 forces you to play what you dislike. PoE 1 lets you play what you want. Are you some kind of a bot that takes what I just said and then tags me and repeats it back to me? Because that's pretty cool. Are you like some kind of AI generated fucking guy or what, dude? Thanks. I'm glad you tagged me too, because while I was saying that, I was thinking, I forgot what I was saying at the beginning of this sentence. If there was only some asshole who could repeat it back to me just to keep me on track so that the end of this sentence, it really flows with the beginning of the sentence. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Don't tag me. Anyway, hope you're doing well.
Bless up.
Hey, bless up. Thanks, Kirsten Dunst. Kirsten Dunst's nipples? Who's Kirsten Dunst? Who's that? Hey, happy Big Friday. Eid Mubarak. Mary Jane? Kirsten Dunst? Dunst cap for the biggest loser. Kirsten Dunst.
Thank you.
Dunst. Nah. Nah. Wow, she's 42? Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh, man. She's only 2 years older than me. Wow, that's amazing. In my mind, she was like 21. I was thinking she's 21 or something, right? That is crazy. Kirsten Dunst. Elizabeth Hurley? I remember her. She, Hey, thanks, Feeling Koji and Loot Lettuce. Thanks, you're my favorite streamer, Smile. And Saint Lucifer. Thanks, bros. Nicole Kidman. Yeah, she's pretty. I think Nicole Kidman dunks on the last two that you guys brought up. Personally. Scully, of course. Scully is top. She owns the rest of them. Demi Moore. Meh. I've never really been too into her. She still looks really young though, especially in that newest movie. She looks great. But you know, on a personal level, I've never really been into her. Scully versus Crusher? Whoa, that's tough. Scully versus Crusher? Ooh, that's tough. Scully wins. But that is tough. That is tough. Scully wins that one, though. Damn, that's a tough one. Thanks, Alberion.
Thank you.
For the tier 2. Jessica Alba? Nah. No thanks. Nah. Sleeping Face. Crusher is top? Crusher is top, but Scully, dude? Scully versus Crusher pillow fight? They're both so old now, it's funny. That's crazy. Anyway, thanks for all the subs, everybody. It's almost time, 8 minutes. Woo woo! I can't wait. Come on, titty. Fucking rooting for that shit. Come on, titty. We've all been there. Watching two chicks fight. You don't give a fuck who wins as long as we get a titty. Who's Sarah Michelle Gellar? I don't remember who that is. It sounds familiar. Is that the girl from No, I don't know who that is. Oh, you. Buffy? Nah. Nah. Jennifer Love Hewitt. Isn't that the girl? Yeah. I'll give you that one. Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Thank you.
I'll give you that one. Marissa Tomei is 60? You have got to be kidding me. How did she do that? She is mega banging. Mega banging. Like, Marissa Tomei has been banging for 50 years. Wait a minute, do the math. 40 years. I forgot how old she is. 60. 40 years. That was close. You know, math is important sometimes. She's banging though. Who's Jessica Biel? Lucy Lawless? Xena? Nah. Nah. Jessica Biel is hot AF? I'm not sure who that is. I don't like her because her last name is Beal, and that reminds me of Beal. That can't be hot. It's like the least hot thought you could have. Meg Ryan used to be so attractive, but she looks like a ghoul now. Oldest sister from Seventh Heaven. How the fuck am I supposed to know what the fuck that is? How the fuck am I supposed to... Oh! Why didn't you say so? Yeah, alright. I remember now. What the fuck is Seventh Heaven? Alright, cool. Seventh Heaven was 20 years ago, dude. Yeah, even 20 years ago, I don't know what the fuck that is. She's in Blade Trinity? I'm sure I'm not gonna think she's that attractive if she's so forgettable. I don't remember. What's her name? Jessica Biel?
Get up in there, will ya?
We got
Just
4
got
minutes.
paid. Here's your cut.
Jessica Biel. No thanks. You enjoy. Nah. I don't remember her at all. Super forgettable to me. I mean, I'm not saying she's not pretty. They're all pretty. I'm just saying, you know, there's pretty and then there's like, you know, extra pretty. Jennifer Garner? Who the hell's that? Huh. This, to me, this seems like a person who is not even supposed to be pretty. I mean, she's just a actress, right? Elektra? How do you even know this person? The movie that came up first is Elektra. Alright. Monica Bellucci? I know who she is. Yeah, she's pretty.
Thank you.
Canbu. Kelsey Grammer? Isn't that isn't that Frasier? Yeah, she's hot. Thanks 1960s Diana Rigg. You're gonna get me to Google a 1960s pretty girl, dude. Come on. Thanks Venomonium and Chef Zach. Thanks, man. Thanks Canbu and Fargoth and Prohibido Jugar Ronaldo. And thanks Oberion. Yeah, excuse me. I'm excited too, man. I hope this is like a really big reveal. Lots of stuff to say. Natalie Portman? No thanks. If they were in a movie that I hate, it makes me not like them anymore. That like makes actresses less attractive to me. If you're in a really shitty movie, like a good actress makes you more attractive than a bad actress to me. Because it makes it feel like you got where you are because you're good at what you do, not just because you're pretty. Of course, being pretty helps, but, you know, it's cool when they're good actresses as well as beautiful. To me. That explains why he doesn't like Jessica Alba, lol. Yeah. There are a lot of cases like that. Like, if they're really shitty actresses that are in really bad movies, she's like not pretty anymore, you know? It's like, whatever, man. Nah.
Put Judge Judy on the list.
Of what? Bigotguesser.com? Thanks, little motherfucker. And everyone else.
Thank you.
I got 6 shots of espresso. I'm turned. We got a minute left. Thanks, squad. Hope you're all feeling good. Extra lucky. I'm chilling. I got butter chicken yesterday and had it with my leftover pizza. And while I was eating it, I was wondering, do you think Indian people know about this? Because it is such a crazy good combo. Leftover pizza dipped in butter chicken is like, I was thinking like, do Indians know about this? This is really good. It's a really good combo. The way, because I got jalapenos and stuff on my pizza. The jalapenos on the pizza and the texture, you know, you invented it? Indians invented that? That makes sense, because you know, like birria is not Mexican food. Some fat Mexican genius invented that. Birria queso tacos, that's not real Mexican food. That's made up. Fat genius shit. Same with chilaquiles. So of course, maybe that's what's going on here. Some fat Indian genius made that up. I got pizza. I got butter chicken. 5 seconds. Shh.
Hi. I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2.
Where's Chris?
Welcome to GGG Live. Well, it's been a little over 3 months since we launched Early Access, so it's about time for our first major content update. Today, we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt, which launches on April 4th. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so make sure you follow the instructions below.
I know
to
Chris
play your
retired, moron.
Guillotine finisher effect. Now in today's stream, we're going to take you on a deep dive into the new Dawn of the Hunt update. We'll cover a new class, 5 new Ascendancy classes, and huge expansions on character systems like unique items and support gems. After that, it's on to the in-game improvements, including changes to systems, a bunch of new encounters, and lots of other content. We're going to finish up today with a live Q&A session where Zingy D will ask Path of Exile 2's game directors, myself and Mark, your questions from Twitch chat. Now we have a lot to cover today, so let's get started with a trailer for Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt.
Thanks.
We as Mary
Everyone.
are guided by the Spirit. It provides prey, shelter, even love. But for me, one day,
Thank you.
all that were changed. The Spirit, it showed me something. Something forbidden. And to defend all I loved, I used it. I lost everything that day. But fate weren't finished with me yet. I'll right the wrongs I've done. I'll do what I must. No matter the cost.
Yeah, give me that.
I will hear the Spirit once more.
Cool. Dude, it looks pretty cool. What the hell? Oh! Wow. that's okay. What is this?
Don't make me.
Oh, Rogue Exile.
I shall bathe your blood.
Holy shit! Holy shit! 100 plus? Oh god, Lake of Calandra? Oh, oh no! Lake of Calandra endgame map? Woof. Lake of Calandra. April 4th? When is that, a Friday?
Now, as you can see, in Dawn of the Hunt, we're introducing the first new class since early access to PoE 2,
One new
the
class.
Huntress. The Huntress is a spear-wielding Asmeri warrior. Born into a society with strict traditions, she was exiled from her homeland after using the power of a skill gem to defend her village. As a dexterous spear user, she specializes in both melee and ranged combat, dashing into and out of battle.
That's really
Spears
cool.
have extended range and
That's
a short
what's
dash,
cool about
but unlike other melee
Javazon.
weapons, you can also throw them.
You have really
In
good
order to make
long
a
range
hybrid
and
range
short
and
range.
melee character work, we had to do a lot of thinking about ways to make it fun to both enter and exit melee range. The first skill you will get as a Huntress is Whirling Slash. As well as striking in a circle around you, this skill creates a whirlwind that blinds your enemies. Leaving the whirlwind will make it explode. The more Whirling Slash is used, the bigger the whirlwind, and the bigger the explosion.
Interesting. That looks very good
Once you're out
for
of there,
early game.
you'll want to follow up with something ranged. Whip your spear around to shoot twisters towards your foes. These twisters bounce off walls and can hit enemies multiple times.
Ooh.
You can also throw twisters inside a whirlwind to shoot out extra tornadoes that do way more damage. In her offhand, the Huntress will usually want to hold a buckler, which allows you to do a new skill.
Buckler, that's
parry.
new.
While holding down parry, your character will counterattack any incoming attack from monsters near you, stunning them. In addition, the monsters will take extra attack damage from your
They
follow-up
added a
strike.
gay parry!
Some specific skills are designed to be used after a parry.
Are
with
you
extra effect.
serious?
Disengage is a skill that does a quick jump back, damaging enemies in front of you, and it can be used to interrupt other actions, like dodge roll. If you use it against a parried enemy though, it causes an explosion and gives you a frenzy.
Oh, Riposetti! You parry and then do that, and they
Just be
explode.
careful. If you parry too much, you're going to get stunned and possibly killed.
Oh, shit.
You can combine this combo with Whirling Slash. Slash, parry, disengage, and you'll
That
get
is
explosion,
cool.
the disengage, and the Whirling Slash.
I'm sure it'll suck in the end
The
game
Huntress
because
also has a
everything
variety of elemental
explodes.
spear throw attacks. You could use Lightning Spear to bounce lightning between your foes.
That's cool. That's just like
Or you could throw
Javazon.
explosive spears into the ground. These spears take a while to detonate, but when they do, they'll incinerate anyone caught in the blast.
Incinerate.
All spear throws on the Huntress can also be empowered by frenzy charges. For example, explosive spears will do an even larger explosion and leave fire on the ground. And these empowered versions can activate even more combos.
I think
Use
the
a whirling
parry in
slash
this
of a
game
ground
is
fire
not
will suck it
timed.
into
You
the
just
whirlwind
hold it and
fires the
auto parry
explosion.
things that come in.
Using twisters
think
inside
that's
a
how it
fire
works.
whirlwind will shoot out fire tornadoes as well.
That's cool.
And you can do similar combos with ice
He said hold. Yeah.
and lightning too.
So it's like blocking.
Now, a key aspect of hunting is exhausting your foes by causing blood loss. This skill is Rake, which dashes towards your target and unleashes a deadly slash, opening up wounds on your enemies. Follow up with Disengage and watch them bleed out as they run towards you. On the health bar of monsters, you can see how much blood loss the enemy has experienced.
That's good.
And the Huntress has skills to take
That's
advantage
really
of this.
good.
For example, using Blood Hunt will thrust forward and cause a bloody explosion. The more blood loss, the bigger the explosion.
Interesting.
If you want to cause bigger bleeds, try out Rapid Assault. The final hit of this multi-hit combo will stick a spear into your enemy for a big bleed.
Oh, it leaves that
Now,
spear
explosive
in the
spear and
enemy?
Rapid Assault both result in leaving spears behind, either in the ground or in enemies. But there are other skills that leave spears around too, like Storm Lance, that leaves an electrical spear that arcs towards enemies. But what can you do with all these spears? Detonate them, of course. Thunderous Leap will allow you to jump onto and explode any spears, either in the ground or in your
So
enemy.
you just leave spears around and blow them up.
Now, as well as hunting animals, the Huntress also has the ability to work with them. While fighting any beast, you have the ability to tame it and use it as a companion.
What? Tame
You
it?
can only have one companion at a time, but it will keep the mods that were on it. Try to find a rare beast with good mods. Take
Say
full advantage of your
word?
ability
You
to
can have a boss on your team? That's awesome.
Now this is just the beginning of the Huntress. We've really tried to make the hybrid ranged and melee gameplay work for this class by having a huge amount of synergy between ranged and melee options. There are 22 new skills available for the Huntress. By endgame, you'll be slinging hundreds of insanely powerful spears,
Man,
sending forth
everyone's
spirit
gonna be
animals and
playing
summoning the might of
Huntress.
Solaris from the sky.
That is tight too.
But we still haven't talked about ascendancy classes yet. What can the Huntress ascend into?
Good question.
Well, the first ascension class you could choose is the Ritualist. The
Hey,
Ritualist
thanks
has
for the
embraced the
subs,
darker side of his
everybody.
merry traditions by harnessing the power of animal sacrifice and plague. The Corrupted Life Force skill causes all enemies around you to grow volatile blood boils on their skin.
Blood boil.
When those enemies are slain, the boils will burst, spreading corrupted blood to all enemies around them. The Ritualist also excels in taking advantage of magical trinkets. The Unfurled Finger skill allows you to equip an additional ring on a finger around your neck.
What
Taking
the
Mystic Attunement
fuck?
increases the bonuses of all the rings and amulets you have equipped. Now this is one of my favorites. As
That
the
is
Whisper's Arms
crazy.
grants you a new skill, Ritual Sacrifice.
Crazy.
Use the skill on the corpses of slain rare monsters to absorb the power in their blood, to give you one of their modifiers for a short time.
What?
Specialize further into Ritualistic
What?
Sacrifice with As the Whispers
Got a new
Demand,
job, here's
which
your
allows
cut.
you to perform
Thanks
that
for the
skill on
love,
yourself
fucking
instead of a
five, though.
corpse. Cut your own hand, sacrificing some of your own blood to empower yourself.
Armenian
The
headhunter?
Amazon Ascension is for those looking to hunt more than just beasts. Trained as an elite guard to the most important Asmeri elders, the Amazon will use more traditional fighting techniques mastered to perfection. The Predatory Instinct skill will cause you to reveal weaknesses in the defenses of rare and unique enemies, causing you to deal more damage. You can see those weak spots represented on their life bars.
What?
While using Elemental Infusion, any charges you consume will infuse your weapon with elemental power, causing any projectile attacks to explode on impact.
That's pretty cool, I guess.
The Critical Strike skill is as simple as it sounds. It takes your excess accuracy and gives it to you as critical strike chance. Additionally, you have skills like Mystic
Accuracy,
Harvest,
eh?
which allows your elemental damage to leech life, and as Mary Brew to be able to use either flask to restore both life and mana.
Accuracy sucks
So
in this
those are
game
the two new
until that.
ascendancies for the Huntress. But those are not the only ascendancies in Dawn of the Hunt. We've added a new ascension class for 3 of the other existing
3?
classes too.
Whoever didn't get
First
it's
up,
gonna
for our
be
warriors
hella
out there,
underplayed.
we have the Smith of Katava. The warrior is a blacksmith in origin, taught by his father Renly. With this ascension, you can take your smithing skills to new
What?
heights by embracing power from the insatiable one himself, Kitava. Smiths of Katava are master blacksmiths and have the ability to forge their weapons.
That's
quite
crazy.
literally. Using the Against the Anvil notable skill, you can enhance your weapon with fiery destruction before any battle. After doing so, your attacks will release explosions on hit for maximum devastation.
Huh.
You can
Who's gonna
also
wanna
use
do
the
that
power
every
of Kitava to summon an animated copy of your weapon to fight alongside you.
That's cool.
A great blacksmith can do more than just forging their weapon though. Their armor can be enhanced too. Now you might think this ascendancy class tree looks a little abnormal,
Yeah, a
and you're
little
right.
weird.
There's a lot of notable skills all disconnected at the bottom there. By taking
Smile.
this point here, which is free to assign, your character is unable to equip body armors with mods of any kind.
What?
So your body armor must be normal. Sounds like a downside, right? Except now in true blacksmith fashion, you get to craft your own body armor by taking those disconnected notables with your points. If you want your body armor to grant life, take this notable. If you want resistances, take this one. There's so many choices. Think of it like you're
75?
crafting your own body armor, just in a more literal sense. Now, let's move on to those who prefer the reassuring feel of a crossbow in their hands, the mercenary. Alongside the existing Ascension classes, the Gemling Legionnaire and the Witch Hunter, you can now play as the Tactician.
Tactician,
The
eh?
Tactician is a former
I like
Blackguard
that he's
elite.
pointing.
Free from the duties of a Blackguard, he is able to use his training to decimate the monsters of Rayclast and earn a healthy income doing so. This training comes in the form of various skills like Suppressing Fire, which causes all projectiles to pin enemies. When combined with the Right Where We Want Them notable, your pin not only stops your enemies from moving, but stops them from performing actions too, similar to Freeze. With a soldier's training, the Tactician also works well cooperatively. Using the Whoever Pays Best notable, you can place multiple banners at once. The Watch How We Do It skill gives a portion of your weapon's damage to your allies as well.
Watch how I do it.
But if that isn't enough, you can also command your army of off-screen archers to unleash hell.
That's
and
cool.
Carpet an entire area with arrows.
That's cool.
Finally, witch players will be able to
Off-screen
join their
army.
legions by becoming undead themselves. In
Whoa.
Dawn of the Hunt, we're introducing the Lich Ascension class.
Lich.
The Lich is a master of chaos and curses and could sacrifice her life to enhance her energy shield. The Crystalline Phylactery skill allows you to nominate a jewel in which to contain part of your soul,
Whoa.
massively increasing its power. There's just one downside to splitting your soul this way though. If you have no energy shield, your mana costs will shoot up. The Necromantic Conduit skill causes you and allies in your presence to have unholy might, granting extra damage as chaos damage. Rupture the Soul makes enemies you curse explode with chaos damage when slain. Dominion over Flesh allows you to apply an additional curse. It's safe to say you'll be the true master of the occult by choosing the Lich class. So Dawn of the Hunt has the Huntress and 5 new Ascension classes, but it doesn't end there. Let's take a look at some of the new skills we've added.
Okay.
Now you may remember we previously talked about the Raised Spectre skill.
Oh,
It's
shit.
finally complete, and it will be made available in the upcoming expansion.
Oh,
It
Spectre.
can be found in the occult skills on the skill gem crafting panel.
That'll be sweet because you don't have to like.
Raised Spectre is a skill
resummon
that
them.
allows you to trap the soul of almost any monster in the game,
Man, it's gonna be hard not to want to play Spectre.
which you can then summon in the skill panel.
Nice. That's nice.
Spectres cost spirit and will revive automatically if they die, but the spirit cost varies based on the power of the monster.
What?
You could summon an army of weaker monsters, or a few of the more powerful monsters.
The spirit cost
You can
varies
combine them
on
with your
the
existing
power of the
skeleton
monster.
Thank you.
Or summon exclusively spectres. It's all up to you and how you want to customize your army of the undead.
Huh.
Given that there are hundreds upon hundreds of monster variants in Path of Exile 2, it's safe to say you'll be experimenting with this one for a while. We look
Wow.
forward to seeing which monsters serve you
Man,
best.
it's gonna be so hard to not want to
Now
play
let's move on
that.
to our next skill.
But this looks
Since
cool.
we've been talking about summoning undead so much, let's have a change of pace and summon something a little more alive. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding the Summon Rower skill.
Woo!
Summon your friendly rower to aid you in combat as a minion. You can also mount your rower in combat at any time,
That is
allowing you to move at
fucking
full
cool.
speed, even while shooting arrows or throwing spears. Be wary though, if you take too much damage while riding your mount, you can be knocked off and get overwhelmed. It's worth keeping an eye on your stagger bar, as falling off the mount can mean
Oh,
almost
damn.
certain death. On the topic of new ways to enhance your character, support gems.
Excuse me.
Support gems are used to modify your skill gems in meaningful and interesting ways. Currently, we feel that a lot of builds have insufficient options here. To alleviate this, we're adding over 100 new support gems.
Nice.
Hemocrystals will enable a new kind of bleed build, turning the damage over time you would have done into explosive
Wow.
vile crystals.
That sounds really great.
Alignment is a support gem
You
for bow
would have
attacks,
done?
which can reward skilled players with good positional skills.
The damage over time you would
Caltrops
have
will allow
done.
you to litter the battlefield with hazards, slowing your foes as you fling spears through their ranks. But there's plenty more for every playstyle, such as enormity, unsteady tempo,
Dude, it's too fast.
Thank you.
profanity,
Profanity support. I have that shit on my 6th link at all times. Profanity support.
syzygy. Yep, that's a real word.
Syzygy?
And
Syzygy.
many more. Now, we've
Syzygy.
talked about a new class, new ascendancy classes, new skills, and new support gems. But let's not forget about the core of a true action RPG, the items.
Woo!
To start with,
Woo!
let's talk about uniques.
Look at the ones they're
We're adding over
showing.
100 new unique items.
Oh, man.
This time, we've made sure to add uniques with a focus
Some of them
on
are
mid and
familiar.
in-game tiers to make sure there
Woo!
are more exciting items to find for higher level characters. Let's look at some examples.
Look at some.
Embrace your inner devil with Chernobog's Pillar. It
Chernobog.
grants you a large amount of fire damage based on your block chance.
Cool.
The Coming Calamity allows you to become a true master of the elements, granting you all 3 elemental herald skills without
Wow.
costing any spirit. At the same time,
Without
it
re-
raises enemy resistances.
What?
Waste
Without...
is a belt useful for builds using a single resource like blood magic or archmage builds. With this belt, you can use 2 life flasks or 2 mana flasks. It's up to you. Now, we could go through these all day, but we'll leave most of them
All
for you
day.
to discover. Suffice to say, though, we want there to be way more cool things to find. Over time, our goal is to add a unique to every single base item type at a minimum, so that you can chance any base in the game.
Wow.
Now, given that we have the Huntress, we have a set of unique spears from early game all the way through the end game as well. One example is Scyther's Spear, which combines bleed and fire in a powerful way. It allows your ignites to be aggravated, dealing substantially more damage.
Weird.
We're also introducing a suite of unique bucklers with some interesting parry mechanics. Calgyra's Arc, for example, allows you to parry projectiles from any distance.
Wow.
And we're also adding our first unique charms.
That's sick.
Bayra's Anguish will not only protect you from Ignite, but will also emit a devastating Fire Nova whenever you do get ignited. In sum, there's just a ton of new uniques to find. We can't wait to see the weird and broken builds that come
I hope they slowed down the endgame.
Now we also want to talk about crafting
And excuse me.
options.
Shh.
In each major update during early access, we'll be continuing to add and improve the options here. We have various new crafting tools that have been added as rewards to many of the different types of new content that we're adding. But for now, I just want to mention the changes to runes. Runes add commonly available mods, but since they only have one tier, flat damage mods tend to get outclassed by in-game. So we've changed runes to have multiple tiers, allowing you to get higher tier mods than before. Our plan is to significantly expand the number of more specialized mods for crafting using socketables as we add new content over time.
What did
And
he
the
just
first
say?
new set of those comes from what we're talking about next. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding Asmarian Wisps, which can be found throughout both the campaign and the endgame.
Thank you.
What did he just say?
The Asmari spirit has made itself present in Rayclast, and it appears to be trying to warn, or maybe prepare us for the coming darkness. You will
Wasps?
first encounter a manifestation of it in the Grellwood in Act 1, where you'll meet Delwyn, an Asmari hunter who is trying to find out what exactly is causing the spirit to behave this way. As you approach the wisp, it will flee, leading you past monsters. Any monsters it comes into contact with are infused by it, making them more powerful. Each spirit is associated with a specific revered animal within Asmari culture. This one is a wisp of the Great Bear, and grants enemies extra life and stun. The wisp moves faster the closer you are, and as you move away, they slow down to wait for you. But if you get too far away for too long, they'll dissipate and return to the woods. As you continue to chase the wisp, it will find and possess a rare or unique monster, granting it a new powerful ability. Because this was a wisp of the Great Bear, this monster now also has increased life and stun. But on top of that, it will periodically summon a large spectral bear that slams with wild fury. If you're able to defeat this foe, you will be rewarded. For each monster that was infused and killed along the way, the rewards will be increased. Each wisp has its own mechanics. The Wisp of the Winter Owl is a primal wisp that causes enemies to deal extra cold damage, gain energy shield, and release wind vortices on death. When infusing a monster, they will call down large tornadoes to protect their host.
That looks
The Wisp
annoying
of
as
the Wild
fuck.
Cat is a vivid wisp.
I'm
that
already
causes
annoyed
affected
by those
monsters to deal more
tornadoes.
critical strikes and become more evasive. When it infuses a monster, it will summon a barrage of feline spirits that will attempt to tear you limb from limb. If you're lucky, you may even find
Thank
sacred
you.
wisps that
Hey,
can do
thanks
some
for
pretty
all the
crazy
subs,
things to the
everybody.
monsters they influence.
Happy Big Friday.
Like the Wisp of the Cunning Fox, which turns
The
normal
Wisp
monsters
of the
into
Cunning
magics,
Fox.
magic monsters into rares, and rare monsters into actual bosses.
Wow. Say word?
Asmarian Wisps can drop a new set of socketable items that allow you to craft a wide range of interesting new mods onto your items.
Okay.
Each one may only be used on a specific item slot. As mentioned, the Asmarian Wisps can be encountered throughout the game, but there's also a new endgame map called the Asmari Ranges, a mountain village where the Asmari once lived, now overrun with corrupt monsters. This map always has multiple Asmarian Wisps in it, and familiar, yet not quite the same boss fight. Asmarian Wisps can also be further modified by the endgame Atlas tree as well, and by tablets.
Nice.
But I'm not going to be the one talking about those things. In order to cover all the new content in in-game, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, game director on Path of Exile.
I think
2.
this guy should smile
There's a
more.
ton to talk about
He
with
does
the
not
endgame today,
smile. He
so
doesn't
let's
like
get
that
right in.
shit.
Path of Exile 2's early access began
He
with a
doesn't
brand
smile.
new endgame.
He doesn't
It was
like
clear that
smiling.
it needed a
His
lot
face
of
is
work.
gonna get stuck that way if he
After
doesn't
absorbing
smile
the
more
feedback,
now.
we're ready to make
It's your
some
last
epic
chance, bro.
changes. The first thing is, we just need a lot
Happy
more
Big
content.
Friday.
Thanks
In Dawn
very
of the
much,
Hunt, we have
Honey
made sure to
Buns.
focus on increasing the sheer number of interesting and different encounters you will randomly stumble into as you explore the endgame. And the second goal is to smoothen the progression through maps and reduce the amount of annoying busy work. To start with, let's talk about the new interesting stuff to find. Well, The most obvious thing to add are new maps. As well as the Azmeri ranges that Jonathan mentioned earlier, Dawn of the Hunt also contains 7 other new maps, all with their own custom encounters.
They all suck.
Let's start with this one.
The Pharaoh Megaliths map starts off in the wild Ezemite forests. As you progress through the forest, you will find mysterious rune-carved stones that, when touched, surge with energy.
Okay.
After activating all the stones, you can find a grand henge, where all the energy is coalescing. You can then start an encounter. The area darkens, a storm moves in, and a concentration of energy summons a dangerous boss.
Yeah.
You must fight and defeat the boss.
Then
to get his
you
rewards.
gotta save
Once you have
the
defeated
old
it,
guy,
summon another,
Deckard Cain.
and another, and another, and another. You have 10 total waves of boss fights,
Wow.
which get incrementally more difficult. If you manage to defeat them, you get full boss rewards, but also opportunities to get new runes. These can only be obtained from this map.
Nice.
The Fractured Lake contains a surreal waterscape with fractured mirror-like objects. As you move around the map, the terrain itself elevates from below, creating the ground you walk on. In this unique
Looks
map,
cool.
all the rare monsters are mirrored, so
But
you're
it's-
always fighting 2 of the same rare at the same time, which
opening
can
up old
prove quite
wounds.
difficult. If you manage to overcome that challenge and make it to the end of the map,
I
you'll
hope
be
you get to
presented
fight
with a broken
Kalandra.
mirror, a powerful
Whoa.
altar-like object that contains an item within it. The item contained within is a new base type.
Whoa, it's a big
either
mirror.
an amulet or a ring that can be crafted to have additional prefixes or suffixes at the cost of the other.
Crafted
The last
lol.
unique map we'll show today is one based around the essence mechanic. You enter a crystalline cavern, and you will find a powerful map boss imprisoned in the center. It is surrounded by many rare monsters, also imprisoned in essences.
Damn.
By freeing and defeating the rare monsters, the essence they held will be upgraded to a greater essence and be added to the imprisoned map boss.
Oh boy.
How brave are you? How many essences will you add to the boss? Overdo it, and you might lose everything. Underdo it, and you might regret it. It's your choice.
Scrub.
Speaking of essences, alongside visual improvements, you're now able to apply Varlorbs to corrupt the essences with a range of unpredictable outcomes.
Interesting.
It could increase the number of essences, re-roll all the essences to the same type, or even upgrade the essences to greater essences.
Nice.
What if they're already greater essences? Well, it can upgrade those too. We have 4 new corrupted essences. Essence of Hysteria, Delirium, Horror, and Insanity.
Go on.
Each corrupted essence has its own interesting combat mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the essence of Insanity causes you to question even your own mind, as monsters split into shadowy clones, and you must locate the real one before a devastating icy explosion freezes everything around.
God.
Each of these has their own crafting outcomes.
Oh
The essence
God,
of Insanity can be
dude.
applied to a belt. It adds a mod that will ensure the next Varlorb used on the belt will guarantee adding 2 enchantments.
Whoa. 2 enchantments?
It's worth noting all the essences in the unique map can also be corrupted too, if you're willing to risk it. It's worth noting we have also added
2
10
things worth
extra
noting.
Atlas passive points you can earn by completing 5 different unique maps.
Huh. Oh.
Now, new maps are just the beginning. We had a goal where we wanted to make sure you were constantly finding exciting new content, and that it could be lurking around any corner. So, we have added a bunch of new things that you could stumble into in any
I
map
know,
you
man.
run.
If I ever meet this
On
guy,
your
I'm gonna
travels,
try
you'll
to make him
sometimes
smile
encounter
so
rogue
hard.
Exiles.
I'm gonna start
Others
writing
like you
jokes
who have been
now.
exiled
I'm gonna
and
get this
openly hostile.
motherfucker.
Some are malicious, some are mad, while
Do
others are
something
simply
about that
fiends for
shit.
loot.
Get
They
his
will
ass.
challenge
I'm
you.
gonna,
A
dude.
fight to the
I'm
death.
finna get his ass.
They use the same skills available
Bitch.
to players, and even the same items. They aren't just dressed up in those items, they're actually using them. It's going to feel like a true player versus player situation. Of course, if you are able to slay these exiles, those items will all drop on the ground.
All?
So if you encounter an exile using a powerful or valuable unique item, which you can see displayed under their life bar, you want to be damn sure you kill them.
It shows
Because if
it.
they kill you and your party, they'll portal out, taking their items with them.
They should
fight
take
will
your
feel
items.
completely different depending on the items they come equipped with.
Wow.
These exiles are much smarter than your regular monster. They have capabilities to dodge roll, Avoid your abilities with smart pathfinding, smart targeting,
That's
and
cool.
much more action-packed gameplay.
That's cool.
Fortunately, they're like you, and they're not super durable. Unless, of course, they're wearing uniques like Calm's Heart, in which case, expect a longer battle. There are 12 different rogue exiles you can find, each with their own skills and personalities.
That's pretty cool.
Some may insult you, while others may admire your honor
Insult
and combat.
you?
Another encounter you might stumble onto in Dawn of the Hunt
Profanity
is one of
support?
4 new unique strongboxes.
Strongboxes are chests with modifiers. When you try to open them, they activate traps and spawn waves of monsters that
This
you
shit
must
needs to be
defeat to
instant.
access the loot.
Why
Let's
wait?
take a look at 2 of the new unique boxes that are harder to find and behave just a little bit differently. The Ogham's Legacy Strongbox has a corpse splayed out in front of the rune-carved stone. Upon interacting with the stone, you activate Forbidden Ezomite magic, which revives the monster as a powerful rare. The Strongbox comes with a modifier which determines how many times it will revive that rare. Each time you defeat the monstrosity, the Strongbox revives it again, adding an extra modifier to the monster. Cool. With each resurrection, it becomes more difficult, but also more rewarding.
It's gonna take 5 minutes.
This
every
Strongbox
map.
is infused with thaumaturgy from ancient File technology. Eshell's Torment has a powerful artifact inside, and is guarded by Chaos itself. Defeating the monsters will grant you a unique item with a specific corrupted outcome. You'll have to find the other 2 for yourself to see what they do.
Whoa.
Now,
Okay.
let's talk about the introduction to the endgame.
Thanks for all the subs,
Upon
everybody.
starting the endgame,
thank
Doriani
you
tasks
later.
you with cleansing corruption to help restore the land.
Nice legs, Doriani.
However, in practice, the quest objective just sent you on a grind to clear 15 maps. We wanted to make the quest to unlock your Atlas passives much more interesting.
Now, Doriani is tasking you with a more specific objective.
Thank you.
It
On
says
the
Act
Atlas,
1,
you will
2,
find
3, Act
areas
1,
of
2,
corruption
3.
caused by the beast.
No new act.
In the center of each one, you will find a corrupted nexus, the source of the affliction. In the areas leading up to the nexus, you will notice that corruption spills out from slain enemies and amalgamates into powerful monsters. Corrupted maps existed on the Atlas before, but we've done significant work on improving these monsters. We've also done a full pass on the modifiers on these maps to make them more interesting and more rewarding. Once you reach the Nexus, you will have a new task: cleanse the source of corruption. When you defeat the last rare in those maps, they will spawn one of 3 terrifying bosses,
Defeat the
amalgamations
last
of
rare.
corruption itself. After defeating that boss, Doriani will come and cleanse the corruption for good. As the remains of the boss are purged of corruption, it coalesces into raw crystallized power, which you can use to gain points for your Atlas passive skill tree, the upgrade system that allows you to add and enhance content in your maps. We didn't stop there though. When you complete a corrupted nexus, all of the remaining surrounding corrupted maps will become cleansed maps. Cleansed maps also have new monsters, a new boss, and their own set of modifiers and rewards, including finding fracturing orbs by slaying cleansed enemies.
Oh shit. Fracturing orbs.
These orbs can be used in crafting on a rare item.
Oh,
to cause
shit.
One of its modifiers to become fractured. A fractured modifier is one that cannot be modified by any means. You are able to freely modify the item, ensuring the fractured modifier will never change. If you get the right item with the right mod, it can prove to be a very powerful crafting base indeed.
Wait, but
You must now choose. Do you complete all the corrupted maps and then the Nexus? Or maybe you
but there's
beeline to the
no
Nexus,
way to
complete it,
roll
and
the
do all the remaining
item,
maps
right?
cleansed.
There's no reroll.
Both have rewards
currency.
to entice you and challenges to assess.
Now, let's have a
But
talk
chaos
about
spam doesn't
towers.
reroll it. It
One thing we've
removes
had a
then
lot of
adds.
feedback on is the busy work around running towers and managing your
Oh
tablets.
man. Chaos orb
The
doesn't
first change we've
reroll.
made
It's just
here is that we have
ad
reduced the
remove.
number of towers drastically. So there are now 1/3 as many as before, but we've made them much more powerful.
Yeah, annul. They're
To
rare
start
though.
with, tablets now inherently add twice as many mechanics. But
Nice.
that's not all. Running higher tier maps and towers now increases the number of mechanics applied by tablets.
Aha.
By tier 15, the bonus is double, allowing a single tablet to now add 4 times as many mechanics as before. So, we're running far fewer towers, dealing with fewer tablets, and affecting even more maps than before.
All right, I'll
Because
give
there
it
are
up.
fewer towers overlapping
But I
with each
still
other,
want you to
won't get
smile,
as many
though.
opportunities to stack different tablets. In order to solve this, we've made it so that each tower can consume up to 3 tablets at once.
Wow.
You always get one
That's
slot for
pretty
completing
big.
the tower, but if you can complete a tower with more mods on the waystone, you can unlock a second or third slot. Overall, this allows for even more juicing from towers, while drastically reducing the amount of busy work you have to do. On top of that,
Good idea.
towers are much more interesting maps because they can now spawn with all mechanics, including bosses. Each tower map has a new boss.
Each?
Let's take a look at a couple here.
Here.
The boss fight of the Alpine Ridge map has 2 powerful witches contesting for territory. One witch has an affinity for ice, the other fire. Who will win? Hopefully neither.
Thank you.
The boss of the Sinking Spire map is a remnant of the Val that has been charged
These are
with
all
lightning.
bosses from the
It
campaign,
uses a
right?
full suite of lightning abilities. But be careful. If any
Thank
of them
you.
hit the surrounding constructs, they will power up.
Another thing that we've seen a lot of feedback about is sustaining waystones. As we looked into it, we realized that the people who couldn't sustain waystones were dying a lot.
They were scrubs.
A lot more than we had expected. And that made us realize something.
Realized something.
During the campaign, the expectation is that you can die multiple times in order to learn how to overcome challenges. You are able to learn how the monsters behave, adapt to their skills, and eventually overcome them. But as soon as you get to the endgame, you're effectively no longer allowed to die if you want to sustain waystones. By the time you are getting towards the end of endgame, we want you to have to be careful not to die. But it certainly shouldn't be that we have such a sudden shift as you run your first maps.
The first change we're making is you can now respawn and return to a map if you die,
Okay.
continuing from where you left off.
Come on, man.
When you start the endgame,
Cast
you
on
get up
death
to
portal
6 total
automatically?
attempts per map. As you add more modifiers to a waystone, the number of respawns goes down.
Goes down.
This means that as you get to the
Number
point that you're
of
running
portals.
every waystone as a rare, you will have to be more careful.
That's sick. Good idea.
Thank you.
Good idea.
In parties, everyone gets
Parties?
to respawn that number of times. But we still think it's important that you can kill a boss in one go. In order to allow that to happen, we've made a change so that once you start the boss fight, it changes over to the same respawning system we use
Nice.
for pinnacle bosses. This means that the map owner can choose to respawn everyone at the same time. Another complaint we've seen a lot of is players not wanting to do the pinnacle content because of the experience penalty from dying.
Okay.
A change we've made here is that all pinnacle content now no longer grants experience, but also no longer removes experience
Wow.
on death either.
What is that about?
Dawn
All
of the
pinnacle
Hunt also brings
content
the
does
first
not
batch of
remove
Twilight
experience
Order
on
reliquary
death.
keys
Lame
from the
as
early access
fuck,
supporter
dude.
packs.
That is lame.
These keys contain items selected by
What's
our supporters.
pinnacle about it then?
They can contain any unique item found in Path of Exile 2. If the selected item is a pinnacle boss drop, then only special keys dropped by this content will be able to provide these items. For example, Hand of Wisdom in action can only come from a key dropped by Zesht.
Only?
We're also making a change that allows pinnacle boss uniques to drop at any difficulty. Rarer uniques will be rarer at lower difficulties, but still possible to find. This applies to the drop chances for the reliquary keys from this content as well.
Interesting.
We spoke about towers and tablets earlier, but we have also added a suite of unique tablets.
Unique
Each of these
tablet.
adds crazy interactions to the maps influenced by it.
I gotta take a piss.
For example, this unique tablet allows you to run any map in a tower's radius without requiring connections, which can be quite useful for jumping gaps and traveling around your atlas.
That's cool.
And this
Jumping
tablet
gaps?
causes all runic monsters spawned during expedition encounters to be duplicated, and weakens all expedition monsters that emerge from the ground. The Atlas tree has also been expanded, and you can find many of the new mechanics
Rogue
there.
Exiles. I bet
and
Rogue
improvements
Exiles
to
are gonna be
existing
fun.
ones too.
That's a really good idea in PoE 1, but
Now,
I
through
just
this
think
live
it's not
stream, we have
executed
mentioned
well.
quite a few new crafting options that we've added. New runes, corrupted essences, fractured mods, and jewelry crafting bases. But we did have just one more crafting
Crafted?
system to talk about. Recombination. Expedition was the only in-game mechanic that was lacking a crafting system, so that needed to change. Recombination is a mechanic that might be familiar to some players.
It might be.
It allows you to merge two items together, hoping to get the best elements of each on a single new item.
Go on.
This new crafting bench will be unlocked as you complete your first expedition, and requires artifacts found during expeditions to fuel it.
Oh.
The rarer the mods on the item you are combining, the more expensive the cost.
Wow.
That wraps up all the major in-game changes we're talking about today. With all the system changes
It
and
will
new
suck,
content,
guaranteed.
we can't
Yeah,
wait to
until
get
they
in there,
figure out that
start
it's the
blasting
cheapest
maps
shit ever.
and obliterating monsters. There is one more thing we wanted to clarify before we move on, which is that all the content we've talked about today will be made available in the existing early access leagues, so you can play your existing characters.
What?
However, there will be new leagues made for those who wish to start in a fresh economy. It is recommended to start over and get the full new experience in the Dawn of the Hunt leagues. For all our existing early access players, we're really looking forward to joining you playing in this new update.
What does that mean?
For those who don't already have access and are interested in playing part
So
of
like a
Exile
lot
2,
of people
Dawn
are
of
just
the
gonna
Hunt,
continue
you are
playing
able
the
to at any
game
time
that they
purchase an
already were
early access
playing?
supporter
That's
pack
a bad
at
idea.
www.pathofexile2.com.
No reset?
Additionally, the Paladin and Penance supporter packs
That's
are now
terrible.
available to
That means
purchase
everyone's
in
a
Path of Exile
millionaire.
2 and contain 6 microtransactions each.
It's just
and the
standard,
full
except
pack's
it has
face value
everything
in
that's
points.
non-standard
All the
has.
microtransactions contained within these packs
It's just
are
standard
purely
that's always
cosmetic
existed.
and do
Yeah,
not
but
affect
dude,
your character's
the
power
point is
or
that
progression
standard
in any
doesn't
way.
get the new
Thank you
content.
so much
This
for your
will,
ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A
right?
with Ziggy
Is it,
D.
or did I understand
With
incorrectly?
release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for the release. Keep
No?
an eye on the news. On release weekend, we expect to launch the new mystery box and many new microtransactions.
Both get new content. That's what I'm
including
saying.
Path of Exile 2's first alternate skill effects. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to playing the Huntress, trying new builds, and exploring the new endgame next week. We'll begin the Q&A
Hey,
shortly,
dumb fuck,
so
you
please
can't
get your
just say
questions
something
ready.
is gay if you don't like it, you stupid fucking bigot. You have to use that word correctly. Like, for example, Rixta is gay. That's okay. But, oh, the new content is gay. You're a fucking bigot, you stupid bitch. Careful how you use that shit, or you're gonna get a big-ass gay dude after you. Alright?
Good morning, Exiles, and welcome to the Q&A.
It's an interesting beard. Anyway, I gotta take a piss.
Very exciting.
I'm gonna take a piss. I'll be back.
Exceeding my expectations, particularly in crafting.
I can't hear this motherfucker, can you?
Jonathan and Mark to talk about, although we've seen
It's maxed out.
Path of Exile 2. And you had an update about the recombination.
Yes,
first,
that's right,
though.
that's right. Yeah, so we actually last night had a bit of a design session and realized that we weren't actually fully happy with the way the recombination worked. So we actually made quite a big change to it, which wasn't reflected in that video, obviously. Which is basically that we sort of wanted to give a bit more control to the player over how recombination works. And we also kind of weren't really happy about the fact that recombinators is something that like kind of matters a lot for really, really ultra in-game players. But it wasn't something that was really mattering a lot for like the people who effectively got access to the feature at the start. So we've actually changed it now so that the way
I can't hear shit.
you pick which mods you want on the each item from each item, and then it gives you a percentage chance of success based on the number you pick. So if you pick just like one from one and one from the other, then the chance is much higher. But if you pick if you pick 6 mods, it'll become practically impossible. So effectively, like the more you're wanting to design the item, the less.
Wow, did you hear that?
So it means that if you just want to get like a mod, if you want to get an item with like these 2 mods that I found off the ground, that's relatively easy.
No.
If you want to get an item which has all of them, then very hard. So we think that's a much better design.
You didn't hear that?
Kind of use the.
He said you can choose which mods you want from each item, and the more mods you choose, the success chance goes down.
Like for perfect stuff, you might still be able to do it with more. It is kind of balanced though, so that like if you pick
When
one from the 6,
recombinating.
then it's going to be like incredibly low to the point of like don't even try that. But like 4 mods might be a good thing to sort of be striving for, that kind of thing, and then exalt the other 2, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the new design of that.
That's crazy.
So hopefully that'll be in.
I
by
gotta
the
take a
time
piss.
that
I'll be back.
comes out. We're gonna we've kind of got a plan for doing that. Yeah, like I think it's a much better design than what we had before for recombinators.
If it's not there for O2O, it'll be as
very
soon as
soon.
it can afterwards.
Very
But
soon,
yeah, you know, spur of the moment, night before the live stream design sessions.
Yeah.
But
Been a few of those.
increased player agency and visibility into the success result is just a win. And honestly, took way too long to, you know, get to the point of us actually going, oh, this is just straight up better to have observability into that and the freedom of choice. So.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. Recombination definitely felt like something that was both really high end in terms of the crafting that it was intended for, but also just even understanding it. This seems much more intuitive because
You just pick what you
selecting
want.
the mods you want.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So it does sound like it's a little bit of a nerf for the very high end of crafting, though. Like,
It might end up being, but I'm not like it sort of depends on how the numbers come out. Like because we only just designed this, we need to still work out like exactly how the numbers end up looking. But I mean, look, we have to make sure. Obviously, whenever we're designing any crafting system, we have to be really sure that we're not like screwing over finding stuff on the ground. So you know, you have to sort of have that balance, and that's so that kind of informs everything we do with crafting usually.
One difference here, though, of course, is if the success chance fails, both
items just
both
deleted,
items
yeah.
are destroyed as opposed to always keeping one.
Yeah.
So
okay.
So it's basically
Whether or
percent
not
chance for success, and if it fails, item's gone. So
Roughly, what do you think you try to pitch just choosing 2 mods at? Like,
It depends on what mods you're selecting, but I'm kind of thinking kind of like 35%-ish kind of thing for like 2 normal mods, that kind of thing.
them both
Like
to
for them
go
both,
over?
for them both. For if you pick 2,
Yeah.
and then but we'll
it
see.
kind of depends. Again,
It kind of depends. We'll see how we have to do
higher
some
tier
mathing.
mods are rare. And,
Yeah, exactly. So it sort of
it
depends on the
also
situation.
the other thing is it's going to now have a fixed cost, so it's not going to
Yeah.
you know.
And the idea is
go
like
up based on
and the idea is like doing a single expedition should be enough to do a recombination. So you're going to be doing them like relatively often as you're doing expeditions.
so is the part of Expedition where you get to craft with the NPCs still a thing then? Now that you're adding this?
Yeah, I mean you've still got that whole mechanic, and like so it's effectively it's competing for the artifacts.
Yeah.
Between recombination versus buying.
Intended for that then to make it more competitive?
Not
with...
yet. It definitely needs some love in the future, but not at this time.
Yeah. It seems like the systems can kind of go hand in hand, where one is giving you items that you can then potentially recombinate.
That is also true. You can use the ingredients of one in the other, or the outcome of one as an ingredient in another,
Cool. We'll talk more about crafting a little bit later on for sure, because there was a lot announced there, which I'm quite excited about. Definitely exceeded my predictions for what you'd be adding in terms of crafting. But firstly, though, just a quick clarification on the league. So there's not going to be a wipe for the new players joining us.
Right.
If you were playing on a character, you can still keep playing on a character. But a lot of long-term Path of Exile players know the importance of playing on a fresh start. And that's also really important for you guys as well,
For
right?
sure, yeah. I mean, basically, if we don't have like any character that's come from before, you're just not gonna like because the balance is so different and because so many things have changed. There's like no point in even listening to feedback for someone who's playing in the old league. Like it really has to be that you're doing the fresh start, and we're sort of seeing how things go in the new economy. So like we were really sort of it was kind of an interesting decision about whether or not we should make it so that all the content is exclusive, or rather like what amount of content would be exclusive to the league versus not. And the issue that we had is that so I mean like a league means something in Path of Exile. In order for something to rise to the level of a league, it needs like a certain amount of features. And the original thing we were thinking about doing that way would be the Asmeri Wisps, but there wasn't quite like the kind of like meta mechanics and stuff with that. So like we didn't quite rise to the level of feeling like it deserved to be a challenge league. And at the same time, we've also got a lot of new players playing Path of Exile 2, never played Path of Exile before. So we were a little bit like we kind of were deciding like, okay, should we make them exclusive or not? We sort of decided, you know what, for this one we're not going to. And then what we'll probably try and do is for the next league that we do, we'll actually make it a proper challenge league with like its own exclusive mechanic and so on. But yeah, it's a little bit funny because like in early access is a bit of a different situation, different and so. Yeah, we'll sort of see how this goes anyway. But certainly I would encourage everyone just like start again on a new character. And I think, you'll have a much better time because, obviously if there's structural changes to the passive tree. It's like if you log in with your old character, you're going to have like, your tree's going to get reset. You have to do stuff. There's things like that are going to happen that mean that, and also just balance changes, right? Like huge numbers of them. So you're going to have a better time playing from the start.
That's it. And speaking of the Huntress then, so we saw initial Huntress quite some time ago now and had some hands-on time with it and things, but I certainly, having played that before and played it now recently, the Huntress has changed quite a lot.
Yeah.
Poof, I'm back. What did I
was
miss?
the,
I lost my
how
phone,
hard was
but
it
I
to
found
get
it.
ready for release. What was kind of the key?
Hey,
there?
thanks
I
for all the
it's funny,
generosity,
'cause
everybody.
Class design is one of those things where every time you add something, it can make you reevaluate
Nothing.
everything else, which is why it's so hard to predict.
Yes.
Like how long
Explaining
a
why
class
no
would take.
reset.
So like it changed a lot since the last time we had like we were showing Huntress.
Is it too loud?
And honestly, like it's like while there are some skills that you will still see, like it just plays completely different. And I mean, whenever we're looking at like how we're going to design something like this, it really comes down to like what is it's the special about the
Who puts their
character class and
leg
how
down
we double
first?
down on
Hey,
that to
Chi,
make
say,
sure
how's it
feels
going?
Different. So with the Huntress, you've obviously got
My bet
spears
is
as a base
left.
type. The key difference
Left is going to
between,
switch first.
a spear and any other weapon type is that you can both use them at melee and you can also use them at range. You can throw them, and so because of that, we really were just really trying to incentivize everything possible so that you use both of those things. And action RPG players.
I'm disappointed that there's no
they-
wipe.
generally speaking, the balance
Doesn't
across
that
them is
make
such
trade
that, you only really want to do
worthless?
one thing and do that one thing well. So trying to incentivize the kind of ranged and melee is quite a thing. And I mean, the way we do it effectively is try to make sure that like there are combo chains where a ranged thing can combo with something that's melee, and a melee thing can combo with something that's ranged, and then also give you good.
There is a
abilities to
wipe?
move between the two states, and so that kind
New
of means
League
that
is the
you end up
wipe?
with a very like agile character. Like you're
I wanna
constantly
play
moving,
fresh.
like, backwards and forwards and kind of moving around. And I would say that like given that it's the Dex character, that it's good that it feels that way. That it feels the most agile of all of the melee character classes. That's been a really good one. But I mean, look, there are. In terms of changes, I mean, look, there are just changes all the time. Like the frenzy charge thing was like relatively.
I
late
can
in development.
fast track
Like,
my
quite a
new
lot of things going
characters
on
with the
that,
200
just
divines
meant
I have.
that
Yeah,
the
but
deal kept on evolving.
you're also
Another big
fast
one, of course,
tracking
was
your
parry,
fun.
which I honestly was very skeptical of working, and Mark, like
You're
Mark
gonna
was the one who
play
saved
less.
it. Honestly, like I was like, you know what? There was like 3 times I think where I was like, you know what? I don't think it's gonna work.
Thank you.
And then you were like, okay, I think we're gonna save this.
I think
Give me
starting a
week.
league with 200
exactly.
divines means
And,
you're just going to play 2 weeks
it
less, or
works completely
even less
differently
than
for
that,
most
couple
games,
days.
because in most games, obviously, with parrying, the way that works is that you have to time like to push the block button at exactly the right time. That's just something that just wouldn't work in our combat system.
He really
So,
doesn't like to smile, though.
you often pack
But
some
he
monsters.
does smile
it's just like, You don't really
sometimes.
have the ability to read combat in that way in our game. And at the
Left
same time,
guy
you need to have
smiles.
something where there's going to be like
When he
if
goes like,
a single
"Hi."
monster in a pack hits you,
You
need
gotta
to be able to respond
smile.
to that with something that's
Hi.
gonna, you need to be able to
You
respond
know?
in a way where you don't just then immediately get hit by a bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
So having it so that the parry, like it always parries, but it's then taking advantage of what the parry does to the monster by following up with something that's going to give you like an explosion or something like that to kind of deal with the
You
pack.
are not samurai.
That's something that sort of allows that counter gameplay to work in our game. So
That's
you've
okay,
kind of
Crown.
got 2 primary parry follow-ups. You've got the frenzy charge one, which dashes back.
You
which means
are
that
not
you don't have
samurai.
to worry about the monsters hitting you, and then you've also got the one that
They have no
I don't
honor.
believe we showed there, which does
That's the
Frost,
Takeda
which,
clan. They have no
does
honor.
a counter where you attack with ice, which freezes the pack. So it's another way to kind of. So in both cases, you've kind of got something that's kind of dealing with the fact that you've got all these monsters around you.
Thanks,
And that was
Ken,
kind of
my
the biggest
dad,
challenge, I
Phil,
think,
Maria.
with that.
Thank you.
And thanks,
I'll also
Johnny
make note of
Tightlips,
this
and
support
everyone.
that you can attach
I'm
to
trying to
any attack
listen.
that allows you
Thanks,
to
though.
Follow up parry to generate
Everybody.
a charge too, so it doesn't even
Right.
have to be the backflip.
Yeah,
You
in
can
that case, yeah. There's other.
create your
This
own
counts.
parry
Yep, and
follow-ups.
then of course there's always Sniper's Mark, and there's like there's a skill that does give you a guaranteed crit, so that's a potential option as well. Like you've got a few different ways to generate them.
Because parry guarantees a light stun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always get that small window to actually engage or do a thing before they.
Parry's a pretty cool idea.
And I'll tell you this, like, I am one of those players who never parry, right? In any game ever, because I can never do it. It's
Oh,
always
boy.
just so frustrating. So I was very skeptical of that, but it feels really good. You've both managed to make it something that's easy to do because you can just hold the button down and parry at any time. There's no
Hold the button
skill
down.
involved in that. But at the same time, you've incentivized making it so that you do want to still try and time it as best you can personally. By how have you done that? How have you made it so that like
Thank
you actually
you.
still want to kind of play it skillfully?
Well, I mean, ultimately, anytime you're holding down the parry button is when you're not attacking, right? So you still
Exactly.
want to kind of minimize the window, but at the same time, like the timing is just not like not as bad. But the nice thing as well is that like once you do successfully parry, it's very obvious. You get the sound, you get the token on the
chunky.
monster. It's very chunky.
Yeah.
So it means it's very obvious when you're supposed to counterattack. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I think that it came out really well.
Elon
and honestly, one
mode.
of the funny things about it is that it immediately made me realize like how bad shields are in comparison, which is why we're also trying to ninja in a change to how shields work at the last minute, which will see if it makes it into 020. I was playing around with it last night.
This was 8 p.m. last night.
Yeah, 8 p.m. last night, exactly. I was
messing with this.
Yeah, messing around with it, and you know,
other guys switched.
Work, but effectively, we want to make
He was
sure
right.
that,
I was wrong.
better as well, and kind of build something into those to make them.
Their toes are gonna touch.
So, that's the plan there. We'll see if it makes it for 020.
Yeah, following that kind of similar design space idea.
That's funny every time.
Yeah,
and then that feed into other skills. And
comparing who's got a bigger dick.
Yeah.
So we talked about Huntress being very, very.
Both of those motherfuckers are tall as hell too. This guy's tall.
Things you can do with
the guy on the left, I haven't met the guy on the right, but the guy on the left is tall.
Start to synergize together. So
I'm 5'10". He's taller than me.
Fun, firstly, like rather than like onerous, for example.
Well, I mean, I guess there's a few things. Like one of them is it just has to be very readable and understandable.
He doesn't look tall, I know. Like he's way taller than me.
And I think the other thing that's really to our advantage here is
you're not 5'10". Yeah, I am.
So you don't need, so you can make a deeper combo chain without requiring you to be using as many skills in order to do it. So the way that Whirling Slash and Tornadoes interact with ground effects and kind of like all that stuff sort of means that, you know, you're using Whirling Slash
who's fatter
as part of the same combo chain.
Between me and him, me.
Combo chain. Yeah,
hey, thanks.
Sort of getting too many
tallest Asian on Earth.
That makes it a lot cooler. So yeah, I'll think a bit more about, you know, how we can apply that to other classes and other skills. But yeah, it's worked out really well here.
Yeah, it's a bit of like a loose create your own combo system in a way. Like obviously there's intended combos, but because it's interacting with something that's fundamental like ground effects, you're able to combo with anything that creates a ground effect. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Like I added shocked ground to the backflip skill, or I got a companion pet that had a shocked ground aura.
Nice.
As like that was just there.
I think the changes are mostly good. It's like 90% good. There are like a couple of things that I'm not in love with, like the Elon mode they added to pinnacle bosses, not causing you to lose experience.
You know, the first time I ran into that was actually in the graveyard where there's these like chests that like pop open with fire, and like I was using tornadoes, and then one of them just randomly turned.
I think that's a really weird choice.
It was just like a really
pinnacle
cool
bosses not taking away experience is like counter intuitive to me. Doesn't a pinnacle boss to you feel like the ultimate risk reward?
So how do you go
but
about
it doesn't take
when
away
you have a class
experience when you die?
Combos and kind of somewhat
it's not much of a risk then.
Versus
I guess.
a class or a skill or a build that is just bonk.
I mean, you have to ultimately make the combos matter, right? And I think actually that's one of those things that we're trying to really focus on with the balance changes we're doing in Dawn of the Hunt more generally, is making sure that even, like, I think it's the case where some of the combo gameplay kind of degenerates a little bit by end game in a way that I want to make sure it still feels rewarded. And so we were sort of doing various checks, you know, like recently about, you know, like as a random example, right? Like so on the Mercenary, we found that doing, you know, but when you get to endgame, doing armor break, sorry, what's it called? The armor piercing that causes armor break, followed with high velocity rounds, is just worse than just using high velocity rounds. And that's like really bad, right? Like we have to make sure that we're improving that stuff. So it's like sometimes you just get these things where like the balance by endgame kind of degenerates in a way that that doesn't support the combo anymore. And so we have to make sure that when we're looking at buffing things, that we're like making sure that when we're doing it, it's to support the fact that using more things is actually a good thing. So yeah, we're really trying to make sure that we're bringing some of that, you know, improving some of that stuff as well as we're making the balance changes.
So do you have like a baseline there of where like the really simplest build should be, the build that just bonks? Like,
I mean, you mean in terms of damage or in terms of like what it does? You know, I mean, we always want you to be able to build that way. But
players have to do a combo.
I mean,
like,
no,
people who don't want
ultimately
to,
you never have to, right? But it sort of what it means is that you know, you are sacrificing something. And look, the ideal situation is that like you don't feel like you have to do combos. You feel like you want to do combos, right? Like, because you feel rewarded for them. It's like should feel like a fun.
This guy's like, you want to do combos. I look in the chat and he's like, combos suck a cocky.
I think
it's true. They fucking suck. They're not even good. The best build you could use is one that shoots arrows across the screen. Fucking full screen arrows out of my little purse, pulling out 10 arrows at a time. Boom, 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 boom. Full screen. Where's the combo? There's no combo.
Certainly playing the Huntress now makes me go back and look at the other classes and be like,
Thank
we
you.
need to up that the level there.
Thanks,
and we missed
Theory.
the mark a little bit now because this is better. And who's to say the next class won't even be better and make us question even this? But you know,
but that's the way it is with class design.
It sounds cool.
Literally
Sounds
when
like
you
a
make
good
new
amount
class,
of
you
new
question
stuff.
everything.
I want to
Right.
play
Right.
Spectres and I want to play
Questioning everything.
do you see, like, go back
Huntress.
to the monk at some point and looking for more like
Spectres sounds really cool
we
because they
haven't-
automatically
we haven't got to the full
resummon.
skills
That's what I
yet.
hated
Yes,
about
yes.
Spectres in
Sure.
PoE1.
Pieces.
Resummoning
I think there's
Spectres,
at
I
least
hate
4
that.
skills that were designed and then hunted.
And it sounds cool in this.
Currently, just
Yep,
you know.
range are the same. There was extra poison skills. It was intended to be more chaos.
Oh
drops,
yeah,
and
third
all kinds
ring
of stuff.
slot.
We have
That's
to,
crazy.
At some point, fill all that in. Hard to say when, but we're going to try and incrementally get it, like much like how Ray Spectre and I mean the mount works with the Huntress, but we were like,
Cock ring
let's make
slot.
range at this time. Let's give something
Thin
for
dick.
someone out there this time, and so we're just
You
going to keep filling in
understand?
those gaps.
Thanks, Chris. Who?
And it
Thanks,
feels like
everyone.
you're
I
better
didn't
at
think.
class
This
and
counts.
skill design as you go to. So I imagine the last class you're going
Thanks.
to release is going to be like amazing. You'll look back at the first ones and be like, ooh.
Possibly.
Well, that is the worry, but whatever. That
But
just
look, with that, which means we've got another round of going through
Yes,
everything
yeah.
and improving
Yeah.
stuff again, right? So
and that will never end.
That's it. So with the parry came the kind of looking at the player getting stunned, in particular player heavy stun. So it's always hard to tell players like, hey,
Yeah, I'm chilling.
we're gonna do
Everything's
something
cool.
to you.
Just trying
It's gonna
to
be a bad
see what they got to say.
You're not gonna like this.
I'm having
Well,
a
the
nice
funny
day.
thing-
Talk about why.
There's a few things like that actually.
Do any of
because,
you guys have a beard with
so, I mean, for a
like
start, like, we need
mustache
to
that's
parry
not
and be,
connected
you know,
to
like,
the
get
beard?
stunned out of it.
Do you
But
guys
then
do
we're
that
like,
on
how
purpose,
long-
or is
we're
it like
right now
something
and
where
it's true with shield
you
block as well, by the way. It's like
really
you get
hope
stunned out
that
of
they
the
grow
amount of
in
time that you get
eventually?
stunned out for.
Fuck no?
There's actually not even enough time for most bosses to do a follow-up
It's
attack
a
on you.
skill
So
issue?
that's the downside if it doesn't even have enough time. So we did have to extend that out a little bit, and it makes it a little bit more painful.
You guys see him?
But,
Lost
just to
him.
warn people, right? There's a few other things like we lowered
scrubs.
what's it called, the I can't remember the name of that
Home
thing.
or the room or the Kage.
Elemental statuses of
Thanks to the window. Thanks, Keely
element threshold.
sucks
That's right, element threshold,
Kojima's
yeah.
balls.
So we lowered element threshold to actually make it so the player has those mechanics.
Thanks,
happen
everybody.
More to them, right? Because like right now through campaign, like you barely get frozen or burning or shocked, really, to be honest. So there's stuff like that we've had to do to kind of make sure that
It's gonna fill in any
you
day
don't
now.
have that stuff
That
actually
reminds me of me
happen to
waiting
you.
for my hair to
There's no
grow
point
back
mitigating
up
it.
top.
And it's like, you know,
Any
things like
minute
charms
now,
are, like,
these
not very
bangs
useful.
are gonna fill in, and
Mechanics would happen to you. There's stuff like that, right?
And
The
that's gonna
downsides
be
do
it,
actually
dude.
matter in order to make it so that you know
here I come.
then you know there's other things you can do to sort of bypass those downsides. So yeah, that's kind of one of those things that you know we just have to make sure is there.
I did always
gotta
find it a little
believe.
bit strange that like I was able to count the number of times I was frozen in the campaign on one finger.
For sure, for sure. But
And
yeah,
it's always by those.
You can get
files.
hairline surgery.
yes.
Yeah, but I'm afraid that if I
So,
do that, I'll lose
expect
luck.
a little bit more, like a little bit more
I
danger
prefer
from
luck.
stun. I definitely died a couple times to getting heavy stun.
Yeah, it can
So
happen.
that's mostly occurring if you're like doing bad blocking or parrying. But can it also occur just from like taking a really big hit or something?
Not- at least we've discussed that. We've gone through a whole bunch of different like. Should certain boss abilities heavy stun you, and if you spec into enough
Rich
stun
surgery?
threshold,
It's not even that
promotes
expensive,
to a
dude.
light
It's
stun
like
and
10K
that,
or something, isn't
there's
it?
all kinds of
Less than 10K.
multi-hour discussions we've had and
To get a new
we haven't come to
hairline?
anything conclusive there, but it's only from mount
Like the
red
same
shield,
price as
parry,
like fake boobs.
and of which, you know, at least for all of them, you can see your stagger bar filling up. It's worth noting things like evasion apply to. So when you're parrying, we turn off your evasion from taking damage.
3K in
block
Chile.
Right?
Yeah,
Otherwise,
but
you'd be like, I'm going to parry.
I don't know
I
about
evaded it,
that.
didn't parry. But you can evade the
Do that
stagger
shit in a
buildup.
van?
You don't take the damage anyway, just before
evasion
anyone
still
misunderstands that.
I don't know about all that.
So high evasion will mean you can parry for longer. There's a bunch of parry stuff on the tree, including damage affecting.
How's the patch?
debuff,
Seems pretty good.
Duration of the debuff, so you get to benefit for it longer.
There are a few
reducing
things that
staggers
sound
all over the
interesting
place
to
for both
play,
mount
and a
the
lot
DD
of
section of the tree.
end game issues that
Yeah,
they're
you can mitigate.
addressing.
I mean, my
I hope it's
expectation
good.
is probably
No
that
new
some of the
act.
girls that are just like, I can parry
That's a
for
little surprising. I thought there'd be a new act.
consequence, so. Not every skill can be parried, of course.
Yeah, it otherwise follows the slam rules. If it's a slam from above or below, you can't parry it. Much to your frustration for some things.
I mean, there are a few things where I've got disagreements about what looks like it's parryable, but...
my hopeful there was when it's contentious, people would bring it up and would change it, right?
Sure.
So, like, if it's on the line, it's meant to be blockable. Like, if it isn't clear. And there was no way with hundreds of monsters and many dozens of
Only
bosses
one new weapon type? Yeah, with the Huntress. If they had added a new character, then, you know, they would have added new weapons to go along with it. But they didn't.
One specific thing and optimizing as much as possible, because otherwise you're just making a bad build.
You think Act 4, 5, and 6 will come out together? I hope so.
A bit of everything. She's got bleed, she's got all the elements.
Thanks, Chinamanure, Street Food, and thanks,
How do
Theory.
you, like, promote this...
Excuse me.
all of this different stuff together? Are you supposed to only kind of be relegated to using 2 or 3 skills, or are these supposed to come together? And how do you?
I hope they change the heralds, because I think all builds felt the same because of Herald of Ice.
You know, you'll probably be
that shit made
around,
every
like,
build
a
in
few
PoE2
specific
feel
things
like
rather
the
than
same
necessarily
build.
using the whole tree. So, like, there's that. The other thing as well is just making sure that in the passive tree there's sort of options that go across both. So the Huntress's passive tree has quite a lot of things like, you know, extra melee damage if you've done a ranged attack recently, and then it's got things like bonuses against blinded enemies because while you're in a whirling slash,
situational damage stinks.
So it's sort of stuff like that where we're trying to carefully think, like, well, how can we come up with something that's interesting and buffs everything that you might want to be doing, you know, that kind of synergizes with the stuff that that Huntress can do. But it is honestly hard because, like many categories of things only matter for, you know, one thing, part of a combo. So it's just
how are you guys liking Mark of the Wolves? Didn't the beta test start?
And, you know, ideally, you know, we can achieve that. But
it has
generally, you're going to
practice
become
mode.
More niche or more selective because, again, even mixing elemental and bleed.
It sucks. It fucking sucks. Why?
You probably wouldn't do
Man.
That's why we kind of try to make sure that, like, so you've got sort of linkages between them, though, right? Because it's like,
I was planning on hating it. Now everyone hates it.
So it's kind of
like
the idea.
Now I have to like it.
It changes how you. That skill then has a use in the combo with the other one.
Hey, Hanzo Gonzo, what's up, dude?
Isn't doing a lot of damage. It's triggering something that's taking advantage of all the damage bonuses you got for the for your bleed stuff.
That sucks. That's kind of like I was planning on being the only hater, but it turns out it's just another SNK game.
Like directly,
everyone hates it.
Synergistic things in a kind of more synergistic way.
Yeah, that's if you didn't see that from the earlier trailer, it's you spear them with a bunch of spears and then jump on them and explodes them. For
Messi is OP.
But yeah, that's using an elemental skill like in another way as detonator. But and even more, you've got weapon swaps as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's all those systems we already added about all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So you know, I mean, like, what will be interesting is whether or not we miss something cross class, right?
Thank you.
Messi's OPness. Thanks, Pooh Man Do. I don't even know what Messi looks like. I found out what Ronaldo looks like the other day.
Yeah, I mean, so that's it. When we look at a new class, we typically like call it like, oh, Huntress is spears, but kind of not really. It's a signature weapon, but nothing in the ascendancies prescribes spears.
Exactly. So effectively, we take great pains to make sure that the ascendancies never mention weapon types. That there's like that they're always generalized.
Really?
So, for example, the like infusion mechanic in the Amazon, it just says projectiles, it doesn't say spears, and the reason it does that is so that you could make an Amazon who is a bow user, and that's all fine.
Weird.
So yeah, like it's effectively
crossbow
like,
Amazon. Thanks, Zoe.
Honestly, like I know that Mark like does like. It makes the constraint a lot harder.
Has there ever been a soccer fighting game character? Yeah, in Rival Schools.
To just put a bunch of cool spear stuff in there, but
there was a soccer player in Rival Schools.
Really, I mean, it was similar to the original PoE 1 Saboteur. It called out traps and mines, and so if you're a trap and mine character, what do you do?
Roberto, yeah.
You could do something else, but no one else is playing that thing. You know,
right.
It isn't. It is easier to design. It is certainly less flexible and open as to what people can play in the different combinations and all that. So yeah.
How much do you have to consider the different weapons and the skills and how they interact together when you're originally designing them, or is there just literally so many possible combinations you're just like,
thanks, random pink name.
I mean, I think it is relatively impossible to come up with everything, but certainly we have to consider, like, you know, is this going to be broken with anything else in particular? And there just has to be certain rules for things about, like, you know, how easy is it to apply this debuff, how easy it is to consume this debuff, and even then, it's like, you know, we often make mistakes and have issues. You know, I mean,
when he says relatively impossible,
did they end up touching their feet together?
Actually,
But
I
you know,
missed it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
just,
relative.
but even just looking at the balance pass we're doing at the moment, right? I mean, there's hundreds of things like that, you know, that we still.
Thank you.
Hey, Angel Eyes, thanks for the resub.
Honestly, understand all the
Damn,
different
all the
broken
pretty
things that
girls are
possibly
here,
exist.
huh?
And so it's like it really does.
First Hanzo Gonzo.
The
Damn. Started things off.
Seeing reports on what people are doing
Thanks,
on some
Angel
level,
Eyes.
right? But then I think that what will happen over time is that obviously, like, you know, the game's still relatively new. We're still making relatively big changes. Over time, the balance I think will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Armored
these,
Cutie.
Like, crazy outliers to the same extent. It should mean that we get to
Thanks
some
for
sort
the
of relative
resub.
class parity. By parity, what I mean is, like, you know, people playing all the different classes rather than focusing only on a few. As we get towards
This starts on the
because, yeah,
4th,
now it's
right?
obviously
That's
very
pretty
skewed
soon. Isn't that
because,
next
you know, there's
week?
certain broken things. So you know, yeah, we just
All
the
right,
balance
I'm
over
in.
time, we'll get there.
It's one of the main goals and benefits of the early access is just like let's get the balance of characters right. And
Looks like we've got a little
patch,
Valentine in
release
here.
was always gonna have a
Hey,
1,000
you
pop-
two ladies need to take it outside.
Next one will have half
All
that,
right,
the
I'm
next
not
one
trying to
half
get
that,
my
and
chat
probably
room full
eventually
of
it's gonna be down to, like,
sentences
here's only a
that
few
start with
things
the
going
word cope AF.
whack. There's always going to be
All
something.
right, shithead.
Because we add too much content for it to even be controlled.
If you guys want to kiss each other,
like,
that's
I get
fine,
there
but
are
do that
too many
shit
units, Too many
outside.
supports, too many skills, and too many other changes for any amount of people. Like you're talking about a matter of you'd have to put in like thousands and thousands of hours
Beat it.
internally to find it where, and then you give it to the players. There's so many people, it's going to take literally 5 minutes. So it is. It's very beneficial. We're lucky in that regard that we get that level of testing and feedback, and on such a mass level, and especially, you know, with things
Take
like,
that
you
shit
know,
to
Ninja
Max's
and all
chat.
that,
Do
and other
Max
people being able to
fans
see it and discuss
debate
it
with
more
each
openly.
other?
We're just going to be able to iterate on that even faster. Yeah, every single patch
Mexicans like to debate with each other in the chat.
Thanks for making the.
I disagree.
Well,
Let me tell you my opinion.
I mean,
They
there's
do?
so many gems. It's like over 100
That's
gems
cool.
added just this patch. It's it's already like so many, and with you doing a different weapon for each of the 16 classes.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be a
16
lot of
weapons.
Yeah,
It-
Mexicans are
right? Because-
Max
I know, that's
fans.
what-
That's
you
an
made it-
old
you
one.
made
That's
the
like a
system,
7-year-old
you need
joke.
So many supports to support it, it's not going to work. Like, especially with this
Maximilian
support system, it's like,
fans.
what have you done?
Mexicans.
Well, I mean, look, this is why we have recommendations, and hopefully we can improve
That's
those
funny.
as well, and continue to get that better. You know, like
There's certainly room for the complexity to get a little bit out of control here. So the recommendeds are going to become more and more important.
Right.
So we need to make sure those are very much right.
for sure.
You must be looking to players.
I
to
drank
find some of those
6
recommendations
shots
online.
of
In some cases.
coffee
In some
today.
cases.
Well, I guess
It's popular
5.
But the
Use
thing,
for
the thing with the
some profiles.
recommendations though is that they can't really.
I feel pretty good.
Take into account what you've already got on the gem. So
Yeah.
the recommendations have to be just sort of generally good, but not really take into account combos. You know,
turned
that kind
up.
of means they're a bit more simple. Like the recommendations are going to be more simple than what you'd otherwise be doing if you're not following them.
Feels like at some point you're going to need some sort of nested recommendation system. It's like, well, I'm kind of doing bleed stuff, so you go to the sub menu for bleed recommendations.
I'm less certain about that because I kind of don't want to get into the
With a
thing about
Danish?
telling you what your build
Cheese
should be.
Danish?
Yeah,
I think
that's,
cheese
it's a little
Danish
bit-
is the
little bit-
best Danish.
Maybe like more sorting methods for the
Personally.
show me all the gems. Oh, because there's a lot that are only in there that are never recommended right at this point.
There are, yes,
Yeah.
there are.
That's it's going to be an interesting challenge you guys have set yourselves to make enough supports there. So another thing that you
Erased
missed
from
challenge
existence.
is,
Thank you.
I always wondered, like, why did you do
Thanks.
this to
I'm
yourselves
really
with
Morgan
Spectres?
Freeman.
So, originally those
And
were planned
thanks,
to be
Arma
influential, but
Lord.
Obviously, Spectres are a whole can of worms. It's hey, let's just give players access to every monster. Also, we've made so many new monsters.
Yeah.
We're talking about all the broken. There's going to be some broken in there, I promise you.
Gravity
some stuff we have
squeeze.
to change.
Man, Marvel was so sick when it was
You know,
new Marvel 3.
They've done, but I mean, effectively, what the time
Foot dive.
between early
And then
access
hidden
this was, like,
missiles.
actually attempt
Man, that was one of
to
the
balance
funniest
out.
assists
Like, see if
ever.
there's anything that's going to be a problem.
It's
with
just-
this
Yeah,
stuff.
but now you've got to account
fucking
all those support
missiles.
gems on all those monsters.
Yes, this is a
Hidden missiles were the
support
funniest
teams work-
assists,
support teams
dude.
work on them. And
Hidden
you know, like,
missiles.
what the hell's that going to do? Yeah, like it's impossible to completely know. But yeah,
Hidden
like, look,
missiles.
There's
That's a
probably,
good
there's
one.
probably definitely some dark
Good
secrets
times.
lying in what kind of Spectre mixed with.
I had fun with Marvel
Monsters have
3
skills now.
in
It's not
its
like
prime.
Pokemon,
Someone just got
exactly.
shot. What'd you do?
Just doing default attack. It's like.
Why'd you shoot that
everything's
guy?
Skill now at this point. So
Anyway,
But,
get
you know,
shot.
the great thing about it is we got to leverage all that work again for the beast taming as well. So,
Too much foot
if there's
diving?
difference
Damn!
we also get the mods
That
from the,
shit's cheap,
thing
dude.
called
You
Tank.
can't even spam
So,
foot
yeah,
dive in
that's
the
gonna
chat
be,
without getting hated on.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't like him?
Yep. No, you've got a whole other ruckus of potential interactions.
Damn.
So, you know, we'll see what happens there.
We've done nice specific
She had enough
player
foot
versions
dives.
of those things for which specific
Didn't
to,
like 'em.
Tame the beast
Lol.
so that they're not sitting there spamming skills in your hideout and all of that.
Good. Yes. So
But also, like, there actually are player versions of the mods that Res can get, like, so that we can balance them if we need to.
Yeah.
Because some of that stuff would be ridiculous if you.
That
had
one's
so
crazy.
basically, we
The
still have
bootlegged
support.
headhunter
Mostly
that
works
comes
the
with
same
the
way, but it'll just
ascendancy,
be
you get to
numbers tweaked
steal
to
rare
player
mods.
versions. And the same works as well
That's
for
cool.
the what do you call it? The ritual sacrifice.
Headhunter,
Headhunter and stuff like that. So yeah, player versions of the monster mods for that.
Yeah, this new attention to these things is going to benefit like the pre-existing stuff like Headhunter and that as well. Yeah, that's insane.
There's a new. Probably should let people discover it. There's a new unique charm that possesses you with a random Asmiri spirit as well, and so you get the
Thank you.
stats. And
Wow.
those technically also have player versions too, but actually, not to necessarily make things worse, to make things better, because monsters are balanced to fight player life and monster life, not in the same universe. So, actually, what we've done is all the things you steal
Thanks, clever
that
fella.
are monsters and the monster skills, like the explosions and the summoning bears and all that, we've actually specifically balanced them way up to be more effective against monster. So when you steal them, they're much more powerful, actually. Just so they're not just tickling monsters and doing 1% of their life kind of thing.
It was mentioned in chat actually, the whole like Asmeri modifiers and things on stuff that wouldn't transfer over with the companion system, surely.
Excuse me.
No.
Thank you.
A little bit too far. perhaps, a bit
Thanks, beautiful Jen.
We actually had to, because this is certainly a benefit. Once you have tamed the beast, it is not tradable. And people might immediately be like, oh, so that's sad. Well, the issue is, and as much as you might want some of that, I'm sure you don't want to be carrying around a whole bunch of tame beasts in your inventory all the time. So that every single time you find a good rare, all of a sudden you have to go and...
Because it would mean that finding a rare would become a thing. Yes, exactly.
It's actually like this annoying, in order to make the most money, I have to be constantly thinking about and carrying around tame beasts.
But then we also made it so that as soon as you activate a beast, then no one who comes into the instance after that is allowed to tame it.
Can't do any,
so you can't TFT the
Oh shit!
TFT
TFT protection.
Thinking about that stuff in order to make it so that
It's a sad thing to have lost, but it is like no, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not signing up
I didn't even think about that. The
cool.
needing for cheat sheets and guides
exactly,
and stuff.
right.
Like,
and so you have to be really careful. You have to be so careful.
This week.
And the thing is
10
it's like we just
dads
thing,
talking at the same time. Can't fucking understand anything.
Actually, of what it will turn into. It's like, but yeah, at least we're thinking about that kind of thing. Like with more experience that we have now early, so that we don't. Sort of run into
yeah, they're having a good laugh.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've learned from past issues with that sort of trading.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, talking about some of the other new skills, we had the addition of the Roar, which was a tease quite some time ago, I think.
Yes.
But you've got it in and working now, and it looks like it's moving around pretty good.
Yes.
It's obviously... you've got like a big downside. If you get knocked off at heavy stun and stuff, you can't use melee from it, so it's for ranged attacks.
Yeah.
But it does seem like one of those things that it's going to be like everyone's going to use or no one's going to use because it's a clear speed machine.
It is a concern. I mean, look, my ideal situation is that you're using it sometimes and not using it other times. Like, if you're using it like during clear, I think it will, like you will definitely want to. But we want to just make sure that we've got like sort of fun things like that, and like it's just a cool fantasy. Like there's stuff like that I just want to get in, and it's like look, if it doesn't work later, if we have to nerf it, I mean sure, I suppose, but
that means it's gonna be really good. Everyone's gonna be riding on a horse.
That it is balanced as much as we can.
You sound very convinced.
Yeah, it's balanced.
As I said earlier, you can
calling out
build
each
to
other's
get to the point of
intonation
carrying
and
indefinitely.
cadence, huh?
That means
I need
you
more
can
coffee.
probably get to the point of riding a rower indefinitely.
Sure.
Again, enough evasion. And
what are you guys playing? Mark of the Wolves?
Stagger
I want to try it.
and all of that.
I haven't even really looked at it because every time I try to look at it, somehow
the
I'm
move speed is just
forced to look away.
Yeah, but it's what you don't get is the penalty for when you attack.
Yeah.
So,
Monster Hunter,
that's
Fortnite.
That's the thing. But it's funny. It's funny though because
the net
even though it
code
doesn't have a move
sucks.
speed bonus, it feels like you're motoring when you're using it, just because of the fact you don't get that downside
Yeah.
anymore. Like you feel like the fastest thing on the planet.
It is.
When you're doing.
Yeah, there are other like more mechanical benefits. Like,
Silent Hill 2
it's considered a
Riamke,
companion, which is a kind of subclass of minion that we've added, where you can only have one of each one companion base is a keystone for another, but you can only have one of each type. So like you can have a tame beast and a rower with the keystone.
Oh right, yeah.
But inherently you can only have one companion.
Right, so you can't use a tame beast if you're using the rower.
And then there are heaps of passives for like if you have a companion. Like
that's all Huntress specific.
And all
Man,
that stuff, heaps of that stuff.
The tree. Yeah, I saw you. Guys
I'm tempted to, dude. A league.
Player damage on the tree.
That's interesting. So you can. It's an opt-in league reset, right?
Well, that's the like companion.
I think that's how it's gonna work. Like you can either continue with your shit in standard or opt in league reset.
You want your one powerful minion.
I wonder if they're gonna add like buyouts on console. They didn't announce anything like that, right?
I like the idea of like balance wise
trade changes to the trade system on console.
Roll back, and then you get to the boss.
That shit, the lack of it makes me want to play solo.
Charge in battle and then dismount and fight.
Yep.
So if it ends up like that, that seems like
concept.
I think that should be the best way to use it. I believe.
Yeah, because then you gain access to your dodge roll for the boss fight where you need it.
Yeah.
And does the rower then...
You really think that playing on console is more nerdy than playing a video game with a mouse and keyboard? Come on, man. You sound like a moron. You sound just like you look.
But it acts as a distraction, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's a minion, right? Like it attacks things and does stuff.
Yeah, you can support it with minion supports to make it more durable and all of that. So
yeah. Oh, I mean, there's the one that's like the minion takes 10% of.
I mean, it's in PoE 1. That's why I think it would get added. Yeah, there's pad support on PC. It's fine. I just don't want to sit in front of a computer during my free time.
This time?
I don't like sitting in front of a computer. That's why I play on console.
In general, is this about really like filling that roster?
Well, we want to have every base type have a unique for the purposes of chance.
Outside of boss uniques.
Outside of boss uniques. So we want every base type to have a unique that you can chance. And so that was with the eventual goal. One of the things, of course, that we had that was sort of a problem in early access is that because of the way, because when we were designing uniques, we kind of designed them like in order from base
computer
type up,
hooked to the TV is the strat. You're still sitting in front of a computer.
We ended up
if
with
you
all
do
the
that.
uniques first, kind of before the
whole point is to not sit in front of a computer.
Kind of stupid because
we thought we'd get
we thought we'd get through them all, right? We were like, okay, we'll get all the uniques, and so we designed them all. It's like, okay, we'll start working on the art, just go down the list. So then we're like, oh crap, now we don't have very many in-game uniques. So this time we're like, okay, we really need to make sure that in-game uniques are a thing. There's way more of them that
you can use controllers on PC.
Making sure there's lots of cool stuff. Lots of
then interacting with you guys is like some kind of science experiment.
You discovered the sort order.
I feel like this is some kind of science experiment.
Effectively, like you should.
Hey,
it should be a lot
amigo.
better. There's lots of cool stuff there.
How's it going?
We're just gonna keep going with that. By the way,
retarded, huh?
100 now, 100 later, 100 next.
Cool.
Just keep going until kind of honestly, we never really stop making uniques. Like,
well, have a good day.
Especially anyone familiar with Path of Exile 1's history, is every single expansion since the dawn of time has had new uniques added to it. So, there's
big gulps, huh? All right, see ya.
As well.
So then let's talk about the idea of like players seeing a unique and be like, 1x, that's not very good. What do you guys want uniques to be in Path of Exile 2? Like, how powerful should they be? What should they be aiming to do? And how should they affect the rares in that slot?
I mean, it's always a tension because we want rares to...
Man, they didn't even have autism before. Isn't that crazy? It just means like all of these undiagnosed MRs are running around and shit, dude. They hadn't invented it yet. Just dudes running around, being posers, acting all normal, undiagnosed and shit. People like Rip. Come on, man.
We don't always.
They just hadn't invented that shit yet, dude.
I mean, we've got sort of ideas, obviously, but it's like
that's fucked up.
Not necessarily designed to say. Okay,
you got lucky. You dodged that shit.
An in-game build
10 years earlier, you'd be in a different classroom.
And that's because you're kind of putting in things where, you know, later on, some other mechanics.
We always knew, yeah, but they hadn't invented a word for it yet.
The unique kind of comes into its own. And I mean, that's the same as like magic card design philosophy, that kind of stuff. You just
they had to invent the word.
Stuff and sort of, you know, maybe find something. But obviously, it can mean that, like, you know, when people see a new unique, they might they dismiss it. But then one day they might also be paying vast amounts for it.
And everyone else.
So you know, but I feel like a game has to have that stuff in it in order to feel like there's lots of interesting ways to experiment. Because, like, you know, it's like. The feeling of being the first person to discover some new interaction is an amazing thing, and then when people see something that like feels smart, and it's like, you know, like if we don't have uniques that just take chances and do weird shit, we'll never have that kind of stuff happen.
Yeah.
So you know,
when we're designing a unique, we don't think about what's the value.
Just generally when they're speaking, Jonathan, while he's speaking, he smiles.
In some cases, you know.
And the other guy, you could tell it's like a struggle to smile. Like he has to lift up his heavy cheeks. He's like powerlifting and he's got to do a max out full fucking bench press to smile.
Clearly, this is powerful.
That's no good. It gets worse. The older you get, the more your face gets cemented that way.
We don't know.
You should smile, chat.
Just throw it in, and sometimes
chicks like it too. Trust me.
But we don't know that necessarily. It's like let's just
everyone
take an
likes smiles.
Throw it in there and let the players figure that out.
Yeah, I feel like you're with a lot of these uniques, you're designing a question. You're just like, I'm gonna put something.
And guys, gauge.
Figure that out.
Well, I think it's
yeah,
it's
that too. Everyone.
Right? Yeah. It's just a piece in the puzzle. You put
except
it
monkeys. I think that smiling to a monkey is a sign of fear. Isn't it? I think that monkeys, when they show their teeth, that means they're scared. It's a sign of fear. Aggression, yeah, maybe aggression. I don't know.
Crazy.
Something like that.
So far, where do they want to be?
Maybe animals in general.
How hard
they don't like smiles. I don't know.
You need to consider like how
expensive
they end up being.
It's really tricky. So whenever we're looking, so if there's a unique that's broken, I guess there's two responses, right? One of them is make it rare enough that you only get the brokenness after the point when you're at the point where you're supposed to get that, right?
Yeah.
Which is to say, like, you know, post pinnacle boss type, like level of character development, right? And then the other response would be nerf the actual unique, and it honestly is a case by case. Like, you know,
I took a break, didn't I?
I think that
it was a little late.
Like Temporalis, for example, actually got nerfed in both ways. The actual unique was nerfed a little bit, I believe, although I don't believe it's maybe as much as what players might expect. But then also, okay, one over. But also, we have made that one rarer.
Did they talk about Herald?
Oh, it's still crazy, for sure. But the thing is, like, you want to chase stuff, right?
Because that's I think that ruined PoE 2 in a way. Heralds.
So therefore, that one becoming rarer, I think, was the right answer there, because it was way too common. Just due to the...
We had also the issues with I mean, there were three real issues. One is darkness at one point.
Release date is the 4th.
So all of a sudden, no-hit run. It wasn't a no-hit run.
Yeah.
You had guard bypass.
Thank you. Thanks, Christopher Crow.
Again, a no-hit run is not a no-hit run. And then there was just like, well, how can anything hit you if you can kill literally everything on your screen in one frame, right? So those three problems, and so as the balance issue of not everything surviving for more than one frame due to a subset of builds, and those other two things go away, it becomes a lot rarer in itself. That it is much harder to acquire, require like very specific and ideally high skill gameplay. And then there's just like, well, it also was just too common. The relic.
Yeah, they haven't said anything about console trade.
Because this is a hard challenge.
I played SSF the entire time. I've never traded anything in PoE 2 because of how awful trading is on PC.
The rarity kind of,
or on console now. I really want them to add the PoE 1 trading system on console. They should just add that to PC as well, but whatever.
Which was the same role in PoE 1's version of the Sanctum, just to give us some sort of comparison.
It's just much easier to actually reliably do it.
And it shouldn't have been that much more common.
Trading is insanely shitty.
So
I can't believe that's acceptable by the player base.
I thought we'd maybe get like one little thing. Maybe you do something with essences or something, but
really,
you've got
I'm surprised
essences
that that's
coming out of
accepted.
more, it looks like you've got because you're violent. You can
So
you
greater
can-
To me, it's
Greater essences,
unacceptable.
like,
I don't
there's
play
much
trade
one thing we
because
didn't
of
mention in
that
the video
trading
is that,
system.
Like, omens are way
I
more
can't
common because
stand it.
I believe you made changes in omen in every
Thanks, Sheila Jones.
Times more common, I think.
Yeah, than every thing. So like you've got stuff like that. Like we certainly knew that we needed to do more with what crafting stuff, and so we're kind of like, well, let's just make sure we're at least adding. You know,
I feel
3 or
like I
4
wish
things,
more
like, new things
people
to the
would
Every
take a
ritual
stand
will now have
against
one at
the
least
way
one
trading
omen.
works now,
So you can
so that
know
the
if
devs
finishing
would
ritual, like,
understand
what
that
was
it's
the omen
unacceptable.
and if it's a good
I
one,
feel like
maybe most
this
omens
is
will
one
have
category
But yeah,
that
greater
they're
essences,
very strict
obviously,
on,
yeah, vile
that I
ones
feel
are
like
much
is
more common, you know,
25-year-old
and
thinking.
everything like that.
Nobody
We have
fucking
more,
wants to
and then, of
trade
course, there's
this
the
way,
improvements
dude.
to things
This
like
is
the runes,
agonizing.
mods that you can get from them,
This
there's,
is
like,
one
runes,
department
like,
that I
yeah, like,
think
we
they
just
are
wanted to
straight
expand the
up
set and,
wrong.
having
And
the kind of
there are not many departments
Yeah,
that
the
I
niche
think
mods
that.
that
There are a lot of
have
things where I
like,
think,
just-
okay,
yeah, just
this is
needs
their
more.
game. They have
And,
the right to do it
yeah,
how
it's
they
sort of interesting
want.
because, like,
But this
some people say, "Oh,
specific
you don't
thing,
have crafting in
they
there,
are
you know,
wrong.
it's like-
They are wrong. This
But it's like we have a
sucks
huge number of crafting
fucking
systems, and
ass.
the crafting being good kind of
No
comes down to,
way.
like, how many of these
No
weird
way,
systems
dude.
are there and
This
how
type
they're
of
crap.
trade
But we just have to be
fucking
really careful
sucks,
because,
dude.
You know, like,
It's gotta stop.
you don't want to get to the point where ground items
I wish
are
that more
limited.
people would
Like,
take a
and I
stand
think
against
Kiwi
it.
One kind of basically did get to that point for various reasons, where like people aren't caring what's on the ground nearly as much. So we still want to make sure with every change we're making that, you know, they still use the ground stuff, that you're still excited for things on the ground, like, and so that's like a really careful balancing act because they do directly contravene each other. Like the better stuff you can craft, the less important the ground stuff is. So you kind of, it's a really sort of subtle balance.
Yeah, I did
But,
full
yeah, I
solo
think that
self-found
the
last
stuff
time.
will definitely push things in a way where you feel like there's more smart things that you can do to kind of improve your stuff.
Yeah, well, I think done right, and what you're doing is making sure that the ground items do matter with each of these crafting systems. So
exactly.
you had that fundamental change where you can't just turn an item back into a white item.
Exactly, and that's
Thanks
very,
very
important.
much,
One of the biggest
Chemical
ones, I think.
Rage.
And, that kind of
I
thing
can't even
unlocks
tell
the
how many
ability to do
gifted
more.
subs that was.
Yeah, so the
10?
great thing about the
Hey,
socket
thanks
ability
very
crafting
much
system is that they don't
for
compromise the
gifting
ground
10
rules
subs.
because
Thank
they don't,
you.
I don't really know how the
stuff that you
discount
can
works,
around,
but
so
there's apparently
that's,
some kind of a
that's really-
gifted
but when it
sub
comes to kind of
discount
the
right
basic
now.
mods,
Thanks.
We do want to retain, like, you know,
Thanks,
that
Poopy
has, we want to
Butthole,
retain
and
for the
thanks,
most
Chemical
part,
Rage.
The kind of thing of like that part of the item generation is random. It's just that.
Did you give 20
it's
subs
just
or
on top of
10?
that,
Because
you
here
can
it says
unlock
20.
things that you can add
I
in
can't
addition
even
to
tell. It doesn't
And when you
matter.
do it
Thanks.
That way it works really well. So socketables work really well as a crafting system for that reason.
Thanks.
Well, so on that topic, we've had this.
Thanks,
talking
Sheila
to you,
Jones.
Like you're always saying to me that like
35% off of 5+
players
subs.
Don't keep asking for a bench anyway.
Right,
Cool,
right, right.
So
thanks.
obviously there's like a branding issue or a
100%.
functionality
So
gap.
it is funny because I was actually saying the other day that like if we had literally had that system be identical, except that the way it was themed was that there's a crafting bench you go to and craft extra mods on the items, like which literally be functionally the same, I think, and required materials that are effectively the runes that you get. Like then I feel like people would be thinking that we've got a crafting bench. But yeah, ultimately that is that the rune system, the socketables are what replaced the crafting bench in the PoE1 style crafting bench.
And I guess it must have also been like with that initial kind of out.
You think putting trade in
just not as
game
many
would be
options.
easier than
100%.
what it
So that is
is?
the issue. And that's
They
because
don't
were
want
originally
trade in
development.
game.
So now
They've
we're sort of
said that
expanding
they don't
We'll
want
continue
trade
to
in
add more
game because they
sockables
think it's
probably with
too
every
powerful,
release, right? Like,
and
we'll
you
add categories
will,
and they'll do different
your
things.
character
It's
will
expanding
become
the
too
type of
strong
mods.
too
There
fast
is a thing
if they
where,
don't add
it's
friction
more,
to
like,
the trading
in the
process.
base mod pool for
It's
items,
on
there are
purpose.
things that are really fundamental.
That's what they
so
say.
anything that's kind of out there, we don't want to put in the base mod pool because then you end up with this sort of situation where you get items. That
That's what they
that you don't
say.
care about. Like the crafting is where you
It reminds me of back in the day when I used to tell Harada, why don't you put frame data in the game? And his response was, we want it to be something that the players discover on their own, like an Easter egg.
Attack weapons, for example.
I'd walk away from that thinking like,
It was more just a choice for
this
some
guy
people
makes
who
the
just
game that I love?
It was also
Fuck.
just like a little-
You know, like I walk away from that thinking like, oh, fuck. You know, this guy makes the game that I love? Oh. You know? What the fuck?
The skill as opposed to just,
It really makes no
I think
sense.
it is something that we should
You know?
probably look
I mean,
into.
yeah, it makes sense if
Yeah, 'cause
you
the asymmetry things
are
it's good.
undiagnosed,
Not everything be super homogeneous,
I
but,
guess.
because we're talking about the importance of it being that extra
But
layer of
I
control of
disagree.
your items, which you just don't have if you're doing spellcaster.
Oh,
gear.
maybe we'll add an Arcanist's bench and theme it that way for the
Okay. All right. You forced my hand. I have to bring this up now. Can we get some sort of like cohesive, all-in-one bench for disenchanting, salvaging, selling for gold, Arcanist benching at endgame? I get in the campaign having these things be separate, but I like at endgame, it's so much clicky.
You're not
busy
happy
work.
enough with them just being next to each other, putting them next to each other, and you
No.
know. No. All right. Well, that's all right. I'll think about that one.
Okay, good. I've planted the seeds at least.
They're thinking.
On my part.
All right.
There's ways.
Max, there's ways. I like the sound
Thanks,
of that.
Or at
Iron
least for
Hammer.
endgame. Like,
Yeah, that's
I
what
do.
figured, yeah.
I don't want the world to not feel like it makes sense.
Absolutely.
So,
But
Having it that you can just,
endgame,
like-
you've got your hideout where they're
Well,
all
it would
like-
have to be a hideout related thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, people are putting their NPCs within each other's personal space anyway, so
Yeah.
the law goes out the window at that
Yeah,
point.
for sure.
So we've also got Fractured, crafted via.
That's crazy, Fractured
orbs. How rare are those?
how do you quantify rarity like that? They drop from the monsters. I can't remember the exact number, but like I think I was kind of saying like 1 per biome, which is the kind of total blob of cleansed monsters. But then that obviously does get affected by things like pack size and all that on top of that.
Yeah.
So is that
and
like
then,
5 maps or something?
Well, it depends on how many of them you kill as corrupted.
Yeah,
Because
so-
Fracturing
didn't
orb
cleanse while you were
without being able to alteration or
like when
essence.
you go into a biome, am I going to beeline straight for the Nexus?
I wonder how all the other
then cleanse
materials
everything,
will
or am I
be.
going to just fight them all as corrupted to get the rewards?
Fracturing
back?
orb
So
is
you're kind
sick,
of choosing
though.
one reward or the other based on what you decide to run.
I really like
Okay, so
that
you can kinda
orb in
leave the Nexus
PoE
walls
1.
if you want to.
Yes, if you want to
use it to try and get more fractured orbs.
Well, you
it's the other way around.
way
So
around,
do
yeah.
Nexus first, then it
That's
cleanses all the
probably
maps,
my
and then now
favorite
you can
orb,
get the most
actually.
chance of,
Like, you know,
fractured
currency
orbs, or
item.
You can, fight them corrupted.
It's such a hype
Too
gamble.
bad, man. I just stopped smoking
The
yesterday.
1 in 4.
We have like for example the corrupted.
Thanks,
bosses have their
Conso
own uniques now.
Reborn.
Yeah, so you're gonna want that's.
There's a bunch of new modifiers and how they,
It's
so
gonna
they
be rare and
corrupted
expensive,
strongbox
guaranteed.
kind of things and all of that stuff. So
Clever.
you kind of really are gonna have a look at the mods. I like
Are
this. I'm
there-
gonna do this, then this, then this. Then
I think it
this,
should
then
be
I'm gonna do
rare
the
and
rest
expensive
cleansed.
though because it makes it special. I like
Not
that
yet,
it's special.
not yet. It does have. It guarantees a fractured orb though as well.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So you can
and-
get the boss.
So and you'll display if you hover over the map and it says like contains I can't remember his name. Then
Oh,
you
he
run it and kill
guarantees
it,
a
you will get
fracturing orb, the
So
boss.
at least you will know that will drop one.
So
The patch
fractured
notes are
orbs
next
being way
week?
fracturing,
Really?
powerful for crafting.
Woof.
Are there any fractured items dropping pre-fractured? I quite liked that.
I think we went with no in the end.
Yeah,
we
not
were going to do
currently.
it, but then we decided not to. But we might do it later.
Yeah, so an extra add-on. Is there a particular reason for it or thought process for that?
There just kind of wasn't anything that really fit that exactly. I think.
So
At some
items
point you
don't
want
drop
some
fractured.
thing to
Yeah,
go in that-
probably.
Like this is
Personally, I would rather just drop
Switch
more
to
orbs.
direct on
Honestly,
Wednesday.
let people choose how they want to use them.
What's that? What's
I like it from the
that?
perspective
Switch
of
to
drop
direct.
items matter. Like
Thanks.
when you're
Yeah,
seeing
but
a
Thanks,
rare-
kind of
new
already
Donkey
do.
Kong
They kind
incoming.
of do here,
Oh,
yeah,
it's a
yes.
thing?
Like,
Yeah, I'm not gonna
because
watch
you need
that
that
trash.
as the thing of the fracture,
makes
so it's
sense.
kind of not necessary. I think.
There's other little subtle
thanks.
things, like for example, the cleansed monsters within cleansed maps can't drop equipment as a little thing. So they have much higher. Obviously, they're dropping things more like waystones, tablets, currency.
Did you hear him?
They don't get to drop.
He
any of
said
the
that
armor
there's a
and things, so they're
limited
more
drop
currency
pool for
sources,
certain
like
types of
interesting
monsters.
thing, 'cause you
want
That
more currency,
means because of that, they drop the other things
So we have
more
licenses,
often.
a lot more
That's a
owns,
Diablo
actually,
2
the
thing.
Fractured recombination with
That's
the
a Diablo
new,
2
more
thing.
accessible at low and mid tier.
Design
Like, you know,
point
ghosts have a different drop table. Ghosts
is,
will never drop
yeah, this is
armor or
racist,
weapons,
so
so
many
as a
guns
result, they drop
This is
more
a huge leap forward.
runes
Zero point
and
ones
jewelry
crafting.
and
So was it just about
potions
that you
and
had to
shit.
establish that really like humble baseline for crafting, so that you could then go crazy with it like this?
Honestly, I mean, look, on some level, it can just be, like the. You need an economy. You need to see how things evolve. We just don't want to do too much at once. I mean, although this may seem like quite a lot. I mean,
It does, yeah.
but the thing is like, but in terms of the initial system, it's like if we'd have had all that at the start,
Yeah.
I think that we wouldn't have been like, we'll put it this way: it is hard to take the stuff away, so that's why we
Yeah.
have to be a little bit careful as we do this.
Yeah, I guess you needed to kind of assess the fundamental things like the no scours, the no
100%,
bolts, and stuff like
100%.
that as well. Because then you can have a better idea of how to build.
What's going on? Are you guys snitching?
Crafting.
No, of course, and if you know us, like, more. There's always
Thank you.
Oh, you gotta have a new craft for every league, right? That's how it is these days.
Oh, yes.
I got rid of them.
Crafting system for every league. Thank you.
Something like that.
That's somewhat actually.
Instantly erased.
I love it.
I wonder how it looks when you get
So,
banned.
let's talk about Endgame then, because that had some humble origins.
Your
as well.
screen and your viewing area, it turns blank.
Endgame. Obviously
Like
trying some new
immediately when I
things.
ban
Not
someone,
necessarily
it just
going
turns
to
blank,
Endgame, but
and you
how far
can't
your
see the
vision was
chat
like
anymore
towards
either.
Endgame, was it what you want?
I would say that
That's
the main
cool.
problem that we had is there wasn't enough overlapping axes of randomness as we
There's
call
a
them, where
lock
effectively
symbol on the
you need to have it so that when
screen.
you go into a map, there's
Whoa.
just chances for random shit
Sweet.
occurring, and then that
Get
random
locked
shit
out.
like might happen alongside some other random shit, and then now the thing together is like a new scenario. So
Can't
I mean,
wait to hear
effectively,
this
like,
guy's apology.
yeah, exactly, right. So let's like, if you look at what we actually added here in terms
Yeah,
of like
alright,
encounters,
there
if you will,
you
whatever
go.
that means to you. Like
I
we've added
forgive
kind of
you,
more than 40,
but
probably
you're
something
still
approaching
banned.
50 encounters, and that's if like if you count.
You
them,
should
like,
be able to customize it.
one,
Oh my
like,
god,
explosive
that's
one,
such a
like
good
that. So
idea,
those are the
dude.
things. The big difference between the ones we had before and the ones we have now is
That
the
is
big
such a
overlap
fucking
of
great
things. So
idea.
you have a situation.
Have
where,
you
know,
seen
you've
that
got
picture
the
of a
area
guy
that,
wearing like
happens
jeans
to
or
affect
something,
the
and
unique
he's
boss
bent
of the
over
area,
backward,
and that leads to a
and
combat situation.
he's holding a
Deal with
Danish,
war,
like a
where you
raspberry
have, like, lots of
Danish,
essence
over
things
his
that, like, you know,
asshole,
like, oh, crap,
and
you
it
know,
looks
this
like
is
he's
the
like
worst
pulling
place
his
for
asshole
things to
apart.
turn into a
That's
boss.
the image I would
Like,
put there.
You know, it's just like it's all that stuff.
That's the
combining,
one.
What happens when this goes with a with a new strongbox?
The
and
one
it's like
with
all that combining
cheese
stuff.
Danish
That's what leads to a
asshole.
situation where you've got an exponential explosion of like
It has a
combat
name?
situations.
Yeah,
And then
that one.
Sometimes you just run into stuff that you've never seen before because of that, because of this combined in some interesting way. And that's
Enjoy
something
your
that
day,
definitely
amigo.
PoE1 has got very well because it's got so many of these things that have been added over time. And it's also something that we
Waldo.
took care to make sure.
Thanks, I'm
actually,
getting deported.
specifically
Heh
good.
And
so what
mixed
PoE2
string
lacked
flow.
was, I think, that. And so that will mean, I think, that the end game is much more engaging. Now, obviously, we're going to be adding more content and more of the other stuff, but fundamentally,
I
it's like
didn't
it
take
wasn't
a
enough
break,
it was
did I?
specifically more of
I can
that
feel a
type
little
of
whiz
stuff
coming
that we
on.
needed to do. And honestly, I don't think we've even got enough yet.
How much
We need
longer do you
more,
think that
like,
these
we'll
guys are
keep
going
on
to
adding
wait
that stuff,
until
but,
their
it needed to become a
mustaches
focus.
connect
And,
to their
I think
beards?
part of the reason is that, like, when you're
How long
when
do you
we're
think
first
that's
working
going
on
to
games,
take?
Right? It's like we need to come up with the big ticket items, right? Like what are the the league things?
10
like
more
the maps,
minutes?
And, like, we need to come up with all that stuff, and so it's the little detaily kind of things that kind of a little bit require a bit more like time and stuff to work on. Even though they're actually
PoE 3.
relatively efficient to make. Like we can make a lot of them when we do.
Oh, that's why he frowns so much?
Making strongbox, like sure, it's like it's weird,
He's trying to reach it?
but it is.
He's trying to get his
But it is
mustache
stuff
to
that really
reach
adds
his
all the flavor and
beard.
interest, so
That's
we'll
why
just
he
continue to do that through the
frowns.
game. And I mean,
I
even
never
yesterday
thought
we
of
had a
that.
conversation about, like,
He's
making
reaching,
more
dude.
of the maps,
Trying to
even just, like,
connect.
regular maps, have more
Oh,
interesting, just little
it adds
things that
up.
happen in them and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like more like what the campaign has.
Love that.
All you
so,
do
you
is
know, we haven't,
talk
like, got
shit,
there
dude.
yet, but, like,
When are you
as
gonna
through
grow
early
up?
access, we'll definitely be just like introducing more
Never.
of those little details.
I'm going to
everywhere
get
so
up
you
and
get the
stretch.
information.
I'll be
Yeah,
back.
so a bit like those
This
exploration
is already
mechanics
maximum
in
volume.
campaigns.
100%, yeah,
Could be a
exactly.
thing
That's just we just want to make sure that you feel that
I'll
same
be back,
way
people.
through the in-game as well.
And with the leagues as well.
Yeah.
And like there's really only so much randomness that can occur within a breach in a map, and so they will end up feeling ultra repetitive. Whereas and again in PoE1 you had the boss that could spawn occasionally. You had 5 different factions. Things like that. And it is very much our intention to expand on all the leagues to have way more random things occurring, mini bosses spawning, whatever else. I have a whole set. I don't want to spoil them all yet because that's a whole later thing. But definitely want to expand on all that. Even Expedition only has the one boss. It had 4 in the predecessor. Like we need to get back to having all of that depth and all of combat and all of those mechanics, and it'll help hugely, while also making sure we're adding new ones, of course. But what we definitely have learned is that our minimum standard for new ones is going to it should include all of these things from the get-go.
Right.
Otherwise, we're just signing ourselves up for, like, here's 1,000 things we need to improve.
Right.
It'd be nice to actually get some of them finished. So that's going to be a goal going forward for sure.
But I think it's like it is where our type of design shines, because like adding content is no longer a process of like, we work on a thing and then the players get to play, like
it gets into a situation where like adding content has more value than just the content itself. It like because it adds to everything else too, and so that kind of makes it feel like the world gets like larger in much larger proportion than what you have, and so like it's an n squared thing where like you get the square of all the stuff we add. So that, like basically it'll feel like it's ramping up in terms of interest as we add more content rather than just feeling like you're just continuing like rather than every league feeling like you just add the same amount. It'll feel like it gets even bigger each time.
Yeah, like when you add Asmeri Wisps, that's not just about adding that. It interacts with all the other things that already exist that it can go ahead and affect. So that's tackling one of the, ultimately, I think the biggest things is just that like the core basic mapping of running an empty map was boring. And that's never what you want to be, obviously.
Yeah, we need to get it.
So like some of the issues there, I guess, as well, that were exacerbated by that problem was the fact that the maps were so big and that there were so many of them. Obviously, that's getting a lot better with the maps themselves becoming much more interesting. But it seems like this corruption and cleansing mechanic is breaking up and giving you something to progress through as you move towards the next tower or next boss or next other mechanic. I mean, I guess there's always something on your screen that you're pushing towards, it looks like.
Well, we want to try and like honestly, I don't even think we're even quite there yet. Like we really want to make it so that you feel like there's lots of quests, as it were, in endgame, like not necessarily directly in the form of like here is a quest objective, but like that you sort of have this feeling of like there's like different stuff that you're like that you feel like there's a thing, you know, like exactly right. You need to ideally like every time you do one of those, it's like there's another one just on the horizon that you're thinking about. So if we can achieve that, then we'll have succeeded. But it'll need to keep adding stuff, right? Like just more and more things, because obviously you need to have enough just core there to be able to get to the point of it doesn't feel like you're just repeating the same thing over and over again as well.
It seemed like this like explorable world map thing that you did for Endgame, being like looking like a physical actual map, was really wanting us to explore, but that wasn't really much of that. So you kind of
well, I mean, ideally we can. It's just about content really at that point. You just need to add more and more, and we'll keep on adding more. And this
100% get more.
And 0 to 0, I think, goes a long way to improving that for sure.
So with the corruption mechanic now, you're going to see some corruption on the map, and you're going to want to go there because it's a system that you can interact with.
Exactly,
and it's your skill points.
yes. So you're unlocking skill
points
from that, which means you're unlocking more of the Atlas tree earlier on.
Your first Nexus, you have to run at a tier 1 map. And it will drop 2 skill points. It'll give you your first 2 skill points.
Awesome.
And then you're like, all right, where's my next Nexus?
You know I've never liked you,
Rip. And then your next one, and you have to do them 1 tier higher every time. So the second one you got to do at tier 2 to get your skill points and so on and so forth.
It's not just grind 10 maps.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Good. I love it.
So yeah, it is very much like let's go and clear these corrupted Nexus, and then it's like, well, and there's the whole mechanic around it. But yeah, if you want to just like I want to get my points as fast as possible, just go Nexus to Nexus to Nexus and get as many as you can. If you're like, oh, I can't see any Nexus, maybe go to a tower to reveal more, and then what you're doing way less frequently, mind you, thank goodness.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a lot more objective driven as opposed to just again random grind and random exploration. There's at least you should be seeing a pretty decent chunk of unique maps.
I was going to ask,
I call them
unique
maps.
It's funny because I was pointing out to Matt the other day that the distinction between a unique map and a normal, like there is no distinction anymore. We shouldn't even look at it that way. Like it should be that every map is like unique in some sense.
There's not a unique.
There's not a unique.
We do have an icon for it because they are kind of in a different.
What I miss. Thanks, Undiagnosed Aris fan 420, and Jonathan's chin line, and thanks. I'm getting deported.
There's no actual reason for a unique to be any different than a normal.
I kind of want to try out Mark of the Wolves. I heard it fucking sucks. Thanks, Quail Main.
I mean,
I haven't signed up yet. I should.
Look, as I said, I think.
Damn it, I forgot.
How many?
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. I want to.
I just don't remember them.
I mean, as I said, they should be common enough that you feel like there's always some kind of objective you're excited about on the screen. Right?
Honestly,
I'm gonna try it.
More common than I was initially comfortable with, and then after trying it, I was like, okay, actually, this is like, this is reasonable.
I tried to sign up the other day, but it wasn't available yet. I guess to sign up, you need to wait till it was out. Once it's out, then it's available to sign up or whatever. It's open to everyone for free.
Like they are just more common. It's not like
sign up now.
Part of the reason it wasn't as common before is because there was only 2.
I mean, I know how, but not with this open.
Boring.
I'd have to turn this off.
One of the other restrictions is that like.
Yeah, it's on the Steam page, but it wasn't available when I tried.
The city biome, so to speak, and that was one of the Citadel
I miss
biomes.
CVS2 so much. Well, they're re-releasing it.
We've not only made
in
that
April,
more
I think.
I'm
gonna play it.
But
Why is your
a lot of the
camera
new
green?
ones,
It's
all
'cause
of the
it's
new ones
old.
aren't restricted to
It's
those
the first
city
camera
biomes,
I
and
ever
thus
bought.
they are appearing more frequently.
I bought it in
Some of them are
November
like,
of
you want deserts 'cause they give
2011.
you the essence map, or you want the mountain because they can give you this and that. You know, so like ideally there's a little bit of just like you see the edge of a desert. and
Anyway,
like,
I don't like when
yes,
people ask that
okay.
because
So that's what I was
everyone
gonna say,
asks
it's like
it,
idea
and
of
it shows that
exploration
they're
is like, I
new
felt there needed to be something
and
with
annoying.
biomes where like you're actually pushing into a biome because there's that one node that like affected your drop slightly, but obviously that's not much.
The one that was the shattered lakes, for example, as you can probably imagine, only spawns in the water biome, and so there's a little bit of like and so does Untainted Paradise, and so does one other. So there are actually 3 special maps that can spawn only in the water.
Thanks, Cyberman.
Thank you.
And otherwise, how easy is it to find? You said there was an icon. Obviously, you kind of have an idea of what biomes. Is it like also something that's pretty visually
there's art there,
spottable on the map?
Yeah, so they
I bought it on Amazon actually.
Megaliths, which had all the storm
This
and
camera,
rain. Well, on the
it was
map,
like
it has a
on
bunch of
sale for
storm
like
and
$70.
lightning.
That's awesome. Cute.
And I've had it for that long.
Great.
It's still good.
So we mentioned the Atlas.
How's the
Acid
roof?
Tree, and seemingly, I think you're getting
it's
better
holding
progression
up.
of that. But definitely an issue I had with the person was that it felt
I'm
very
still gonna
fluffy,
have to get that
both
sorted
for
out
one
when rain
and
season's
also
over.
especially for the league
Mamma
mechanics, where,
mia!
like, the league mechanics you don't get points until you kill the bosses.
Have a
which to
great
me
day,
feels
Kyle.
like the end of it for most players.
Thanks
That
Into the
kind of
Night,
was
you
the
too.
original pitch of that, and I wouldn't say that's really changing here, but there is more.
Can you
we want
still
to do
fix
with
it
that,
with
and I
your
think
phone?
that
When
we
it's
can do
blurry,
that.
yeah.
Zero Two isn't getting
But it
any
gets
changes
blurry
there
way
to
more.
that side. But in terms of the actual core Atlas, it definitely is. You know, like you're getting that earlier. There's more. It's a bigger tree. There's more interesting stuff.
There's subtle changes to getting them in the sense that, like, for example, the
if I put a bright light on the camera,
well, that's actually
it
good.
stops
That's actually
being
a very good
green.
point. So yes,
I can
difficulty
do that.
zero is
I just
now
can't
half
make
the
it
life
green
had
whenever I
before.
want.
And
It
so
just
that's
starts off
It's
green.
currently the same, as what it was before. So it's same top end, but like easy, more.
Yeah,
accessible
people say it's
to
night
people.
vision mode, but it didn't
And
used to
also
go
because of,
on
like,
night vision mode, and it doesn't really
the
seem
reliquary
to
key
give
working
you
the way
night
it does.
vision either.
All pinnacle bosses can drop all uniques at all difficulties, except
Whatever.
they are like substantially
I'm not
less
questioning
common at
it.
difficulty 0, but you feel way less bad for running them at that point now.
Right.
So again, it's just opening that up to a lot more people to farm, and it's not so much dependent on if your build can't do difficulty 4, you're not really a viable character kind of mindset.
So much more easy onboarding for.
Yeah, I got all my
Which will give you your
refunds.
first
I have
set
like
of points.
$96
Certainly a lot
in
easier
Steam
now.
credit.
That being
He
said,
gave me
not if
every
you're playing
refund. I
most
refunded
of
3
the time,
games.
'cause you probably nerfed into the ground, let's be real. So with your new build, we'll have to see how that
Well,
balance
with
goes.
their
but
new broken build.
Yeah,
it's
well,
Thanks,
sure.
Snags.
Thank you.
One of those
New
spec- one of
Spectre
those
builds,
specters,
yeah.
For the resub.
Anyway, the ultimate point being, yeah, you're certainly going to get those initial set of points easier than before. However, yeah, you are right that something isn't quite right there still, and I do need to kind of explore.
We are going to do more with this.
Contributing to
We've talked
layoffs?
about this, I should have taken time to do
I'm
about
doing
it,
what I
not
can.
as much, but,
Doing my
certainly by
part.
the end of early access, I think that system will.
I should write bad
part of it
reviews
also, as we were
too.
talking about before, adding all those extra bits of content to the leagues, it'll help give more interest to the trees and more nodes we can add to actually invest into.
Hey,
So
guy
if
who's
you
talking
think
a
about
lot with
breach,
27 comments
only
in
so much you
here
can actually modify
who
right now,
followed
right?
in
There's a level of
2024.
radius, speed,
Damn.
density of monsters, and like, sure, there's the
You
standard
might
stuff
get
of
shot
monsters,
if
but,
you
like,
keep
you
that
can
up.
only go so far when you don't have all of that depth of
You have
factions
0
and different
timeouts
bosses
too,
and
so
different
I'll just
mini
leave it with
bosses
a
and different,
timeout
you
for
know,
now.
itemization,
You got
and
lucky.
additional things with catalysts and whatnot. Like
We got a
you are
Joker.
quite
Yeah, I
limited
love
in how
jokes, dude.
expansive a tree can be, and
Thanks,
so
Dyer.
It'd be nice to get those things in and also kind of look at the trees at the same time and reevaluate how that works, just so we can have them be more interesting while we're at it.
Right.
But yeah.
And now with the pinnacle bosses, if you're like halfway through a level, you don't need to. Oh, maybe I'll do that when I get the rest of the level now.
Yes, that was a good change. So yeah, as he was saying, as you were saying, you no longer gain experience or lose experience anymore from.
We had a joke
so
together
you
for
feel
5
good
years.
time.
Man, that
so
guy's
I
never
think
gonna
that's
come
just a
back.
Upgrade and,
I'm never gonna be able to
it's
find
not
out
like
what
you
the
were playing
fuck he was
pinnacle
talking
bosses for
about, dude.
experience. So yeah, the downside is no. Is not
He was heartbroken to find out he's been
It also is the nice
communicating
thing of
with
really just keeping,
evil
like,
Aris the
if
whole
we add
time.
more
Someone got
leagues, for
shot. What'd you
example, we
do?
end up with a domain of timeless conflict
guy?
problem, where it's just like rotations to level to max
Oh.
level, like ultra.
Yes,
ultra
we
quick.
don't want
Hey.
that type of
Like,
content to
at
be the
least
way you
now we
level.
can say
You're
like,
banned.
maps are the way you level. Like that is what you're doing. And sure, you might get some sort of unique map rotation here, and maybe not. I don't know. Depends.
I
but
banned him.
Hopefully, we can avoid that. But either way, like it's just really.
I banned
you're
like
playing
4
on
people
maps to
today.
level,
That
and that's
reminds
what
me, I
you're
should
doing.
check my
So
ban
that's nice
options.
about that.
Content, right?
At
though.
least,
It's not something
at least until we've added Delve.
Well, sure. I mean, there will be future parallel in-game systems.
Just one.
Confirmed. I know you want to do something like Delve.
Yes.
You're a fan. I mean, you made the end game look like Delve, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was.
It was that
a
racist guy from
long-term model
earlier.
We need to
Deny.
probably apply to the other game as well. The whole like can't do my content because I got a level and I'm like, even if you're only like 15% in, you're like,
It's just not as bad. It's just not as bad in PoE1 because the leveling is faster.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
it hasn't been on our radar as much.
You are not samurai.
So speaking of like map progression, there's been some fundamental changes there. You're telling me that now you
Refund
can
denied.
below your current level of map.
That's correct. So yes, you
Damn
no longer
right.
get if you're playing a T5 map, you're only
Damn,
going to get
that's
T5
fucked
maps,
up, man.
or
I had
if
to
there's
buy
a
Monster
roster of
Hunter.
T6
Where's
map.
Waldo?
We've also
They
smoothed
got
the
me.
way
Hi,
the whole
Smile.
progression works. So we've actually the map
Thanks
box will
for
be less random
standing
now
on
entirely.
business. I don't know what the
When
hell
you
that
kill
means.
the last rare in the
Thanks,
map, that
Oda
is a,
Nobunaga.
it can affect at T1, that was a 100% chance to drop another map of the same tier. And then as you go up the tiers, you can still sustain
Monhun
that
is
waste
worth
chance.
it
So
though.
effectively,
It
it's
doesn't
like a
work
speed
on my
round
computer.
and
It
the way
makes
there
it
are
so that if
several
I'm
ways that you
playing
can
it,
upgrade. So,
nothing
in
works.
terms of like getting
It made
up
my
the tiers.
chat room
So one of
lag.
them is that when you kill a boss, that's a guaranteed +1 upgrade.
And they didn't
Then, of
accept
course,
the
you still
refund
keep
because
them,
it was more than
up
4 hours
3-1,
played.
Recipe to go up a level, or you can run a corrupted. And if you're running a corrupted map, then because it drops the same tier, that's like a sort of guaranteed. When I say corrupted, I mean the one that
Varlorb corrupting up plus
corrupting
one.
up +1. That lets you do the run them the same level as well. So you've kind of got those 3 options, but it's much more intentional now. It's like if you're going up maps, it's like you're deciding, okay, this is a thing I am doing. You don't just kind of have that like it doesn't just happen. So it's kind of supposed to make the jump like. If you're just looking to sustain, you can.
Oh,
do
did
that.
you know that I have a... They didn't say anything about adding divination cards to PoE2, did they?
Now that you can go through portals.
I get a divination card in this game.
Sustain is going to be a lot easier if you are dying.
I gotta think about
but
what
then it's
I
like
want.
Once you've achieved that, it's like...
You know, I've never liked
sustain
you,
forever.
Rip.
Like,
Shout out
the
mental
cases where people
illness.
just drop off the
Oh
bottom,
yeah, I
it's
remember I had an idea for a
Ultimately,
divination
it's
card. They
way
said
less
I can have my own
way more
divination card. It
deterministic
was in my Valdo's
and,
puzzle box.
ultimately,
And my idea is you get a set
as
of
long as
5
you are able
cards
to do
together,
not die all the
and
time,
when you
you will
turn them
sustain
in,
it forever.
it gives you an
Assuming
end
you
game
roll
that
and
doesn't
somehow,
fucking suck.
that
What do you
kind of
think of
body.
that idea?
And you know,
I think it's a
there is
good
boss
idea.
here, I'm going to go up a tier.
Yeah.
And you go for the boss, you kill the boss, you go
It's a
up
pretty
tier.
good
you,
divination
And it's
card.
here forever as long as you can do
What
the
do you
different
think?
shit. It's just very clean.
They'll never go for it. I know, man. It's not like following the theme of PoE2. That's what sucks. It needs to be thematic.
You're getting more maps than what people are getting, which means you can do the cubing as
Oh,
well.
well.
Like, it's just kind of like it just much more effectively gets.
Thanks, Tempered Calamite.
Thank you. At the right speed.
It's not within the vision.
The bottom of the curve.
I got
It kind
you.
of solves all of those issues like without. But also, you're not going to have just like hordes of low-level waystones that you don't need as well. So you know, like.
And just no, it does. There are still.
You turn it in and it opens up PoE1.
But if you
It launches PoE1, dude. That's sick. Turn in.
None of that is really the case. It's just that before you could luck into getting to T15 quickly.
That's pretty
with
sick.
Some level of,
Launches PoE1.
Or you could just be like,
Thanks,
what the
Kid
heck, I'm,
Bigot.
like, constantly running out and have a really bad time.
And
right?
Calamite.
So now it's just way more like predictable and honestly, it probably has way more of an impact on the sustain problem, which we didn't really, which we talked about, which is the respawning. I would argue this thing has like way more impact on map sustain than the respawning does. I mean, obviously, if they're paired, then they relate.
You need both
but,
because if because the guarantee.
Dude, that's actually a really great idea. As a picture, as an artwork for the divination card, Chris Wilson winking. That's a great idea. I'll ask for that.
If you're a good player, you should be able to get up into the top and sustain very well.
Yep.
You mentioned the idea of maps dropping.
I'll ask for
magic
that.
by default.
Yes.
Is that something you're still doing, or?
I believe it is. But no, actually, wait. But there wasn't a concern about that, which I wanted to talk to you about later. Which is
maybe,
that,
maybe not.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later because the concern was raised that I think is valid. So yeah, we were going to make it so that maps drop.
Oh man, that would be even sicker. The Eye of Vae as an artwork for the card. That's even better, dude. The Eye of Vae.
It sounds like much more deterministic progression.
But
if
yes,
you're
that's
able to
the main
prove
thing.
the power
Damn.
that you have.
Maybe that could be the name of the
Yes,
card.
do it.
The Eye of Vae.
Am I lucky enough to do this, and am I strong enough to do
That's
this?
a good idea.
Right? One of those axes, get out of here.
Love it. So we've got Rogue Exiles populating the maps now. How common are these guys, especially with unique? Since you
What's for
get
dinner?
the
I'm
unique
having
guarantee
homemade
and all
ramen.
that.
What am I having?
It's
I don't know.
8%, 1 and
Not
12
sure.
and a half to start with, but of course, Atlas Tree be Atlas Tree. So you can speak into that. And
Is there like a map?
You have a
modifier for
character
that or something
name
to
for the new
guarantee
league?
it, or
That's a
there
good
are-
question.
I think in this case, this
I
one is
haven't
the
thought about
exception,
it.
whereas you can get normally guaranteed of the other things. We wanted the Exiles. to
What
be
will
one
it
that you
do?
can't
Didn't we just
guarantee
talk
all the
about
time.
that? What's up, just got
always
here?
have uniques.
Yeah.
It's gonna
But when they do,
unlock a
they
better
use them.
end game.
The AI is very cool, like how it works.
I mean, they
It
can
works
have
Or
zero
it's
ones
gonna
having
launch PoE
There's
1.
nothing stopping them from having uniques in every slot.
What?
But like, it is.
The chance of that would be.
It is
incredibly low.
absurdly
Takeda
rare.
I assume it's
Yeah.
just roll per slot, basically, right?
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
roll
it's
per
roll per
slot,
slot.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
But
So
you
we're talking
might have a
like
line of just
fraction
like,
of a fraction of a percent
Yeah,
for like
exactly.
all of them, but still like 5 or something like that. Yeah.
can have them.
But they have quite a lot, like because they're a player. The assumption is that their other gear is also relatively good, so they do generally drop. More biased towards dropping higher tier rares. and
Mercius
stuff like that.
Perseus. Perseus Mercius.
I always love that little thing. I feel like it's even more
Perseus Mercius is a pretty good one.
Some of those will be unique, maybe.
We wanted
Good
them to
name.
be less common than the other content, but like way more exhilarating when you find them.
Sugar Lips Habasi. That's a good one too.
At the cost of other things, that's your choice.
Cool. Is there going to be some sort of like warning that they're coming, or are you going to know they're in the map ahead of time, or are you just going to get?
That's a good name, Sugar Lips Habasi.
You won't know they're in the map ahead of time, much like anything random you run into.
But they talk though, and they'll
Crazy
say,
Legs.
They'll say something.
To me,
before
Crazy
they-
Legs
they monologue
reminds me of a
before they-
Tekken player. There was a
They're
guy
also
named
quite
Crazy
little
Legs
Okay, when I said some
that
when I
used
said
to play
some insult
Horang.
you, I'm not joking. Like, some dude
And they
literally
named the
insulted me.
technique that he has Crazy
I believe
Legs.
one of them is one of them.
But
one of
they
the
don't call
monks
it
is a
that
pacifist,
anymore.
and he's
But
like,
it was
"I don't wanna
called
do
Crazy
this,
Legs
Don't force
back
my
in the
hand.
day.
He'll do it anyway.
I'm not.
Yeah.
You're just like running away.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
don't make me
Don't
do
force my
this.
hand. Yeah, exactly.
Well, look,
Oh
one hand
boy,
is-
everyone's laughing again.
You know, I really like the here's an occasional spike in difficulty, and again, it's important that they are relatively rare for that reason as well. But I do want it to be when you find one, you are very excited to kill it, and of course, even though they portal out, you still have your number of portals you have. So unless you're running like a full 6 modded Waystone, just get back in there, and he's gone, but or whatever, you've lost your uniques or non-uniques, whatever they had, but either way, just move on, you know.
I mean, you guys were somewhat forgiving with this. You didn't make it so that they take your items.
Yes, that would be good.
That's an event at some point.
Don't give me that idea.
That's maybe a 1 week event or something in the future.
Have a nice day, smile.
Just take
Thanks,
one of
you
your
too.
items.
Thanks, first time
And then you got a Nemesis
replay
system
again.
where you can find them and try and get it back in the future.
Thanks for the dollary dues.
You had the Tame Rogue Exile gem.
I don't know if tame's the right word.
Higher
exile.
You run up and you can quickly.
Boy,
go,
this laugh session they
gold.
keep having, I like smiles, but I can't understand what they're saying when they do
To be
it.
fair, that would be a fun system.
It actually would. That's actually not a bad
Running
idea.
up and just being like, hey, I'm here, give me 100,000 gold and I'll be your ally. Is that kind of-
I know you've tinkered with the
I wanna
idea
get
of
in on the
system
laugh.
points in the past, so you put your
Thanks,
mercenary
Kenny
handling
Fish.
system, right? Rogue Exiles.
Thanks for liking my
Group them
stream.
with good uniques.
We'll see.
We'll
see.
Going down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
You see how their couches
We did have some legal things
have
promoted from
an
Project Exile.
underglow
Two
like a
probably go to,
Japanese car from a video
whatever
game?
are you gonna be
My
doing
couch
on
also has an
I mean,
underglow.
we're definitely going to be.
I swear, I don't turn it on because I think it's fucking stupid, but my couch has an underglow like that, and my friend said it looks really fast. It's just a couch underglow. I don't know why it has that. It's fucking stupid.
Early access, and as we're sort of, just going out,
weird.
Each time we do something, we're both adding a completely new.
You don't have to plug it in. It's just a feature made in China.
Another additional kind of like, here's another fun thing. So that's probably sort of what I imagine will happen. But it kind of really is case by case.
It's really
some
fast.
Things we don't want to bring back. Some things we do. Like, and my opinion can change on a dime as well. Like if someone suggests like.
I got that couch specifically because it has inclining seats. So it's like got reclining seats, but it can be up against a wall, and you can still recline. So the back of the seat doesn't need to go back further when you recline. It like goes down and out. That's why I got it, but it has those underglows.
Classes, you're talking like all that stuff is like definitely, like that's happening. It takes a long time to produce. It sort of happens in the background. You've got outsources, armies of people kind of working on that stuff.
Does it have a pizza holder?
Stuff is very
Shut
much
up,
like,
bitch.
let's do something cool. Let's just make this. Why do we do this? And we don't have a, I don't have a plan for the next, 12 strong boxes. It's just, just come up with an idea and like, that's cool.
Did you play the first Berserk? Yeah, I played it. I just got the refund.
I felt somewhat definitive
today.
Part of Exile 1
You know what I was wondering about games like that? You know how when I was playing it, like,
just had lasagna soup that was insane.
Lasagna soup. Thanks, Fat Apprentice. Thanks, Amanda. Jerk me off. Thanks.
There's probably been some changes.
Excuse me. You know how when I was playing that game,
it's much better now.
I was playing it and I was trying to have a good attitude, but everyone in the chat was like, this game fucking sucks. Put it in the toilet, whatever. And eventually, I got influenced, and I was like, you know what? These guys in the chat room are right. This game fucking sucks. Put it in the toilet. And then I did, right? Now, what I was thinking is, there are streamers out there who, they're like, playing the game and they're like, okay, speed running the game or whatever, there's plenty of streamers out there and they got lots of people watching them. So what I'm wondering is, in that chat room, are there a bunch of people shitting on the game, or do those guys just come here? Because what are they, blonde? How do you watch that game and not shit on it?
Let's talk balance.
All right.
My expectations.
It's weird. You shouldn't be peer pressured. Why not? I love being peer pressured. It's like getting people to taste the poison apple for you. If I look at something and I'm not sure about it, I'll let this dumb fuck try it first, and he'll let me know if it's poison. You know what I mean? I think it's a good idea to be peer pressured.
Just forget everything.
Or reverse peer pressure. For example, something comes out and the chat room all loves it. That's when it's suspicious. Okay, well, let's do a little math. The chat room loves sucking on dicks all day long and watching anime and shit. Okay, so if they all love it, that must mean this thing's whack. So it's like reverse influence. You know what I mean? I don't mind it at all. If you didn't want to be influenced, why are you looking at reviews? The whole point of a review is to influence the next buyer based on your experience. I am. You're not into reviews at all. You just will blindly purchase an item without even looking at reviews. Or there will be two items that are seemingly identical. You're not going to look at the reviews for the items to decide which one is the one you're going to choose. How do you choose? Close your eyes? Pinning the tail on the donkey? Come on, man. Who's the donkey? Think about it.
Just a combination of supports that you can get trivially will do that.
Or like a common unique, and then that's it.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, but it can.
Do you check movie reviews before you watch a movie? I mean, if you consider asking my chat room if a movie is good, a review, then yes. I always do that. Hey, chat, what do you guys think of this movie? And then they'll tell me. And then based on what they say and who they are, that's when, like, if a red name says it fucking sucks, that means it's probably good. You see what I mean?
What are you aiming for? What are your goals? What are your metrics? So
did I mute them?
A number.
What?
Of, like,
I didn't do that.
How fast you kill a pinnacle boss.
Yeah.
That's your.
Okay, it wasn't me.
And then how much players can exceed
It was them
that.
too.
and you're like,
yeah. So
Trust
it really
100.
should be that you're not
Getting
it's not
influenced
going
is
to
not a
that
bad
fast,
thing in my mind,
at the moment.
especially
Like, a
if
good
you
sort of
know
benchmark for, like,
who
just
you're aware of
guy
who's
Wilson
doing the influencing,
and,
and
like,
you're
it's
not
kind
doing
of
something
that's,
fucking
like, not
stupid.
stupid,
How did the
but
combat
also,
feel
like, not, like, doing
in
something, you know,
first
not
Berserker?
crazy, and we kind of
If
imagine
you're
that sort of
asking
stuff
because
with,
you're interested in the game, I think it
But at the
fucking
same
sucks.
time, anything up
So
front
why don't you
take
just
you
cut
through
to the chase
is-
and
is-
ask
is-
me
is-
if the
is-
game
well,
is
that'll
good?
take you from
You're
10
asking me
to
if the
5
game is
down
good,
to
it fucking
5.
sucks.
Like,
I
that's your
refunded
range
it
of, like,
and
potentially
booted up Dark
acceptable,
Souls
kind of
2.
things going on. But if you're doing
So,
that,
you
then you're
decide.
in, like, we're probably
You know?
gonna nerf you territory.
Short
and
trip,
something.
long trip.
So, that's
You
kind of, like,
decide,
now,
dude.
It's worth mentioning that, like, we've lowered, like, the life of pinnacle bosses to get that to be right.
It's
The
not
difference-
that it
the difference between a
sucks,
T15
okay?
boss and a
It's
pinnacle boss
fine.
is way
The
too
problem with it
I
is
love
that
MGS
you
or
already
That
own
helps
it,
it out.
and it's
Like,
called
it's
Dark
things like
Souls
that
2.
that need to
That's
be
the
right.
problem with it.
So that's
And many other Souls
now,
clones
obviously,
also
we're
have,
gonna
they
still find
share
ways to
this
get to a
problem.
million DPS somehow,
You
I'm
already
sure, even
own
though
it.
We're like nerfing many things.
It's
but,
a
the thing I
simple
think
problem.
when we're talking about
Hey,
nerfs and how
thanks,
we wanna do it,
Vunny
my
Scylla.
thing that I want to try and achieve
Thanks for
always
gifting 5
is that
subs.
Whenever we're nerfing something, we're only nerfing the thing that was particularly.
I'm doing very well.
We're nerfing
Thanks.
as little as possible to make it so that the average Joe who works
Thanks,
in and
Jill
just tries to do
Sangich.
stuff is not getting affected by it.
Yeah.
Like, it should only be the like ridiculously
doing
broken
fine.
synergy thing that kind of like has some way of dealing with it that's actually affected by this.
Having a good day.
And I'm struggling to think of an example off the top of my head. Maybe you've got some of like, you know, a way that a targeted nerf that.
Well,
kind
I'm
of
excited
like,
to
say,
play this new patch
Lightning Conduit,
next
you're not
Friday.
gonna reduce
I wish the patch
base
notes would
damage
come
of
out
it because
today,
someone's
but
able to
they
hit
said
for
next week.
150 million with one hit from it. Like that comes from the compounding, like top end levels of exposure, stacking, conductivity, and more so shock effect. Right, so it's more about like take away from the shock effect scaling side of things there and increase. the base
DS2
damage.
is trash,
So,
but
like,
it's still better
do
than
changes like
90%,
that, whereas, like, for an average
95%
person,
of
it's now
Souls
better,
likes.
and for
I
someone
agree
who
with
is
you. It's my
absolutely,
favorite Souls like game. That's what I always say, don't I? I think it's the best Souls clone of all time.
Technically by their standards, that are using all those
But it
extreme
still sucks.
factors, you know, bring those down a little bit, keep those regulated, and like it'll increase the average user's experience while narrowing, you know, bringing this down and bringing this ideally up a little bit in a lot of cases.
I like the idea that I felt it's somewhat reassuring to hear that there was actually kind of like a math here. Like ultimately, you're saying bosses have X amount of hit points. It has 500k hit points, and so we expect players around 50. Yes.
What's with the
So
effing?
that's a clear number. Like we know that. Oh yeah, and we're okay with you killing that like 10 times faster than we expect.
Right.
But it's when you get it down to 1 second.
Exactly.
Then we're
10,
like,
10 times is fine, right?
That's
then the
fucked
problem
up.
with the
So
more
you're
DPS
telling
you
me
have
that the
is
gap
now have
between
to
the beard and the
dodge
mustache
less,
is
Yeah.
unintentional.
crowd control.
There's a snowball.
That's what
you know,
you're trying to
it
tell
is,
me?
It really is. So you're always going to be incentivized to do that, and yeah, you get to this weird thing where now it's just like, okay, well, I think you after a while was like, I haven't actually seen a pinnacle boss fight that lasted more than 2 seconds.
That was really sad to me. Probably the saddest.
You
thing
know
that
it
this
is?
launched to me
Well,
was seeing the first pinnacle
that's
boss
funny
fight,
that you're
and it's
saying
like,
that.
and it's like,
Because
you know,
to
like,
me,
it's like nobody had to care about
if
the
you
mechanics
can't grow
the
a
first
beard,
time it was fun.
you don't grow a beard.
Exactly, right? Like there's so much
That's
skill
why
in
I
this thing that
asked.
it's like none of it mattered. It's like that's sad.
Yeah.
So yeah, we
Right?
ideally was in a situation. Now I hope that doesn't happen again, but honestly, it's probably wishful thinking.
As I said,
yeah,
10,000 things before, there's still going to be
there's still going to be
many
more, and it will
thousand.
happen every time. And people will find stuff, but we'll.
Beer
Look,
shaming?
Again, by the end of early
Look,
access,
dude,
I want to say we're gonna
you're
really
missing
good spot with
a
this.
consonant.
It's not going to have.
You're
so much
missing
user
a
stuff, and
consonant
getting
there,
rid of that whole, I
amigo.
feel like I have to play X. Like,
Yes, it is that,
very
100%.
demoralizing to players
Yes.
when they
Yeah.
played their thing,
Yes.
and all of a sudden something comes out, and they're like, oh.
Yeah. And so
change over this.
the way you will know that we're successful
Beers.
is because you get more diversity in classes.
Yeah.
Because it means that there's no longer the thing that everyone has to play because it's easy to be
I mean,
successful.
you definitely saw that where it's like the comments of any build guide. It's like, oh, another Archmage build. Oh,
Exactly.
it's just Heralds again.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like
it's-
this isn't even build. This is just Herald again.
You go look at like what are all crossbow people playing? And
Man, all you
crossbows
do is
actually
talk
the least
shit,
used
dude.
weapon type.
I mean, what else do
So
you
basically
want,
start
dude?
there
What
and
do you
you're
want
like,
from me, man?
Okay, well here's a bunch
I
of
mean,
ways
how
with
am I
these
supposed to
skills.
look
Oh,
at
hand
that
weapon action,
giant
hand weapon action,
gap
hand weapon action.
and not say
Crossbows
something
are
about that, dude?
Even with-
Shit's
even without
2
stats,
miles
still better
Yeah,
than
and
it
it's
was.
like okay,
in the middle
well,
there.
you know, obviously take some away from there, and then it's like, okay, well, what are you left with?
Come on,
well,
man.
you're still left with probably crossbows are bad. So, what do you have to do? And it's like, you know, crossbows now, for example, just a quick change is like instead of using one-handed damage mods for added damage, they use two-handed and their base damage. And then all the skills now have a higher growth per level because they scale with other external factors like attack speed less because they have the reload time. So they will be getting more damage per level, whereas before most skills were very
buff crossbows
growing per level. So almost every spell would get the same amount of damage per level regardless of everything else it had. And this is how you got things like Spark just being the dominant skill, you know.
Which one are we talking about?
It scales not only
about
that,
what?
it scales...
We already figured it out.
Kind of out of
The
control.
guy on the right
With
doesn't
projectile
smile
interaction and
on
other
purpose
scaling factors,
because he
everything does
wants
is
his
like,
mustache to connect to his beard.
And so
The
now
guy
it's like,
on the
well,
far left,
Spark has these other
the
multiple
gap
things, so it
there
should get
is
less damage per
huge
level.
because he
This
smiles too
wasn't
much.
here we
If
won.
he would frown
And it was the
more,
right answer,
then his
and we somehow didn't
mustache
replicate that
will
exact thing that we
reach
did.
and
So-
connect.
Yes, we ended
That's
with
the
exact
problem.
same. So
We've
now
already
every single skill, we're
hyper-analyzed
looking at it and going,
those beard
You're going to
gaps.
scale more, you're going to scale less, you're going to scale more. On the
That's the
damage
strat.
axis,
You
because
got to
they have
frown
all things
more
that scale.
to get it to
This
connect.
just means that, like, when you're asking, well, what skills have changed, well, the answer is literally all of them.
The guy on the
No
center
skill-
doesn't have a
no skill will
mustache.
have the same damage as before.
He doesn't
It's
have
a
any
complete,
issues.
You know, a complete.
There's
rebalance.
no
And,
mustache
expectation-wise,
insight.
It means that any skill that didn't have a lot of things you could do for it will get more damage. 'Cause that's
Yeah,
what it
that
does.
should be the case. But I mean, even as well.
It's an off-meta
like,
build.
I sort of mentioned it vaguely.
The
before,
no
like,
mustache
trying to make
build.
Sure, like we are trying to make sure that like the combos that work early game still work late game, which is kind of another important element of that too.
Yeah. So crossbow's been buffed a lot, and I also heard the other thing that was definitely getting a lot of buffs.
Mustache is
I mean,
definitely
we'll-
more
we'll
annoying
see
than
how that
beard.
looks. I mean,
Definitely.
everything-
If anything,
everything-
having a beard, well, a long
It's
beard
so hard to even,
is
like,
a plus.
It's so hard to
You
have, like, a
never
cohesive
spill on your
message with a
shirt.
single, like,
Your
this
shirt
is better.
is
Because it's just-
protected.
I mean, it's easy
You
to
will
understand.
never get a spot on your shirt
Because
ever.
I can look
It
at the
is
numbers and just
100% protected at
But then
all
in others,
times.
it's like, it's so
You're never going to
it's
get a
so
spot
easy
on
to
your
say.
shirt.
Like, Warrior
It's
was
actually
really
wonderful
there was
because
a-
I remember those days. You'd be like in college.
But then it didn't-
Oh,
it
let me
didn't have
go
anything that
get
we
something to
actually
eat
wrote.
before class. And you get like a hot dog, and you get a mustard on your fucking shirt, and now every girl in class, pretty girl, got your lunch to go, huh? Shut the hell up, man.
Some changes,
Shit.
a new
I need to
node
grow a
programmer,
beard.
You've got a
Fuck.
changes to, like, you know, Chrono was way too much.
Telling
ability
you, man,
set.
that's the
Which is
strat.
my like good thing. You know, so like you got like
Thanks,
you
Big Pound.
know,
Thanks.
less
System
nation
of a
war,
Down
something.
and
then
Gulp
we've just done that in every
Makulo.
single class.
Thanks,
We've
bros. Thanks,
upped
Bunny,
a
for
lot of the
gifting 5
undertaken and
subs.
bad things, and we've downed a lot of the really good, powerful things that were over the top. So
this is why we've gone back to the more conventional patch note cycle of a couple days beforehand, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, look, absolutely.
Like, if they were ready, you would
Do
have.
you oil up your beard? No, I think
Like,
beard
and
oil is
giving someone
gross.
half the balance changes doesn't allow. them
The
to
only
make
people that use beard oil are the
So
ones
it's
that
just
have
pointless.
beard
So we'd
dandruff.
rather give you everything all at once.
That's
instead
what
of
it's
some-
for.
just some,
It's
like,
for that,
yes,
and it's
you
for
know.
making your
Even
beard
if-
look
even once you
wet.
have the patch notes,
And I don't want either of those.
somehow able to determine what the best builds are from that. Like this, it's because it's such a big difference. Of
It's
so many
hard to take
changes.
Beard oil is a
You can look at it
scam.
and
I mean,
say,
if you
oh,
want
okay,
your
so
beard to
this
look
thing got
wet,
buffed, but this thing got nerfed.
I
It's
don't.
like, okay, but you're linking just two things. not
Thanks,
one.
Logo
Yeah,
Vox.
the other thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank
So,
you.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
very-
We'll try though. We'll try.
Yeah, sure. Give it a shot. Give it, do your best.
Look, when the game released, you had to learn everything.
Beard
You
oil
just
is
might have to do it
necessary
again,
in desert
and again,
climates.
every
Shut up,
single
bitch.
patch
It is
up,
for
every
people who have
patch
beard
up because,
dandruff, though.
You know, you're going to have less and less of that, and your familiarity will be able to come in.
Have you seen Clockwork's beard? I have.
at least
Man,
my
I haven't
balance
seen
is
him
good,
in
but
so
it's not
long.
like-
It'd be cool to
so,
hang
like,
out with him.
Structurally change the campaign and all that, so you have still a
It's
lot
been a
of
long time.
information and knowledge.
He's a good
that's gonna
friend
help
of
you play
mine.
The game better anyway from on your you know
Yeah.
second. I mean, a lot of people maybe made multiple characters, but for a lot of people, this might just be their second character.
Do you trim
You still
your
look at the things
mustache?
input. And we've
D?
had the races, so you've been able to see
What's
how the
that
best
D
people
doing
play.
there?
Oh, yeah.
I stopped trimming my mustache when I watched the
That leather
movie
skip with the portal. My favorite.
Tombstone.
Um,
After the
on
movie
side of the bigger
Tombstone,
picture
I
as well,
stopped trimming it.
Life and Armor versus Energy.
Because they
have
don't
to
trim
trim
their
either of
mustaches
those
in that
around.
movie, and I realized that trimming your mustache is for
Energy
pussies.
Shield certainly, I mean,
So then I stopped
primarily
trimming
due
it.
to Grim Feast.
I used
and,
to,
like
though.
mana stacking being a little bit out of control have been that's been too strong on more the inside of defense for sure. Expect some pretty drastic changes there.
That movie's sick.
As for armor, well, you know, it's one of those like accuracy kind of things, right? Where it's like or dexterity and like you where it's like,
Thank you.
honestly, our next point with that is honestly just to get in a room and just be like, all right, let's pretend it didn't exist, and we were coming up with the game from scratch, and we're like, okay, we have strength. What would we want the ideal defense to be? And honestly, it might even extend further than that, and really just see, firstly, to make sure we end up. If we don't end up at the same point, to make sure we end up as better.
Fuck,
maybe
dude.
we do end up at
Why
the same
is this
point,
shithead
and we do
tagging
just
me?
go, okay,
Sorry
some
for
other
being
changes that we need to
what?
make around
Sorry for
physical
being
damage
silly
in particular,
earlier. Do you think I remember you?
It's one of those things where
I
at
only
this point
remember
need
you
to, like,
now.
review it from literally back to basics
I mean, I
see
don't
what we
remember
can
you,
do,
but you're
because it
annoying
might be
me
something a
right
little bit
now.
different, but
You're gonna need to apologize again
it might also end up being
for
relatively the
this.
same, and maybe it
I'm
wasn't
just
the
letting
case,
you
but
know.
it's worth
Get
the
your next
discussion.
apology ready because you're annoying the fuck out of me right this
I wouldn't say we're
second.
happy with it, and I
Start
wouldn't say we're
planning that shit
necessarily,
out
like, all the
in
way
10
happy with
minutes,
it, but
bitch.
It's
Why the
yeah,
fuck
there's
are you
something not
tagging me?
quite right going on.
Don't tag me, shithead! Alright, that's it, bitch. I had enough of you. Fuck you.
We drastically
You
changed
just
how
tagged
it
me a
works.
third time.
It's for the better.
If you're tagging me, you should be relaying vital information, dude.
So we just
Like,
need to do that process.
Eris needs to see this. Okay?
means-
That's what tagging me is
Thank
for.
you.
Make things more like the
You don't
shields
just fucking
block
tag
better
me.
as we buff the
See, like
ascendancy,
this
as we
guy.
nerf them on the
How is
defensive
Ramadan
arms.
going?
Things like armor will become better, but yeah,
Fuck that guy,
It's
too.
not quite right. But
It's going great.
To say, where it will look, what it will look like in the future. So.
Thanks Vegeta's hairline and liquid gold
let's talk about
and logo
recovery as well, 'cause
Vox.
that's another big
Thanks
thing I remember
sun chips are top. I like garden salsa sun chips. The thing about sun chips is that they have such a nice texture, like that brittle kind of a crisp. But why the fuck don't they make flaming hot sun chips? These fucking morons. They put them in flaming hot munchies. Why don't you make flaming hot sun chips, dude? You're fucking up, dude. Who the hell wants munchies? Munchies suck. They're full of pretzels. Fuck pretzels, man. That's some like ancient shit, dude. Pretzels? That's grandpa shit. Who the hell likes pretzels unless they're covered in chocolate, dude? Beat it.
The trophy's mine!
That's ancient shit, dude.
Every average player
Thanks Cape Cod potato chips.
Now there are
Never
ways
heard of
around
them.
that, of
Thanks,
course,
hologram.
But, part of it is like a lot of the recovery mechanics. Like if you're talking about things like
Pretzels are top
and
tier.
stuff,
Only
it
soft.
is a rich get richer problem.
Regular ass pretzels, dude?
Yes,
Come
there are
on.
cases that are problematic,
No.
and then
Thank
there are
you.
just
Regular soft pretzels are good with a lot of
there's a
salt
little bit of both
and
going
some
on. I
cheese
wouldn't say we've
dip.
targeted any recovery
But
specifically here. Really.
regular
It's not been
pretzels?
a major
Nah.
goal.
There's
I
flaming
would say
hot
that there are
pretzels?
little bit
Yes,
of
but they
change here,
don't.
but it's
The
more about,
dust cannot stick.
We've really made sure to
There's
just,
no
it's kinda hard
way
to
that
say
the
exactly
the
what we've
pretzel
done, but
doesn't
again,
grab the
this
dust.
is probably a thing we're going to have to look at next time because there
It's
are
a
so many
fundamental
changes that
issue.
It's hard to even like understand how this is going to fit into
Once
all
the
of that
dust
now.
clears, you might be able
Once
to
the
see
dust
100%,
clears, dude.
Like we're at the point where we do need a little bit of like, all right, we need another round of testing for this because
Yeah.
and again,
Honestly, after hearing everything they've said, it's a little bit less of an update than I thought it would be. I mean, they did cancel PoE 1 for this, right? I thought that there would be more. Like, I thought there would be at least one more
It
act.
shouldn't certainly
I
be
thought
like, here's
even
one
a druid could show up.
solved, right? Like,
Yeah.
having heaps
I don't
of
know.
recovery
I guess I
should be
haven't
something
seen
you
the
can
patch
achieve, but it
notes.
should require a decent amount of investment or high tier item
Yeah.
itemization, right? Like, for sure, it should be possible. It just shouldn't be trivial.
Yeah. So, and on that note, then, for like vision, what's your
Yeah,
vision?
100 support gems
Because I think
is
people are still,
cool,
like,
but that
unsure
just
about
means that
is it
you're
supposed to be just
no
kind of
longer gonna have as
more like
much of an
Half-Life
issue
1,
with
a
the
faster game,
single
or is it
support
supposed to
gem
be a
per
slower game, or
build.
much more different
That's just gonna
thing?
make
Like,
alleviate
it's a hard
that
thing to communicate.
tension.
It's still, it gets asked a lot, and I feel like people are still a bit unsure.
It's funny though because like once again, it's
I hope they
don't
nerf
feel it's
heralds
just a
because
pure
that ruined the
speculation.
entire
Like,
game.
is the combat
Even if you're
engaging
gonna
fun?
pretend
Yeah.
like you
And
like the
also,
end
are
game,
you getting
heralds
to the point
made
where you
every
can get
build
bosses?
need heralds
Like, if,
for
you know,
clear,
if-
and that's like okay,
the first time
that's
you fight a
lame.
boss, you just destroy it without seeing any of its mechanics, then that's a problem. And it doesn't really say anything about the pace of combat. Like if you look at some of the Hunter stuff we've got there, like it's incredibly fast paced when it comes to like dashing around and stuff, but you still have to engage with things, and that's the key element for us.
Thank
so,
you.
Thanks,
like,
Space
obviously
Ghostal.
players want to get ridiculously powerful, and we still want to
Hell
let them get
you.
ridiculously powerful. It has to be earned. It has to be, like after a certain
Thanks,
point. And,
World
like,
of Warcraft
after you-
ruined
once you
my
have finished your character,
LI.
once you've sort of done everything, then
I think he ran out of characters.
Reason.
I wonder what the rest of that name is.
To get there, right? And like that's the power growth thing. It's really hard to sort of just. Like,
I've never played it. I heard it's good.
Like that's ultimately the goal, right? You have to kind of get to the point of like that. You constantly feel you're getting stronger. You always feel like the next. Like,
thanks, Clauso.
Thank you. Going. And you have to scale that all the way to the end because the moment that you get to the point where you're just trivializing everything too early,
it was good.
Like, well, the rest of the game just becomes boring after that point, right? It has to be that there's the level of that you still have to get.
And so kind of based on that earlier discussions about like damage and boss time to kill and things like that, it sounds like the time where you want that to be starting to taper off, like the players can start to cheat that a bit.
It was good 25 years ago.
Well, you should feel that way.
I don't know.
Multiple times throughout the game.
I can't tell you.
But then
25 years ago, I lost a shitload of friends to it. I could tell you that.
It's like you reach a point of feeling like you're a god, and then you're like, oh shit, but there's new god-like shit above me that then makes me have to then do the...
Like literally,
exactly,
this
right?
guy
So
is gone.
You have to keep on that train.
He doesn't
really
leave his house anymore.
Back from feeling like, oh, I'm all powerful, back down to like, I'm feeling, and so you have to kind of get that in there. As
probably everyone knows someone.
Yeah, for sure, right?
There's always
that
a new level
just disappeared
exactly.
because
Exactly.
of wow.
Right.
That was the main reason I never played it. It was like so obviously addictive that it scared
when
me.
it comes down to things like
The way that my friends responded to it made me not want to play it anymore. Like, wow, that is fucking crazy. And I had, the concept of an MMO was new at the time, so I didn't even understand how could this be. So I was kind of like, when a caveman sees fire for the first time, he's just instinct is, what the fuck is that? That's how I felt about it. Like, dude, video games... I never had an experience with a video game like that, where it's so addictive that you just completely never leave it. Whoa, that's scary.
Exactly, right? It's just about making the combat good.
Either the combat is fun or it isn't.
And it never ends.
There's a sort of spectrum of stuff there, but I would say...
Honestly, one of the coolest things about PoE is that it ends. If it never ended, it would be a lot more like something like WoW, right? Like, it has a league. You play it, you go all in, couple weeks, and then, all right, now I'm a human again. I could go out on a couple of dates,
so that's an interesting
maybe
point, is this, let's
blow a back out or two, and then, boom, league starts again. Dates low. Well,
only if they're doing
to each their own.
maps 3 levels under what they should be doing or something, or should that be able to happen at kind of like
once you're at your tier of godhood.
Yeah, but I actually want to address that because like
flavored weed.
Well, okay, right now I'm watching Deep Space Nine, funnily enough.
All right,
but I'm watching Deep Space
Species
Nine as I'm testing the game. Right, it's like you develop
and
muscle
expect
memory.
defeat.
That muscle memory can include using multiple skills and doing like multiple things.
Flavored weed. That does not sound appealing at all.
So you're saying
like what? Banana.
The secondary thing about the game being easy. It's just a skill issue.
You use dating apps? No way, dude. No way. I retired from dating apps because I had a scare, and I considered that to be like a divine intervention. I had a scare, and I went to the doctor and got tested, and I have, I'm completely disease free. And then after that, never again. I'm done with that shit.
It's become a thing forever, but it's been updated now. Like, this is the update. You want them to have to pause sometimes.
Completely retired from that shit. Hell no.
Like sometimes you get the spike in difficulty.
It'll haunt you forever.
Like now you have to do this. Yeah, I guess that turns into pause the video at this point. But yeah, but no. Look, if I play this way as well.
Bug chasing. No way I'm disease free.
Once you get to a certain point, it's like obviously you're gonna want to the music.
I've been going like every year to get tested.
Thank you.
I still think that there needs to be the ability to have.
Thanks, Bites Perry.
To have something engaging from time to time that you have to deal with. See?
It's always been a bit of a silly thing because you've got so much element of.
I don't know. It feels good.
Exactly.
Do harder maps, do easy maps.
But look, people always want to choose the hard stuff, right? So
can't believe bug chasing is a thing. I mean, if you think about it logically, people who have like herpes. I mean, just because you have herpes doesn't mean you don't have genitals. You just have fucked up genitals. So what you got to do is find someone else who has fucked up genitals, and then you guys could get crazy and have a freak off. People who the statistics are fucking crazy. Like, I think in Florida, 1 in 3 people or something has genital herpes. It's like really fucked up, dude. Like East Coast numbers are really fucked up. Yeah, I know. It's fucked up.
Thank you.
So you know they gotta do something.
The argument there, which I do believe.
New York numbers are fucked up too. Thanks Krauser and Bites Perry.
I mean, yeah, like the size of an area.
Bug chasing.
Imagine there were no load screens. You just walk from place to
Tikka
place.
masala.
Like, you wouldn't be thinking about
That
area
sounds good.
size exactly. It's just is the
I had
of interest.
leftover pizza dipped in butter chicken for dinner last night, and it was so good that I instantly was thinking if Indian people know about this, because I felt like it was just so good. Indian people need to know. And then so today when I asked the chat, I was like asking them what's the number I should call, you know, to let them know. They said that the Indian people are the ones that invented it, which I believe. We figured out that some fat Indian genius invented that shit. Makes sense.
But yeah, it's completely true. Anytime someone says, "Oh, this area is too large," I'm like, "Well, okay. So what monsters are we changing? What
They know.
What events are we
They already
doing?"
know. Good. They should know because it's a really good combination. It really is. It's weird. Weirdly good.
I don't know how many people are gonna play.
Cheese naan? Yeah, of course cheese naan exists, but dude, think about what pizza is. Pizza is a fully complete dish with tomato sauce and cheese and crust, and mine had jalapenos and other toppings on it. So combining that with butter chicken is not like an instinct. It's something that you have to be inspired either by divine intervention or another fat person. It's the only way.
You know I've never liked you, Rip.
Thanks, wish I was a Oscar Mayer wiener. Thanks.
So it's just a matter of as soon as the art's done, chucking those in as well.
Oh, great! So that could be after.
It'll certainly be shortly after.
But also like every time we do like that we're expecting people to play through again, like we'll probably tweak like which the content spawns in different areas, and we'll just like fiddle around a bit so that then you play it just feels a bit fresh and things going on there.
How do you eat food without swallowing your mustache?
Way too big.
I move it over when I eat, like this. Go like this, and then I move it to the side, and then I insert.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about
Go
that.
like this.
The boring empty map.
When the maps, when people say the maps are doing
Thank you.
I think I phrased it to Jonathan yesterday.
Then I insert.
About it as every screen looks the same.
It's a skill issue.
It wouldn't matter where I'm standing in the map.
I guess. I heard it's a skill issue.
Like we were looking at
spread then insert. Exactly.
Like
it's a big square.
Thanks, Tangy. Thanks, cheese stuffed chili dog.
It's funny because like it took us a little while to even come to an understanding of like what needed to change there. Because I'm sort of saying like, okay, well, it's very random. So it's like, do you find the cold plains in D2 as to be a boring area because it's ultimately kind of similar?
Excuse me.
But the answer is, well, there's buildings sometimes.
How do you keep from biting your fingers when you're eating chips? What are you, a horse? What the hell? You bite your own fingers? Man, that is crazy. Have you guys ever fed a horse? When I was a kid, I didn't know about how risky it is feeding a horse, and I made that mistake. I fed a horse a carrot like this with my fingers, and that horse knew. It bit the carrot, and then it bit my fingers, and it knew instantly that it was biting fingers, and it stopped. But it still hurts so fucking bad, dude. You're supposed to feed a horse with a flat hand. So like you put the carrot in the middle of your hand so that they grab it like this, and then you can like push it into their mouth. If you feed a horse with your fingers, which is your instinct, they're so hyped to eat the thing you're feeding them. Boom! They're gonna take anything that's fucking touching it. They will bite your fingers off. The horses have a crazy bite force. But the good thing is that horses are, well, at least the horse I hung out with, they're really like smart. So they know, okay, I'm biting someone's hand. Don't kill them.
So basically what we do
they let you go. But still, it's too late. It hurt.
If the GPU driver crashes, what we do is we create a new
Horses are amazing. Probably like
and then
like
upload all the textures to that.
probably the best animal there is up there. Horses are so crazy. They're like
so that is what we're doing. To
really cool to hang out with and talk to. They really seem like they're listening, just like dogs. If you've ever like spent time with a really smart dog, you know how like dogs, it's almost like a person. Like this dog is listening to you and responding, and it's like very close. It's like a person who can't speak. You know, you can understand by their mannerisms that they're having a back and forth with you. Horses are like that too, but they're so big. And when they piss, they dig a hole through the ground. So it's like this giant dog that drops massive dumps. Enormous dumps. I was dog sitting one time, and I was walking this dog. It was like a little dog, my aunt's dog. And it was on like an equestrian trail where there were horses. So my instinct was, okay, the dog just pooped. I better clean up the dog poop. So I grabbed my bag, and then I looked over, and there was a pile of shit bigger than the dog that someone just left behind. I was like, all right, then, I think I don't have to clean up after the dog. If you're allowed to leave this massive Jurassic pile of shit, then I don't need to clean up. So I just fucking threw the bag away. All right, then, I'm about to shit on the floor. If that's how it is, pull my own pants down and I'll shit here. Fuck it. You know what I mean? But yeah, horses are cool. My aunt used to live, before she moved to the house that recently burned down to a crisp, she used to live in a house that shared a backyard with like a bunch of horses that would, their like place that they used to kick it, their heads were in her backyard. So all I had to do was go in the backyard, and there were like 5 horses that you could talk to, and they were all friends. It was awesome. Just like 5 horses. This is where they hang out, and you could just go talk to them, and they wanted to talk to you. You know, it was cool.
Like, well, cool. You know, like what do you do about that? Like it's just terrible. So yeah, that one.
Trouble in Paradise? Who are you snitching on?
We've fixed so many crashes.
Who are you snitching on?
So like general stability, apart from that,
just tell me. I can't fucking tell who's who.
Yeah, like
maybe probably
99.99%.
Just tell me who to ban, and I'll ban them. I can't figure out who you're snitching on.
This is the crash, and then it fixes like 2% of crashes. And you're like,
is this guy trying to tell me about his dad? Hey, I just talked about people like you who get a gifted sub and then think that they should start talking about their dad.
That's good. That will basically recreate the graphics device if
so you might get a pause, and then
you'll get a pause for 3 seconds, and then
I don't know. I can't tell who to ban.
And then it will continue.
I'll leave it up to the mods.
I obviously just make it clear we don't want it to remain like that. Obviously.
Yes. Obviously, we'll still try and fix it, but at least it means.
Did you guys get your drops? I think you get drops.
That's sorted out. And then we found another one recently, which was like, okay, so this is another stupid one, right? Like, so anyway, so there's that whole like Intel CPU issue.
Thanks,
like,
going on a run. Be right back.
Intel CPUs, where like there's some freaking voltage regulation problem that causes CPUs to break in a certain way, and if that happens, then
someone got timed out for 1.2 million seconds.
The decompressor will like.
Have you heard of the game Atom Fall?
Will be wrong.
No.
Literally one bit in there. And then it fails like a hash check, and then that just.
It's my birthday. Can I get a luck buff? Hey, good luck. Happy birthday.
It's like things like that will happen as well. Like you've got.
Who did you time out for 1.2 million? This guy?
It's like it is our problem. We have to fix it because it's affecting real.
999 plus comments, 1 previous ban, and 17 timeouts. That sounds like the type of guy who should be permanently banned, don't you think, chat?
A lot of the unrelated crashes and good work around at least.
Sounds like that type of guy.
That sounds like a massive improvement, but I also just think your obvious frustration is very validating for people who have been
the kind of guy who wouldn't be missed, the kind of guy who would contribute to this being a better place if they were no longer welcome here.
Which is something else that we need to be obviously improving over time. There's been a few performance improvements, but like not nearly the number we would have had if we had all 7 of those people like working on performance improvements. That's been the most frustrating thing about it.
Crashes first.
Yeah, 100%. But it's like
crashes first.
When they kind of
we have been chipping away at some decent ones though.
I think I'm gonna get a louder exhaust on my Caprice.
Yeah.
Good performance.
I think I'm gonna go louder.
Yeah, I mean, there was that ice one that was really bad.
Yeah.
And,
you should be up making breakfast in the morning.
And like, I have no doubt by the time we get
each time we do.
Good idea.
It'll be even better. Yeah. But,
Gotta get a louder
by the
muff.
time we get a full release, I'm sure it'll be.
I'm gonna do it.
Very good.
And I mean, speaking of,
I'll do it when I
like,
take it in
digital
for
sort of as well, obviously,
maintenance.
We had a lot of woes around the release, but we've done a whole lot of.
There's gonna be no
engineering work to make it-
horsepower upgrade.
Yes.
Exhaust
So,
is just for
the
sound.
launch should be
Thank
smooth
you.
As far as like, you know,
I mean, it was pretty
technical
good.
Stuff. It was,
But
Wow, it still was
I
5
want it to be a
hours of
little
work.
louder.
Yeah, but like
yeah.
5
Thanks,
hours
King
compared
Guy
to,
4.
like,
This time,
days
I mean,
is
look,
the industry standard.
I'm tempting fate here, but like we've made significant improvements to the ability for the realm to handle stuff. So
5 minutes this time.
well, I mean, we'll see, right? You never know what's going to go
You
wrong,
always
but it should
sometimes
be
get
much
caught
Food
out by something
reviews?
random.
Yeah, I still have to
yeah,
do that
It should be much better.
Jamaican one. I guess I could do it tonight if I remember.
Enough players to stress your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
Have the random kind of chat questions before we finish up today. Any possibility of Ascendancy respecs? Is that something you
Thanks.
considered? Especially with all the changes going on.
I don't know what the fuck this name is. Anyway, thanks.
Like,
Shitting in a
it's one of those things
crunchy
where
M
you
and
get the
M's.
identity of the character.
That's what that name is.
The journey. Of the character, like, does get
all
pretty
right,
significantly
I guess.
compromised if you allow for that. But I know Mark is.
And that was a struggle.
Yeah, I mean,
He's referring to something that it's a story that I've told at Frank and Sons, which is a collectible card show back at their old location. One time I went into the restroom and I was taking a piss and I noticed that, by the way, this restroom was like straight up horrifying. An inch of liquid, miscellaneous piss and shit on the floor at all times. Anyway, so I'm taking a piss there and I look down and there is a crunchy M&M's package that someone has carefully taken a shit into. So there's a turd inside a crunchy M&M's package, carefully inside of it, but not outside of it.
There'll be something where your
It was
character has to
quite.
undergo
It was like
some sort of challenge or
seeing the
something.
pyramids and shit.
I know you
Wonder
argue,
of
well,
the
doing the
world.
trial is-
How?
You're not entirely wrong.
How would one do such a thing?
I'm sure we'll have
I
a
don't know.
conclusive decision
Aliens.
on at least the level of articulation.
Thanks, Cloud
Thank you.
Guerra. And
But,
thanks,
for now,
I'll ask you then.
everyone
take
else.
more time to figure out what I want to do there.
Is dynamic switching between keyboard and mouse and controller coming at all?
It's not in 020, but it will be coming.
It's on its way.
Yes.
Not yet. How about trading? Did they talk about trading yet
That is a very key feature.
on console?
It seems like it's going to be hard to loot juice maps with only one portal. Oh no, well, this question has already been answered. Well, actually no, because there's still one portal.
This is a concern.
that's
and we
true
have to
with
do
juice,
something about
too.
it.
We have to
Yes,
figure
we
it
have
out,
to figure it out.
My
Yeah.
bad,
So
yeah.
in the next week, we will actually be looking into this one.
There's a few problems around
point.
it.
Yeah.
Still, there are other things to come up. Like,
Yep.
you know, you also don't want it to be that if you did use your one portal, because it's your portal that's used, not everyone's portal that's used. Because when it says
That's actually a
one
good point.
portal,
Yeah, it's a good
that's
point.
one
We didn't
portal
I think we
for
mentioned
up
that.
to 6 players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when it's 6 portals, it's 6 portals for up to 6 players, which means technically it's 36 entries and exits. Right?
36 entries and
That
exits.
changes things in a way where it's, like,
God.
when it's down to 1. It's like you don't want it to be that, oh, I failed the map. Quick, Ziggy, come join my party, get in here and finish it for me.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you don't want to kind of have that style of play happening. So there is still some
Get a
things
new
to
player
figure out.
in to get 6 more
Promote
portals.
Some, what
I didn't think about that.
As well as the fact that, yeah, you're probably like, oh, my inventory's full. Zone out.
Thanks,
Oh,
3
look,
dads, 7 nads.
Sweet. And sure, you can add a warning, but I don't know if even restricting it to just one inventory of loot like that is good, right? I would personally prefer that it's one death, not one, entry. So there's some stuff we need to figure out, but again, Jonathan and I need to talk about that and actually solve that. So
That's interesting, yeah, because the death seems like the important part. So as long as it's not like a way to cheat it, it seems like almost like you'd want to allow people to come
Could
and
go
go
for
as
a
they please
chase.
until they die.
I
Right?
guess I would eat a
is
chase.
a potential solution.
Yeah.
Again, can't say for sure. But
Thanks,
yeah, 100%,
bathroom
that person
DS
is right for bringing that up,
bloodstain.
and it is on our radar for
Bloodstain.
this coming week to have, or weekend
Thanks.
as well, to have a solution for.
Yeah. So with this new league not having a specific league mechanic, is it still a challenge league? Does it still have challenges?
It's actually
No,
I
there's
didn't think
there's no
so.
achievements or
Got
challenges
influenced
yet.
into some
I'm
hot
pretty sure we
munchies.
We're gonna do that for a little bit, yeah.
But I thought I
There's
said
not
hot
really-
munchies
maybe
suck
later
because
in-
they're full
later
of
in the ranks, but
pretzels.
for now, not
Can't
really.
even get
We're
influenced
just
right.
trying to keep it more about
Make
the
the
game
game.
and the mechanics and less about
Make the game first.
the achievements. And the achievements will certainly achievement system
Anyway,
and stuff like
enjoy.
that will certainly be there with the full.
I never
release.
really liked talkies. I thought that the concept of talkies was
is
so
there any plans
stupid
for
because
stash
the way that they
expansions?
roll up, it's like a rolled up Dorito.
Oh,
Except the
tons of
problem
yeah.
is
Right
that if you
now,
roll
I'm
up a
actually
fucking
trying to at least
Dorito,
add the
that means
affinity without adding a
50%
custom
of
tab.
the
Those two
Dorito
things appeared,
does not
from
get
an
covered in dust.
implementation standpoint, so I want to
Talkies
divorce them
are
so we have
just
affinities with
half-flavored
Wanted to
Doritos.
present this
What about the
patch,
other
but
half?
Unfortunately, they just didn't quite make it.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
They put
I mean,
dust
it's
on
actually
them
quite likely to
after
come
they
in
roll
sometime,
them.
like,
I'm
like
out.
in a point release after like within the 0 to 0.
as soon as the patch is out and stable and we're on top of things, it's going to be like, all right, we need to get all those like UX or quality of life.
What's the
things
other
that we're
half?
missed out on.
What do you mean, what's
For
the other half?
example,
The other half is the
like,
half
you know,
that's
like
rolled up
bookmarks to your
on the
atlas.
other side.
That is one
That
that,
is something
we
we are-
designed some stuff for it. We just haven't
What do you
started
mean, what's
yet,
the
so,
other half?
I want to say
Nothing.
Like 80%
It's
implemented.
undusted.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
rolled.
it'll be as soon as we can. We'll get that in there.
All right, that is excellent. And on that note, we'll wrap things up today. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you so much, Mark.
Wrapped up.
Thank you very much for coming.
And thank everyone
Love
for
it.
watching.
Thanks for having me here. Great time. Thank you very much, everyone. And I'm Ziggy D, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
See you.
Goodbye. All right, listen. Did anybody listen to the end of that? I want to know what they were talking about. Now, I was listening, most of it. I just didn't get that one thing that I wanted. They're not going to add instant buyouts for console like PoE 1, are they? Or did they even mention that? Because that's pretty much the biggest thing that's going to change my experience with PoE 2. If they're not going to add that, how the fuck am I going to even possibly play trade? Damn it. There's no other way. Hey, so let me ask you this. I've never played PC Trade PoE 1 or 2, right? Let's say you're playing PoE 2 and you are playing Trade League and you're willing to trade, right? So you're playing the game, you have items for sale in your stash. At all times, you are receiving messages from people for the entire league asking for you to invite them to your hideout constantly. Every single map, every action, you always are being messaged constantly. Wow, that sounds terrible. Wow. It's exactly as bad as you think it is. What about, okay, let's forget the selling aspect of trade. Let's talk about the actual use of trade to upgrade your character. So you are playing the game, you're going map to map, and then let's say the way I do it is I'll like want to take a break from mapping, and so when I'm thinking, okay, I don't feel like mapping anymore, let me upgrade my character. So during that moment of let me upgrade my character, you then minimize the game and hit the website? Is that how that works? Wow. I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that. I don't want to leave the game to upgrade my character. I don't want to be constantly like... So as someone who plays console pretty much exclusively, to me, the most annoying part is when someone messages me, especially when it's for a trade that I don't give a fuck about. And the reason why it's annoying, at least to me, is because an instant buyout solution already exists. So why are you doing it this way when another solution already exists? To me, it's even more annoying. It's like double annoying because you're like intentionally ignoring the solution to this problem. But on PC, that option doesn't exist. So you can't be annoyed by being messaged all the time, right? Unless, I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is I'm disappointed that so many of you guys agree with me, but you don't take a stand against it. Because you really should. It's unacceptable. I feel like if for one league, everyone just said, fuck this, I'm playing SSF, and nobody fucking traded anything, the devs would realize this is a terrible idea. Because it is such a terrible idea. I just play SSF.
Thank
I
you.
do that too. I play solo because of it. That's what I do. I want to play trade, but I'm forced into playing SSF because the current trading system, and at least PoE2, it takes away way too much fun from the game. It takes it away. It disrupts your overall feeling. It takes you out of the immersion. And if you want to upgrade your own character, you leave the game. I think that's a really bad idea, but I'm not an expert. For most things, I really like the Path of Exile devs because for most things, when they say, you know what, this is the way, especially Chris Wilson used to do this a lot. When you'd ask him something like, why is it like this? He would respond with, that's because it was like that in Diablo 2. You don't like it? Go fuck yourself. And when he did that, I always thought, like, that is so sick. That's why this game is so good, because it's truly someone's vision. It's something that they treat like their front yard, dude. This is the way it is. You don't like it? Get off my yard. And I appreciated that about them. It made it feel like the game is under someone's care. You know, it means so much to the person making it that not just any asshole can give feedback and warp the game, you know? I like that about them. But in this specific thing, trading, that shit has to change, dude. It's so frustrating. It is so stupid that you have to leave the game to upgrade your character. It should not be that way. They need to add some kind of in-game buyout or trade or something. It just can't be that way. I hate that. You know, that's what I told him in person when I met Jonathan Rogers. I said, you can't expect a console player to be willing to have a browser open on the side. And what he told me is, I agree with you, and we're going to work on something. But I haven't, you know, maybe it's later. I hope it's later. That's what I told him. You can't expect someone who's playing on console to be willing to use an external, like, thing. And he said he agrees. I don't know. We'll see. SSF with boosted drops would be so cool. I don't think so. I think that boosted drops is something that shouldn't exist at all. I hate that multiplayer has it, and I think that no one should get it. Boosted drops sucks. I don't like that. Unless you boost it yourself with Magic Find. A lot of people don't like Magic Find, but I like it. It's because I like Diablo 2. Though I don't think it should affect currency.
Thank you.
I don't think Magic Find should affect currency. But I like Magic Find in general. For uniques, I think that's a great idea. I think having another scaling vector is a great idea. Just last night, I dropped some faster cast rate for more Magic Find on my Paladin, and I liked the feeling of it. I thought it was cool. I went one breakpoint down for Blessed Hammer to put in like 50 Magic Find, and I thought that decision was a cool decision. I was definitely... hating on Magic Find is a weird thing, to me at least, because I really like Diablo 2. Faster cast rate, lol. It's a thing. Thanks. Okay. Oh, they added a parry in PoE2, but it's not really like a parry. It's more like a successful guard. You hold the block button, and when you block something, it auto parries it. But your things you could do afterwards is pretty cool. It gives them like a little tag, and then you can detonate it. People who hate Magic Find. Dude, the problem with people who hate Magic Find, is that they say, oh, it's a mandatory stat. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, why do you mind it when that's a mandatory stat, but you don't mind it when you're using almost all of your suffixes on elemental resistance? Or if there's no life on a ring, it's trash. What about life? What about elemental resistance? You never complain. What about accuracy on any attack? Dude, getting accuracy feels like fucking shit. I hate that stat in any game. And it's because when I play a melee build, and in my mind I'm thinking I need 100% chance to hit, when this fucking shithead is across the map pulling a bow and arrow, pulling an arrow out of his purse and fucking shooting. What the hell do I need accuracy for, dude? But you have to get it. You gotta do it. Accuracy sucks. Accuracy sucks. If you're gonna complain about Magic Find and you're not gonna complain about accuracy, come on, man. Accuracy sucks. Mandatory stats are the whole point. You know, life, resistances, you need them. If you're playing an energy shield, you need energy shield. If you're playing armor, you need armor. Complaining about a mandatory stat doesn't make any sense. It's just another stat. Like if you're playing bleed, then damage over time multiplier becomes a mandatory stat. What's the difference between that and Magic Find? What's wrong with Magic Find? As long as it doesn't affect currency. That part I don't like. But for uniques, I think it's cool. Mandatory stats are mandatory because they make you stronger. MF makes you weaker. See, that's the problem right there. You think MF makes you weaker, while to me, when I dropped a faster cast rate to get Magic Find, I felt stronger. Because you're looking at it wrong. You know, you're just not thinking about it right. Weaker. So if you get, let's say you get an upgrade to your build and it makes you 2 times more defensive, but you lost 10% damage. Does that mean you were weaker? No, it doesn't make you weaker. It makes your character stronger overall, but you lost 10% damage. You see what I'm saying? So you're looking at it incorrectly. Sure, maybe you lost 10% damage, but you gained 50 or 100 Magic Find. See what I'm saying? You're looking at it. If you consider Magic Find to be a branch of upgrade, so you have defense, you have offense, you have Magic Find. If you look at it that way, then it's a pretty cool, like, you know, whatever the fuck it's called, vector or whatever. It's cool if it's done right. It's done right in Diablo 2, that's for sure. In Diablo 2, you really want it. You want it there. You know what I mean? It's a boring stat to have on your gear.
Thank you.
What are you talking about? You don't think elemental resistances is a boring stat? Elemental resistances? That is the most ultimate boring stat. When you think, I'm going to play Path of Exile this league, when you make that decision, that means almost all of your suffixes in the entire league are going to be elemental resistances. Every suffix for every gear piece, unless you're playing something specific, is going to be this stat. And you're complaining about another stat being boring? Every single league, no matter what happens, you will need to fill your suffixes with Eli-Res. Think about it, dude. I don't know. I think a lot of the time it's influence. Like someone will say, oh, this is so bad because it's become a mandatory stat. And then everyone will be like, yeah, it is a mandatory stat. Yeah, you're right. Rubble. And then it's like, dude, yeah, but hello, every fucking stat's a mandatory stat if it's best in slot. That's not good. That stat is mandatory. You know, like, yeah, dude, that's how stats work. Some of them are fucking mandatory. You need life on this item. You need movement speed on this item. That's how it works. All stats are mandatory if you want them. You know, any stat that when you don't get it, it's like, fuck, I need that. Then it's a mandatory stat. Come on, man. Scrubs. That's like the type of behavior that obviously your mustache doesn't connect to your beard. Thanks, Mango Apple and Top Sleeve. Thanks for the new sub. Thanks, Metal Gear Donut and Sekiro Best Souls-like. Thanks, Okay, I pray wrong. I parry a wrong. And thanks, Handsome Gold. Thanks, Desperado. What's up, man? Thanks for the 127. Thanks, Crow the White. And Bathroom DS. Thanks, bros. Glaciating. Leave the guy alone. Anyway, are you guys playing Mark of the Wolves? I want to play that, but I mean, at this point, I might as well just play it tomorrow. I'm going to play Mark of the Wolves tomorrow. I'm excited to try it. It has a practice mode. You think I'll hate it? Are you going to main Messi? Yeah, but he's not in yet. Thanks, Chris Wilson's brown eye. Doesn't that mean butthole? Rusty Sheriff's badge. Excited to try Cristiano. Cristiano is Messi's first name? I'm new. It is. Alright, I'm new. I'm good shit, thanks. Cristiano Messi. It's gonna be sick. Yeah, I'll try him out. Bootlegged Fallout came out. I heard about that. I'm not really into fan-made shit. It always feels gross. You know that Mario Maker feeling where, like, there's like a streamer and the streamer is really struggling with a fan-made stage, and you can almost tell that the pervert who made the stage is watching and jacking off. I hate that feeling. Fan-made shit is gross. Getting off to, like, you know, struggle. Gross. Half-Life has pad support. Good to know. I was really wondering about that, amigo. Now I can sleep at night. Who gives a fuck? Thanks. Butthole is where the G spot is? Hey, alright. You know, 1 in 3 men have prostate issues in their lifetime? That is fucking crazy. Those stats are fucking crazy. And that's not even just in Florida. That's just 1 in 3 men. So you're standing there with 2 other dads, and you're standing there. One of you is going to have an issue with your prostate. Think about that. And they don't even know why that's the case. Nobody knows why. But they suspect that it's because of the change, not only in ingredients used in food, but also the way food is packaged. They suspect that it has to do with that. Like the way things are packaged in, like, materials that transfer over into the food, and then you consume it. And it's shit that, like, you know, they don't know about. They're morons. You know how, like, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, they used to put cigarettes inside, like, military rations because they thought cigarettes were good for you? It's that kind of thing. And then over the next 50 years, they're like, wait a minute. Maybe they, like, link things together. Like, lung cancer might be linked to this, you know? That's going to happen, basically. Like, they're in the next 50 years, they're going to be like, okay, everyone's got prostate problems. Maybe we shouldn't package food in this type of, you know, whatever. That's what's going to happen, you know, basically. It's just taking a long time. Yeah, just as everything always does. That's why I never ever floss. That must be a hit with the ladies. You must be killing it, dude. Hey, thanks, Nitzaroni. Thanks very much. Well, perfect timing. I just finished my 6 shots of espresso. Fix the ED. Thanks for the buff. What'd you do to fix the ED? Stop watching anime? A friend of mine made me realize that that's what is causing erectile dysfunction. It's because you guys watch anime.
I pray wrong.
Anime causes ED. Because, real life, real women don't look like that. And so then you get used to girls that look that way. And then when you see a real woman, you can't even get a fucking boner because you need them to look like a fucking alien and shit. And you need them to have these ridiculous, wildly large titties and all this other shit. And your dick doesn't even work anymore. Real girls, Dan's game. I'm telling you, man, that's what's wrong with your dick. Anime. Thanks. Whatever this name is. And thanks getting off to me succeeding. And everyone else. Don't ask me. Yeah, that shit's no good for you. I agree. That makes sense to me. Anime causing ED.
Thank you.
To me, for what I want to play in PoE 2, I really want to play Huntress, but the second most exciting thing to me is Spectres, because I always liked the idea of Spectres. I just didn't like that the way it felt to resummon them in PoE 1. I fucking hate that shit. So now that they automatically resummon themselves, to me, that sounds awesome. So I'm very tempted to try Spectres, but Huntress sounds really cool. Huntress has one... They said that the Huntress has one companion. Either it can be your mount, or it can be your resurrected... You can resurrect an enemy or a boss to fight alongside you, but there's a keystone on the passive tree that lets you have +1. So if you get that keystone, you could get your mount and a companion. That's what he said in the thing. I don't know what the downside of the keystone is, though. I don't know if he mentioned that. But it sounds cool. I think Huntress sounds really great. I am a big fan of Javazon. I think that the skill that Javazon uses, where you throw the lightning and then it separates and branches, it chains. That's a really cool skill, and I think that it feels really fun having a melee skill that's really good and having a ranged skill that's really good. That at the same time is how the Javazon works in D2. It's like got a really powerful single target like melee thrusting attack, and then it's got like a long range really powerful clear skill. So it just feels like a really great character class, and I hope they manage to harness that in PoE 2 because it feels really good in D2. I think arguably the most fun character I've played in D2 is actually Javazon, because of how cool it feels to have power at all ranges. Plus, she runs around with that shit up in the air, dude. I love that. Running around town from merchant to merchant holding a spear like you're going to kill someone. That shit's tight. All day, just running around holding a spear. Fuck you. You're going to throw that shit. I like that animation.
I see him.
Cool.
I lost him.
Can I get a luck buff for my hairy wife?
Yeah. Good luck. Floating down a river in Egypt. Sure thing. Wife, lol. Who's gonna tell him he's gay? And that's not a lady. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Good luck. I forget what I was talking about. That's called a husband. Husbando. Patch notes coming next week. Did they say when next week? Because isn't the game coming next week? I hope it's Monday or Sunday. Monday in New Zealand, which is Sunday here. That would be nice. Taking too long. Money Machine. Thanks for the resub.
Thank you.
And thanks, Boracho. Thanks, guys. Yeah, Mark of the Wolves is what I'm into right now. I want to play it. I mean, I don't know. I just want to play it. I just want to try it out. You know that feeling when you boot up a fighting game and you haven't seen any of the characters and you just look at the select screen and you hover over characters and kind of just look at them and you kind of profile them? I'm looking forward to doing that. So I'm going to do that. That's the next thing I play. Actually, you know, that reminds me. I should sign up for it. Someone said, like, you just go to the Steam page and it's doable from there. I loved when Aris did that to KOF. I like doing that. It reminds me of being a kid, because back in the day, like, you know, there were a lot of fighting games that would come out that they were like, you've never heard of this. Star Wars Masters, or like the Ninja Turtles fighting game, or, you know, it's like these fighting games would come out and you just didn't, it was a surprise. Your mom took you to Blockbuster and you just saw this new fighting game. So you would rent it and you'd go home, and since there was no manual, you would just boot it up and start it and be like, whoa, Splinter, or, you know, like you could play as these characters, you know? I thought that was a cool feeling, so I'm looking forward to trying that in this game specifically. Because, you know, there's no... I mean, I assume there's going to be like Terry Bogard and Rock Howard and shit, but other than those two characters and it's going to be random ass black dude with sideburns and a pompadour, and, you know, like, that's going to be cool. I'm excited. I want to use that guy. Isn't there a bird too? I think there's like a bird. He's like a knockoff T-Hawk. He's actually a hawk. That guy's cool. And now there's Ronaldo. That's going to be cool. Played some Tizok. He's sick. Is that the bird? Tizok is the bird. See what I mean? I don't know much about it. It just sounds fun. So I'll get around to that tomorrow. Probably the usual stream time. Hey, thanks. Liver Slapper. And thanks again, Baracho. Overall, I will say that today's reveal for PoE 2, I mean, maybe I was being a little bit too unrealistic, but I expected it to be a little bit more. Like, I expected maybe 2 classes, or 1 new ascendancy for every fucking class, or some new acts, or, you know, that kind of thing. Just because of how it put PoE 1 on hold. The way it put PoE 1 on hold. And I personally didn't like the event they held. I didn't like it that much. I got to pretty deep into endgame. I got my 4 void stones, but I really didn't like the idol system. I didn't like it. So that made me kind of like a little bit more butthurt that PoE 2 was cock blocking PoE 1 so much. And so maybe that made me think like, all right, well, if you're going to cock block the whole game like this, you better have a lot of stuff to show me. So I don't know. It could have been high expectations. It seems like all of the changes are good, or at least most of the changes are good. There's a couple of things like the Elon mode they added for pinnacle bosses that don't make sense to me. Like a pinnacle boss not giving you an experience loss when you die to it seems super counterintuitive to me. It is exactly the opposite of what you would think. But whatever. That's not a big deal. I don't mind. I just wish they would buyout. Instant buyout trade is what's necessary. Some method of searching and messaging for an item in-game is all I need. Even if it's not instant buyout, if it lets you in-game search for the item and at least from there send a message to another player, minimum, that's what's necessary. Because for a console user, to expect a console user to leave their game and open up a browser to just do something as simple as upgrade their character is unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable. For PC, sure, you're already sitting at a computer. You already have another monitor open, but not for console. And they obviously agree with me because that's how PoE 1 operates. So it's not like they don't agree with me. They are the ones that invented this idea. PoE 1 doesn't have it, but console does. So come on, man. Add that shit already, dude. Instead of adding Elon mode. Anyway, whatever. Hey, chat room, let me tell you something. I don't care what anyone says about you. You're alright by me. Thanks for liking my stream. That shit is so cool. It really is. Thanks. There are a lot of streams on Earth. There are a lot. So, the fact that you like mine this much means a lot. Thanks. If you didn't, I'd have to have a job. So, that's a pretty big thing. I appreciate you guys. That was fun. Talking shit about how their mustaches don't connect to their beards. That's such a fucked up thing to make fun of. It's just like making fun of someone for being bald. You know how that's like the whole point of making fun of someone for being bald is like it's a bunker buster, you know? It's a bunker buster. That's what's sick about making fun of that part of someone's mustache that doesn't connect. It's a bunker buster. Like, it's such a small thing.
Thank you.
But it's big to them. That's like a giant 2-mile-long fucking runway that you're always concerned about. You know what I mean? So that's sick. That's a key, dude. The key to talking shit is bunker busters. You gotta bust them. Anyway, thanks Bach the Golem and Liver Slapper. Hey, chat room. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys tomorrow with Mark of the Wolves. I think it'll be pretty fun. Anyway, thanks. Talk to you guys later. See you in the sewer. Take it easy.
Lightning!